just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. Before we get started, guys, you know the drill. May the 4th, Bloke jerseys, brand new. We're going old school. We're going back to the original Bloke, well, essentially the original Bloke colours. I'm sure you would have seen pictures of this before, with Karl Stefanovic wearing it. I've been wearing it quite a bit. These are the 2026 Bloke jerseys. May the 4th, limited. We've got limited numbers this year, guys, so make sure to set your alarm. And they will be dropping before Magic Round to wear to Magic Round, guys. And also we'll be doing a meet and greet on Saturday for Magic Round as well, as we do yearly. So make sure to set your alarm May the 4th.
Star Wars Day. You'll be,
Star Wars Day.
Ripping into a bit of Mandalorian and placing your order for a new Bloke jersey.
Andor. That's the
Andor?
show. Yes, Andor's the show for Star Wars.
Andor.
Oh, it's one of your best, mate.
Hey.
It's one of your best.
Go Tigers.
As you can hear, Hammy's up and about. He's up and about. So I'll tell you what we're going to do today. We're going to do the face music, obviously the Code Sports story, but we're going to get the first game of the round is going to be yesterday's crazy game. Eels versus Tigers. That's going to be the first game of the round because we're just so excited. Such an exciting match. And also you might be wondering, what the hell have you got near your mic? We've decided it's Jocks out for Jock Madden today.
Hashtag Jocks out for Jock. Let's get that trending, folks.
Yep, Jocks out for Madden. We've got on our what's this, boom arm here, just to celebrate the great man that Joey Madden got the boys around the park.
Yep.
Let's get straight into face the music. Brought to you by Sportsbet. How did we go on the weekend?
I did pitch Jocks off for Jock, but we set it on Jocks out for Jock. Probably the right call.
Well, who says that we haven't done that?
In the end. Oh, okay. Wow, stick around to find out who's not wearing Jocks. All right, yeah, can I be honest? A great week at Face the Music this week.
Back.
One of the most prosperous weeks, I think, for the panel as a whole.
Here we fucking
No,
go.
I'm serious.
No, I know, but there's a guy beside me that's fucking got a smug look on his face and it's pissing me off.
Well, there should be a few people with smug looks on their
Look at
face.
that
Shouldn't piss you
Can we
off.
get the camera on this guy's fucking face? This is the most smug man in fucking Australia right now.
Get all the cameras on him.
Plenty of room over here, by the way. It's fucking great. Room for
He used to be
activities.
some bloke that's a part. Like, who is he? Who is he?
Yeah, well, more on him later, actually. Nice little finish, nice little mic drop from him.
And just quickly, for the people that may have missed last week, Timmy, no longer on the Monday show, but we love Timmy, and I'm sure he'll pop in from here to there, just struggling with time, and came to us a while ago, said I was struggling for time, tried to make it work over a year's period, was driving over an hour into work, blah, 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 all that good stuff. So go back to last week's show if you want to get the download there, but love Timmy, but yeah.
Yep, emotional stuff.
Emotional
Shout out to Timmy. All right, so face the music. Let's go through the results from this round. The first game, Finns 18, defeated by Manly 52. How is his coaching? Kieran Foran, 1 from 1. Unbelievable. Points for all as well. Denon, Matty, and Timmy all had Manly plus 10.5. I had Manly head-to-head, $3.40. And Rue backed in his beloved Sea Eagles, 13 plus for $10 to kick off the round.
Told you at the time, you should have backed
Oh
him.
my God, that's fucking unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
We give him a team, we give him a team, and then the arsey fucking piece of shit a week later just randomly 13 plus it. And the weeks where he didn't have a team, he couldn't have got any points no matter what.
Yeah.
Hey, I said it all week. So did you, to be fair, and you didn't back it in.
Yeah, listen, I did. I wasn't going to say, you brought it up.
I made the coward call at the time.
No, you brought it up. I didn't bring it up. But if you
Yeah.
actually go back and check the tapes, I 13 plussed him the whole week. But I was rattled of a bad week the week before, a nudie run week. And so I was trying to take the safe option. So that's why I didn't go 13 plus on Face the Music.
Yeah. So you're giving us your B set here on Face the Music.
Well, I'm giving you the safe. I don't want to go fucking 0 from 8 again.
The safe half.
Alex safe.
More on him coming up in the first game we're going to review. All right, then Souths 32. They defeat the Dogs 24 on Good Friday. Matty had Souths plus 1.5. I had Souths head-to-head for $2. Everybody else on the panel, Souths 1-12 for $3.10. So well played. Off to a pretty decent start here. Everyone's got points in both games so far.
This is making me sick.
Then we go Penrith 50. Penrith 50 defeat the Storm 10. I don't know. Did anyone see that coming? Actually,
No one saw that coming. No one saw that coming.
wow. I think Matty might have seen it coming on another show as well. Almost that exact score. Then,
Did you hear that? Matty predicted 50 to 10.
Yeah, actually, I did see a clip, but I didn't know it was so. Actually, said 50 to 10.
yeah.
Wow,
Crazy.
that's
Yep.
impressive.
Yep.
That's impressive.
You should have listened to him. You had Penrith 1-12, Kempy, which was not correct. Matty and Timmy had the Panthers minus 7.5, correct. Myself and Rue, we just get it. Penrith 13 plus, which they've done every game this season. $2.55. That's crazy. That's how you do it.
We're looking at a record face music from Ruhu, and it's really hurting my.
Well, record from a few people here. A few people of us haven't actually
Let's just
got any
look.
correct.
I only focus on winners here. I don't focus on second or third.
Oh, okay. Well, See how we go. Dragons 0 defeated by Cowboys 32. Myself, Cowboys head to head. Roo, Cows 13 plus, $3.80. Maddie and Timmy, you guys were way off. Dragons 13 plus, disgraceful. Denny had the Dragons head to head as well, so I only missed it by 30.
Honestly, over the weekend, I forgot what it was like to not hit a margin.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is making me sick, honestly. You know what? Timmy was really holding you back.
The next game that day, Titans 12 defeated by Broncos 26. Denon with a stunning and brave Broncos head to head for $1.21. Matty, Timmy, and myself, we had the Broncos covering the line, which was never in doubt. 13.5 points, a nice easy watch for all of us there. 14 points the final margin. We'll take that. Roo, you had the Titans 13 plus, not your best.
Yeah,
there.
not your best, mate. Yeah.
Not anyone's best for the Sharkies. 36 defeating the Warriors 22. Everyone was hot on the wires. No points for anybody.
Wow.
On the panel in that one. Then we go on to Sunday, the Sunday 4 p.m. game. Knights 32 defeat the Raiders 12. Denon and Timmy had the Raiders. Lol. Myself and Roo had the Knights head to head for $2.27. Maddie had the Knights 13 plus for $5.20.
Wow.
$5.20. A big round of face of music here. Then we get to the last game. The Eels 20 defeated by the Tigers 22. Kempy took the Eels head to head, sucked in. I took the Tigers 13 plus, robbed.
Sucked in. We're on the same page, mate.
Matty had the Tigers plus 1.5. Roo, you had the Tigers 1 to 12 for $3.20.
Wow.
And Timmy, who's not here today, with an ultimate mic drop moment. Where was this for the rest of his face of music career? He had the game to go to Golden Point, which got him $17.
Whoa, holy shit.
I would like a market for when Kempy actually catches Timmy on the overall.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while.
I would love an over-under, whether it's round 10.5, whatever it is.
Well, I'll let you frame that market after we do the overall scores here.
Got some work to
Going to be a while.
I won the premiership last year. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, resting on your laurels. Come on. Only as good as your last game. So round 5 results. Timmy left us on a high, $25.80.
Holy shit.
Roo, an exceptional performance from you, $21.72.
So you didn't even win. That is hilarious. After all that nonsense, you came second.
Let's keep going down the list.
Yeah. Myself,
I
$13.
don't care. I'm premiership. I don't care. I got a premiership last year, so I'm sweet.
Maddie, $14.70. Myself, $13.97. Denon, $6.21. Overall, Guru raised the bat, 50.69. Myself, 40.
Holy shit.
Timmy, $45.72. Maddie, $41.20. Denon, $22.92.
Oh wow! You know it's been a year of upsets really. So it just shows you that normal traditional footy I get. These rule changes has really rocked me for a bit. So I'm just gotta find my way back in.
The best face to music participants adapt. They find ways to adapt.
Yeah,
and overcome.
that's right. But I'm still current reigning champion. So just
Who came
round
last year, and like what sort of odds
cheated.
were they at? Well, yeah, obviously you made.
No, I made
finals,
them on my way through the eliminator. I knocked
that's
out
right. I do
on the way
recall.
there. I knocked out Timmy. So Timmy came last.
What odds were you at the end of the year? Do you remember?
What odds?
Yeah.
Overall,
Yeah.
when we get a break, I'll go and I'll dig through the run sheet from that particular week. But
it would have been like $60-$70, wouldn't it?
what?
You'd hope so.
Yeah,
Imagine if Timmy doesn't come last.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
What's he sitting on right now?
that'd be embarrassing.
I think he's
See on 45.72.
He's on 45.
Yeah, $23 ahead of you.
Don't be silly.
$23 ahead of you.
You're being silly now. You're being silly.
Yeah.
You know, we all have a good joke here or there, but that's too much.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, with the rate I'm going, what is it? So $20 after 5 rounds. Yeah, no, it'll be sweet. If I just get fucking the same what I'm getting at the moment, I'll beat him.
You also declared last week to Hammy that if he doesn't win this year, it's one of the greatest chokes of all time. His lead lasted literally 7 days.
Well, I said that to Hammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the
He was
comps.
big last week.
I'm in the mix, so I'll be fine.
Yeah, you're a choker. You will choke though.
It's not about me this week. I'll be fascinated to know from Tyson if he's got any news on when Kempy's turning up to Face the Music 2026. For a few of the Code Sports journalists.
Hey, I still still have the strike against my name of cheating last year to
No
get
cheating.
yourself through the finals.
Very simple final
You know?
system. Got to the
Listen,
eliminator.
I may not be playing well. At least I'm playing by the rules, mate.
Yeah. It's not golf rules, mate. The lowest score doesn't win. So when you're ready.
That's Face the Music, brought to you by Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. Got a bunch of multis on there. Give Hammy a follow as well.
I've had my iron lately. Milky Jenkins 2 or more. It's just been Control C, Control V.
Okay, there you go. You
around
can't
it.
miss it. Okay, it's time for the Code Sports story of the week. Tyson the Terminator. How you going, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. What a week, eh? A lot of good games, and we've kind of been saying the last couple of weeks that There's been one story that has just seemed to dominate every single week, but as we're in round 6 this week, everything's kind of picking up, but we can't go past the news out of the Dragons. Shane Flanagan walking on thin ice. It's quite astounding from the Dragons, who a week ago we were discussing that Shane's probably got a bit of a longer lifespan than, what Siebes did and what some of these other coaches did pressure-wise, considering he was re-signed in August last year. But word out of the Dragons and people around the camps is that this could be over within the span of the next couple of weeks. It's escalated so quickly. Obviously, the 32-0 loss to the Cowboys at Cogra was a massive part of that, but I think there is from what I know, that there is a huge concern around the club that things aren't going to get better. So yeah, it's a huge story and one that's got so many twists and turns. We're talking players' extensions that have been offered have been put on hold. They're trying to recruit Trey Fuller from the Dolphins to come in and be their fullback. There's so many different aspects of this. Now, we're also looking at a stage where their newest recruit, Daniel Atkinson, who has been signed to play halfback, may not be their halfback this week. And we're hearing that's definitely going to happen, that Kyle Flanagan will wear the number 7 jersey this week and not Daniel Atkinson. So many different aspects to this story, so many different things. There's a lot of things around their juniors as well, but it's crazy out of the Dragons at the moment.
So I guess, because I've listened to quite a lot about this from different outlets, how true is it, and I've seen it from quite a few people, that half the board wasn't even convinced that Shane Flanagan was the man? Like he's been pushing bowler uphill for quite a while. Is that true? Not true?
Yeah, that's true. There was at the start there was a lot of concern about signing Shane Flanagan as their head coach. He was, he was there as an assistant for a bit, as head of recruitment, went to Manly, came back, and then a lot of people had to be convinced that he was the guy. To be honest, Shane Flanagan was the best person at the time for the job. But now, like you said, he's been pushing this uphill battle, and all of a sudden, it doesn't look like there's any push anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the start of their game on the weekend, especially when you look at what Manly did against the Dolphins on Thursday night, you're expecting this kind of fight, this comeback from this Dragon side, and there really wasn't any of it. And I think from the board's perspective, that's not what they expected to see. And then, I mean, looking at what Shane Flanagan said after the game as well, where he kind of didn't have any answers for what was going on. I mean, it almost seems like a copy and paste what we saw with Anthony Seibold the week before.
And so, is the playing group, like, what I'm finding strange to kind of put together is the playing group came out quite strongly last week, and we're like, it's us, it's on us, it's not the coach. But then they go out and play like that. Is the playing group still on board with Flanagan? Because they're not playing like a team that's on board for their coach, unless... Do you agree?
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, look, there's actually, for once, not much coming from the playing group in terms of negatives. We heard, again, I'll relate to the Anthony Seibold situation, that there were rifts with players, that there was disagreements with Jake Travojevic, who's someone that no one could really disagree with, you don't think. But at the Dragons, there hasn't really been much of that. There's no players really coming out and saying that, hey, we're not seeing eye to eye on.
We're like not hearing whispers about it.
Yeah,
like, I haven't heard any whispers. Whereas at Manly, like, geez, you heard whispers every week.
It was everywhere, and like they've obviously got their fair share of issues. There's been a lot of criticism around the club not having any speed. They were really tough to start last year, and to start this year, and at the back end of last year, that seems to have tapered off a bit as well. I mean, around the whole playing group and playing style, most of that's speculation. But from a fact point of view, there is a belief that Shane Flanagan is not the guy anymore, which is quite strange considering they extended him in August of last year.
Where do you sit, Roo?
Yeah, I think he's on borrowed time, realistically. I think it's at a point where if you're freezing contract negotiations and everything, like, I think the writing's kind of on the wall, isn't it? I sort of said last week that I think he was safe for now, but when you put in a performance like that against the North Queensland Cowboys, with all due respect to them, it just looks like nothing has been solved there. I'm very interested in what they do this week. The Gutho situation, he's obviously got a hamstring injury, I believe. Are we expecting him not to play?
Gutho won't play this week. I think Gutho will be out for about 3 weeks, which will bring Tyrell Sloan in. And that's another question that's been raised around around Flano's coaching. Tyrell Sloan was one of the only players dropped for that Cowboys game from the week before. They brought David Farley in, who is also suspended for, I think he kicked...
which even to take that a step further, why was Setu dropped in the first place?
Yeah.
I thought he was doing really well. He went from doing incredibly well in Vegas, playing good footy, to being the third string winger. All of a sudden, now you've got Gutho out. Tyrell Sloan becomes your fullback.
Potentially, they could move Valentine Holmes as well. There's a few options.
Is there any chat
there.
about Atkinson there?
Look, I think I haven't heard anything directly from the club. I think strategically that's the move. If you're going to change your halves, I think changing the jerseys is just going to create the same problem. Kyle Flanagan already plays like a 7 in that combination. But yeah, Atkinson could very well move to 1, but he's fighting to keep his spot. Is the word out of the Dragons at the moment?
Yeah, I didn't think Atkinson was terrible on the weekend. To be honest with you, like for the way that he plays, like it's very evident he's not a halfback. We spoke about this all preseason, all that sort of stuff. I think it's also very evident Kyle isn't a 5'8". He's an out-and-out halfback. We don't need to rehash this again, but I mean that fullback spot. Obviously, Val's an option, Sloan's an option. I'd put Atkinson there. I've always said I think he's closer to a fullback than he is to a halfback.
Give him a bit of space to do his thing.
Do his thing. Play like you actually saw on the weekend. He started to run the football a little bit.
You've seen glimpses all year. He kind of pokes his nose through every time he tries to take the line on. But it's I wrote yesterday that there's not much loyalty in rugby league. Shane Flanagan, for some reason, there's guys there that he has a whole lot of loyalty for. I mean, we saw Toby Couchman get dropped an hour before the game for Blake Laurie to come in and start, which I thought was baffling because I think both Couchman boys have probably been two of the Dragons standouts.
I can't understand that.
Yeah.
The tough thing for Flano is although he has won a premiership, there's decisions that have been made that are purely coaching ones. Like, for example, the whole bizarre half situation with Flano in the 6 jersey, Atkinson. Like, Flano knows far more about rugby league than all of us. And we could see Atkinson is not a 7. Everyone could see it. The fans could see it. And then dropping Couchman to bring Laurie in, it's like is that really going to be... Is that going to change much? I don't think so. If anything, the Couchman energy has been one of the positives of the year. What do you reckon, Hammy?
Yeah, it's just I think it seems like as soon as these sort of chats start happening, have we ever seen the coach really wrestle back the momentum and kind of completely change it? It's
Other than maybe Peyton.
Yeah, Todd Payton at the moment.
In fact, you know what? A good example. He's won a couple of games in a row, and the heat seems to be off. But
they are so bizarre. The Cowboys. They have a knack for doing that.
Yes, they probably got of any team, they probably got the most form of having these massive dips and all that sort of thing. But yeah, the Dragons thing. They're obviously 0-5. It hasn't started well. It's just been one of those interesting. The father-son combination is obviously a little bit. It's a very unique, difficult situation to have to manage. Obviously, his son's in there as like the main half, but he's always wearing the number 6 jersey, which none of us can really make sense of. It feels like maybe to protect Kyle a little bit, but with the exception of you look at like the Ivan and Nathan Cleary, like very rarely does it kind of end like that where you've got two, a player and a coach at the top of their game, basically untouchable. This is always the kind of the situation that you feel like might unfold where you get the nepotism chat and all that sort of stuff. It just feels like, I don't know, might have run its race a little bit. And I don't really know as the coach, what do you do there as the dad as well? Like, how do you...
But Kyle didn't play on the weekend, so I don't think you can just hammer this issue down to Kyle. There's bigger issues around
you can't,
this.
but this has been going on for 3 years.
Yeah, 100%. Like
and all of a sudden now
Kyle is
we're
part of
making
this.
changes.
No, but
Kyle
Kyle is
comes
part
in
of this
halfback,
team.
like-
He's part of this team, but it's not. I'm saying the problem's bigger than just this Kyle
No, it is.
Shane.
For sure.
I will say though, like the most important position on the field is it seems to be being affected, decision making around it because of this relationship. Like, in no world is Kyle a 6.
Like
he's not.
To bring a guy in as the marquee signing, and I understand that Dan came in there and said, I want to be the
course
halfback.
he said that.
Fuck, you've got Kyle that's been there for years, playing with this team, playing under this structure, playing under this coach. How is he not the halfback? How is he possibly not the halfback?
And playing pretty well too. That's what's bizarre. I actually thought he was pretty good last year.
And now you've got, journos that I think are kind of in the ear of Shane, saying, oh, they're going to parachute Kyle in, and if they start, like, I think it is all just at the moment built around keeping Kyle safe. And that's what shits me, because you look at these other halves at this club that have come and gone, and it's a pretty... The theme is the same every single goddamn year. And I've been one of the biggest defenders of Kyle. I think he's a good halfback for what you pay him for. Halfback. Just Like, it's, I just, a year or so ago, I was sort of looking at Dragons fans going, geez, I think you've been a bit harsh, but fuck, how much evidence has to stack up?
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think on this podcast we've been a massive defender of Kyle himself because he's not the one making the decisions. But the fact that you've got him playing 6, especially after such a good year last year, it just because they have that relationship, you can't help but question. We'll ask ourselves this question: would any other coach in the competition play Kyle at 6 over Atkinson?
Keep in mind as well, we went into last year, he told us he was a hooker.
Yeah. So it's just like, unless I understand him in the 7 jersey, there's going to be unfair criticism from Dragons fans. That's just the nature of the beast. You can try and say, don't do it. They're going to do it. But at the very least, there wouldn't be these questions around it. You could be like, okay, he's a 7. You're paying him probably $400K. That's what you're going to get out of him. So I'm not sitting here saying that it's the only reason. There's a bunch of other reasons, but it's such an obvious, easy answer to fix. And it just, for some bizarre reason, won't change. But it affects the knock-on effect of everything else around it because you're 0-5 with what's been the biggest concern for the Dragons this year. Unable to score points when they've got field position. Who's that fall down to? It's your 6 and your 7. And so, there are other concerns at the club. This is not the only concern. But you can't say it's still not a concern, though. You know what I'm saying? It's still
100%. And I guess from looking at all the information that's into this, the Kyle Flanagan issue, the father-son combination issue is just one of kind of, like you mentioned before, there was issues before he even got the job. Like if your whole board has to be convinced that this is the guy to run your club, he's probably not the guy.
Yeah, and go back to what I think you were saying, like, I don't think this is all Kyle's fault. I think it's starting to get to the point where, for me, it's more so Shane's fault. He keeps putting Kyle's in these spots that he gets hammered. But
there's also, with Shane as well, and I kind of, Campy, we spoke about it on the Yarn last week. A lot of people are arguing that Shane hasn't been able to build this roster, which is not true. Shane chose to sign Clint Gutherson. Shane chose to sign Damien Cook. I'm pretty sure Val Holmes was a Shane Flanagan signing as well. He has signed a lot of these guys, and for whatever reason, it hasn't worked. And whether that's Gutho playing out of position, Cook's getting on an edge, they're about to offer Cook an extension. I think Cook's been okay to start the year. Not great, but he's been okay. And it's just getting to a point where, like you said, Shane has had a lot of say in everything that's kind of happened here.
He had 2 halves leave the club, and both of them said it's because I didn't feel I was going to get a look in. And I'm with you, Roo. This has nothing to do with Kyle. He's not the one selecting himself. He's going out, and as I said, I actually think he's been pretty solid for them for quite a few years. And so, because it's such an important position, it knocks on everywhere else. But in regards to all the other stuff, the other problem for the Dragons are recruitment-wise, they're just... When Flanagan came in, there was a little bit of excitement because he shook the place up, he spoke honestly, and there was like, okay, he's going to make some moves. But since then, just little things like losing. How do you have the winning, essentially got to a grand final New South Wales Cup, and you lose both halves the next year at a club that's already starved for halves? That's crazy, is it not?
Yeah, I think also the reality is that those halves, Jonah Glover's obviously a little bit early on in his career, but I think it's pretty well known. You're a player. You can talk more about it. You know more from the media than me as well. But it's a pretty big call to come out and sort of say that you weren't getting picked and it was unfair not to get picked. It's a big risk in your career to come out and say it.
From Jonah's perspective, especially, right? Because Jonah hasn't played first grade. Yeah. I said this last week as well. To hear that coming from Jonah, there must be big problems. Obviously, when it comes to Lockie Ilias, we hear from Braith a fair bit.
But you also hear from Ilias. He's jumping on podcasts and openly saying, it's fucked.
I mean, from a week-to-week basis, though, you hear kind of the criticisms about that. But yeah, the Glover situation's the really interesting one because he was brought to that club from the Bulldogs to get a crack. He killed it. And there was, while the New South Wales Cup team last year was going like this and their first grade team was going like this, there was no change in anything. So.
Yeah.
And I think as well, it looked pretty evident to me over the weekend. King Tongia, he's lost his confidence.
Yeah,
I think that is so evident right now, and I don't blame him in any way, shape, or form based on how it's gone. As you said, mate, he's built this roster, but I think Cook's been really good this year. Gutho, if he's fit next week, he wouldn't be my fullback. Val Holmes has underperformed the last few weeks when they've needed him to stand up. So he's built this roster, but the guys he's built it around, he's not really getting a response out of them.
There is word that Gutho, when he comes back from his injury, will either be on the wing or in the centres. I find if speed's the issue, putting him in your
Center's
edge.
probably your best bet there.
Yeah.
I think just get him to be a really good defender, hopefully. Yeah, look, it's a hard one. I think that he deserves a bit longer. Look, as long as they don't come out, the biggest concern for me isn't necessarily like, obviously 0-5 is a big concern. But it's like when you're 0-4 and then you come out and play like that, that's the big concern. Like if they had have lost, let's say they lost like 24-12 or something like that, then you just go, okay, look, you give them a bit more time. The worry is if they keep coming out and playing like this, then the board have no option. Like they genuinely have no option. My personal opinion is I want to see Kyle in that 7 jersey. I think he's a good solid 7 for what you're paying him. Atkinson, I don't mind the shout of Atkinson at fullback. Would have given him a bit of speed, one pass further out. And even if you just get a really good defensive 6 then. And so you've got Atkinson at fullback. Flanagan can pull the strings. It's his team. Let him do what he needs to do.
Would you move Gutho to 6?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, potentially.
I think
don't mind that.
Gutho has enough speed to still be a
As long as
6.
his defense is all right, I mean, the front line, that's the main thing. I don't mind the Atkinson to fullback shout. I really don't.
I think the reality with Atkinson is he's a lot closer to Nico Hines than other halfbacks in this competition. And I have no doubt if you were to put Atkinson in charge of the Shark side with the strike weapons they've got, the forward pack they got, I think they'd be okay. I mean, you've seen it. He did it last year. He came in, he beat Melbourne, all that sort of stuff. I just think they just don't have the right team, the Dragons, to be able to have a guy that's learning to play halfback on the fly there.
Yeah. I'll say as well, the one concern that I have outside of the half situation is I feel a lot of these young forwards, they haven't progressed again. They've kind of flatlined a little bit, and that's a bit of a concern as a coach. You want these young guys to get better and better and better each year. So, look, I would look, if they come out next week and they do the same thing and they play like they did this week, then there's pretty much, they're almost left without an option. But if they come out and they fight and they play and they're gritty or whatever, I think he's at least got a few more weeks left in him. I don't, I wouldn't rush to do it just yet.
I think the other thing is too, like, if I'm the Dragons this weekend, the last team I'd want to play is Penrith, don't get me wrong. Mate, the second last team might be Manly. They've
they're up
got
and about.
nothing to lose whatsoever. They're going to move the football around. I think the other thing that I still can't really get my head around and make sense of it is why, I think it was just the most unnecessary change they needed to make was swapping Val and Sully this year. I don't know why they had to swap edges.
Both players have suffered as a result.
They've both suffered, and it's changed your combinations, and it's just, I can't make sense of that.
And again, like the tough thing is that's a coach call.
Yeah.
Like that's a pure like dropping Couchman, the half situation. That these are coach calls. So I want him to turn it around because there was so like the weird thing with Flano. He's one of the few coaches that can beat Penrith and can beat the Melbourne Storm. So
saw what he did to the Bulldogs in round 1. Like they should have won that game in round 1.
I'll tell you what, it just changes so much. If they get that win round 1, geez, it changes a lot. So me personally, I reckon you get him at least a few more weeks to see where he's at. What about you boys, just to wrap it all up?
Yeah, I mean, what have they got? They've got a bye in round 9, so 1, 2, 3 games before then. You'd want him to win a game before the bye.
Yeah,
They've got Manly, the Rabbitohs and the Roosters. Yeah.
They need to beat Manly. That's the one because that Roosters Anzac Day, Rabbitohs, it's a local rivalry.
Yeah.
That's the other thing as well. When you look through the last few weeks, like obviously the Cowboys, they never stood a chance in that game when it kicked off. But the Titans the week before that, the Titans did everything they could to lose that game. Parramatta the week before did everything they possibly could to lose that game. Like, they played Melbourne in week 1, Dogs in round 2, Dogs in round 1, Melbourne in round 2. But like they've had games have been sitting there waiting for them to win it. And they just haven't been able to do it.
And that's why, unfortunately, like it does fall back to the half situation when the game's on the line there to win. The halves are the ones that are supposed to do that, and so even if you want to say Atkinson's been terrible, Flano's recruited him to the club. It's still a coach's call,
Do you guys think that he can get through this, like, and stay on there? I feel like the freezing the contracts thing, that's a huge thing to walk back in 3 weeks' time and go, well, we won a couple of games.
I think it's going to be really, really tough just because it's just the way they played. They knew that they were under the pump. They're 0-4 and they played like that. Like that was the response. Whereas like, I know they didn't get a new coach, but like look at Manly's response. Like it was freaking massive. So I think it's I think even Shane Flanagan probably knows the writings on the wall, just the way he was kind of talking. And even when he said like, you can't sack 30 players. So I guess he said that the week before. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough to get through. I do hope he does because from a purely entertainment perspective of like a coach that actually comes out and says it like it is.
Yeah.
I actually do really
agree.
It's a breath of fresh air.
The other thing as well is like going into that game, like obviously Shane's under pressure, all that sort of stuff. Like, didn't they open up a centre of excellence or something last week?
Yeah,
Like,
they did this massive media op with like 8 players, all their senior players spoke at this new centre of excellence. They have a fair bit going for them. The Dragons.
state of the art, looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I sort of looked at that during the week and went, okay, fresh start. We start again here. To come out and get done 32-0.
At Cogra as well. Like
It's grim, man.
It is grim. Yeah, look, I hope he does. I hope it at least gets to the end of the season. But at the moment, if I was a betting man, I don't think it's going to last longer than a few weeks, to be honest.
I think Manly could really put the sword through him this week.
What do you reckon? You the same?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was particularly based on how happy. Like, you know, this is a classic juxtaposition. Like Manly now look like they've had a weight lifted off their shoulders. The Dragons look like they're where Manly were 2 or 3 weeks ago. So Manly played great footy on the weekend. I reckon they probably keep that going.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much. Codesports.com.au/bloke. Get your discount today. It's all sport, no BS. Next time you go to site, you don't have to be like, oh, damn, there's a paywall. Just get it done, guys. Trust me, you won't regret it. Thanks, Tyson, for joining us, and I'll see you on Wednesday, mate.
See you Wednesday.
Alrighty, it is time now for the Team of the Week, brought to you by Bloke Jerseys, dropping May the 4th, guys. Very limited numbers this year, made for Magic Round. You will not be disappointed. We're going old school again. We're going our OG colours. You will not be disappointed. In regards to jerseys, look, outside of the V, the old school V, this might actually be my favourite jersey. And I probably say that every single year because every single year I get excited about the jersey. Okay, Team of the Week is as follows. Sorry, didn't have my phone out. My bad. 2 seconds. It is at fullback, Turbo. On the wing, Marju and Jenkins. In the centres, Purdue and McLean. 6, Madden. 7, Hines. In the front row is Keon and May. At 9, Mamazelis. Hamole, Olakawatu, and Kai Pearce Paul on the edges. Frizzell at 13. Clifford at 14. Saifiti on the bench. Tallis Duncan on the bench. And Dane Gagai on the bench. That's the Team of the Week. Very hard Team of the Week to pick, guys. So you could add different names in there, and I wouldn't argue against it. Okay, it's time for the KO Can't Miss moment of the week. And I tell you what, the KO Can't Miss moment was yesterday's game. What an incredible game of rugby league. It had everything. And sometimes, you know, the game doesn't necessarily, it can be a little bit scrappy, but when it's got the fire and the passion and the pace, and you've got 2 teams that are willing to throw the ball around, you get an entertaining product like that. And I just think both teams can hold their heads high. And I got to say, from a Tigers perspective, I'm still just blown away by how mentally tough this team is, because I just expect, because it's, you know, a Benji coach side, that yes, they're going to be attacking flair, but you know, it's going to take him 4 or 5 years to get that coaching nous to kind of teach the mental toughness that he had in his game. But for them to already be here, where there was a period there where they were under the pump, obviously 10 in the bin, which we'll get to, and I'm going, they're going to break here. They're going to break here. And they even did let in a couple of tries, and yet they just found a way to wrangle back momentum, found a way to stay in the contest, and then win the game. Like a couple of years ago, there's no way you win that game. There's no way. So I'll go to you, Hammy, first, but that was an incredible game from both sides. What a great win for the Tigers.
Yes, I completely agree with what you said. There's probably 2 occasions there where the game really could have got away from them, and it could have blown out and been, you know, a huge scoreline to the Eels. And in years gone by, maybe it would have. So that first 15 minutes, they conceded in the 10th and the 14th minute, which they've done a few times this season. They've been a bit slow to the blocks. In fact, Tyson asked Benji about it in the presser, and he kind of just waved it off and said, look, it's fine. We've got good leaders out there. We're able to get the arm wrestle back, get back into games with the group that we have at the moment. So he's not too worried about it at the moment, which is good. And then the next time was later in the second half when the sin bin happened, and Twiddle came on, scored in his first 2 with his first 2 touches in the NRL. That was another moment where the game could have really got away from the Tigers, but they're able to wrestle it in, stay in the fight, and you know, I just couldn't be prouder of the way that they got up for it, got into it, and some of the composure and you know, clear thinking from not only some of the senior guys, but Jock Madden. I think we've got the jocks out.
We've got the jocks out for Jock Madden.
Rightly so.
Yeah.
There's so many things that guy does, and so he's so calm. I think it's just a bit of a testament, Jock Madden, to a lot of halves kind of come in very young to the NRL, and you go, they've got to come in when they're 20. They've got to play, you know, that's their life cycle. They're going to play 15 kind of years at first grade or whatever. But he's kind of gone back. He's been in and out of first grade a little bit. He's come to the club as a depth signing, but he's had a few years in the driver's seat in, you know, Queensland Cup, in New South Wales Cup, leading a team around the park. And I think what we're kind of seeing is a guy who's got his reps up, not overawed when he's come in and filled in for Jerome. Like, his fifth tackle options, his calmness under pressure with some of his goal kicking and stuff as well. I mean, credit to this guy. He's been just exactly what the doctor ordered with injuries to Jerome and Adam Doueihi earlier in the season.
Root?
I love what Benji's doing over there at the moment. I love that he is just letting each of these guys be themselves. Jock Madden comes in. Jock Madden couldn't be the furthest thing from Jerome Luai, but he's not given a job of be like Jerome Luai.
Yeah.
It's just be Jock Madden.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Benji isn't sitting there with Adam Doueihi during the week watching tapes of Nathan Cleary, because fuck that. It's got nothing to do with Adam Doueihi. Adam Doueihi is his own. He's a unicorn halfback. Just let him do his thing. You obviously look at the difference between Kai Pearce-Paul at Newcastle coming down here to the West Tigers. He's just letting these guys be themselves, and they're backing themselves in. And as you said, mate, usually when you have a team that has this many offloads and they're moving the football, something's got to give in defence. They're just showing up. They're showing a jersey on every single play. As you said, you said there was a chance that the Tigers, they wouldn't have won this a couple of years ago. There's not a hope in hell the Tigers win this a couple of years ago.
No
Over
way.
before they got off the bus a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
For them to win this game, absolutely tremendous. We get to the sin bin soon. That played a huge role in it. The Tigers, they just find a way, and all these guys are just, Benji's just letting them play to their strengths. I always say these coaches, they coach the team they want instead of the team they have. I almost think when it comes to that, Benji's inexperience is his strength at the moment. Because he's just allowing his players to, and he's, as he said before, he's got leaders in this team, and I would say Benji is leaning on his leaders probably more than other coaches do.
Yeah.
And I think it's working well for them.
Mate, what a win. And like the fact that they're 10 in the bin at the time of the game as well. Like, mate, they are crumbling under that pressure usually. And also, like, we have to remember this is backed up after the win last week. The Tigers, if they do have one crazy upset win, they usually, a few years ago, the next week, they are diabolical. Like, they're so poor. But for them to go back-to-back performances like that, again, I remember just watching a game like yesterday, and I'm just going, they're going to break. They're going to break. They're going to break. That's all I kept thinking in my head. Like, this is too good to be true. And I say this respectfully. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, this is not what the Tigers are to me. The Tigers are a team that have really good attack, and then when the going gets tough, they fall into a heat. They're not that team anymore. At the very least, at the moment. They truly just put their head down, grit and bear it, keep going. And then they've got the flair to nail it when they need to. So even like little things like, was it Fainu that came down with that short kickoff?
Yep.
Like just little stuff like that makes them kind of so dangerous because they're showing that they can get into the grind, but they do have a bit of a point of difference in their attack where they've got these really, really highly skilled players that can do pretty great things. Now, let's get into the sin bin, and then I want to get into Kai Pearce-Paul because, those offloads, if you're a Knights fan, you're just going, what the fuck? Where was that? Where was that? We'll get to it. Okay, the sin bin, boys. I'll give you the floor, mate, and then I'll have my opinion on it.
I'll be completely honest with you. I purposely posted a quote of my thoughts this morning because I wanted to get the reaction of the people and see where it was at. And to be fair, I think there's people that have made some really good points in there that probably have me not feeling as strongly on it as I did yesterday. But I do stand by that. I just don't think the outcome of an injury should dictate the punishment, personally. I think it should be the act, not the outcome, is the way that I look at it. I personally think, and I'm keen to hear you guys' point of views, and maybe it doesn't matter, but Bailey Simonson, I think if he stands up and goes back to his wing, it's a penalty and we never talk about it again. Fair, unfair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And once again, what I've started to read online from people that have made some good points, maybe that doesn't actually matter. But I just think, and it's the same with the Couchman thing the other day, I don't think that was worth 4 weeks, but because of the injury to Jermaine Hopgood, he gets 4 weeks. And I understand that side of it, but I just think it should be the act, not the outcome of it, that I think should play the bigger role personally.
I think in a perfect world, that is the case. I just think you're never going to get past the human side of it. I think what also is specific in the hip drop as well as this situation was the fact that the reason why that is not allowed is to stop injuries like that occurring. You know what I mean? Like tackling in the air, the reason why there's a penalty not to tackle in the air, it's not necessarily because it's unfair or whatever, at least to my understanding. It's to deter people from putting players in dangerous positions. And so, what are penalties and what is punishment for? It's usually a deterrent so this doesn't happen again. So because it did happen, I can understand why the ref had no choice to go, listen, that guy, his whole career could be over. Like, that's how bad this injury is. It's the worst case scenario of what we're trying to stop by saying no tackling in the air.
Yeah, and I think just on something you said there, that's a very fair point, is that it's very hard to take out the human element. I'm doing everything I can to take out the human element just to make a call on the actual moment, because the reality is that is happening 5 and 10 times a week, that exact moment. It's just that the outcome in this one was worse. So I'm sort of starting to lean back towards the middle a little bit, but...
Well, I'll put a good example. We actually spoke about this last week. So a few weeks ago, the head high from Latrell, like by the book, it was a head high 8-point try to the Tigers or whatever. However, Macassini stays down. Whereas if he gets up and runs back to halfway, it's not even we don't even think about it. People get flicked in the face all the time. And so I just think that if you're going to start ruling on purely logic and reason, which I do think in a perfect world, that is the fairest way to adjudicate things. You're not going to win the PR battle there. Like, I just think that, like, for example, let's say he didn't get any 10 in the bin. That's just not a good look in the game, that this guy's leg is dislocated, his ankle's dislocated because of a dangerous play by the defender, and the punishment is not severe enough for the situation that's kind of not could have occurred or might have occurred, actually did occur. So I felt like the ref was left with kind of no choice. Hammy, I'd love to get your thoughts as a Tigers man.
Yeah, I think I'm probably with Roo. I think the outcome of the injury influenced what happened next. I thought just the incident, obviously a shocking injury, and wishing Bo Simonson all the best with the recovery and stuff. But I feel like the crime in the air didn't really match the 10 in the bin, and it was such a crucial point of the game as well. Like, it really did. The game was so tightly poised that it hurt the Tigers. They conceded 2 tries straight away down that right side when it kind of went off. So, yeah, I think it was maybe a little bit stiff, but, all things considered, I can probably understand why the ref made that call and the information that he got at the time. But I think if he stood up and goes back to his wing, I don't think we're seeing Luke Laulili.
Well, did you feel that was an 8-point try last week with Macassini getting hit in the head?
I think we probably got a little bit lucky there. Getting that one, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was a clear one, but stayed down, got the penalty, got the 8-point try.
Matty, what do you reckon, mate?
It's the way the game's gone. And I think 10 years ago the injury just didn't affect the outcome, but I think that's the way it is going. If you look at the rule books and you read it black and white, they never send people off a 10 for tackling in the air. But
unless they're about to score a try and it's a professional foul.
For a professional foul, yes. However, if you strip it back, it was foul play and it caused an injury. That's why I'm happy with him getting suspended. I think a 1-week suspension is probably fair. I think it was a complete accident. But, high tackles are accidents. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was an accident. I think we got to make that clear. I do think the sin bin was a bit harsh, though, because we've never really seen that before, and it impacted the game so badly in the end. But
could you argue the reverse of it? They've lost a player for that entire game.
Yeah.
Due to foul act of play, and the reason why it's a penalty is because you put players in dangerous positions by tackling them in the air.
Mate, I can sympathise with both sides here. I really can. I know, I'm kind of fencing a little bit, but like, it's just, it was so, it was such a bad injury, and it was foul play. So foul play. So I can completely understand where the ref's coming from, eventually sin binning him, but I can understand Tigers fans being upset because that hasn't happened before, and.
But I would say in reverse to that, like last week, the Tigers got an 8-point try from Macassini staying down from basically a slap across the face.
Yeah.
Because he stayed down.
Yeah, I know. And
so it comes and swings and rounds.
Yeah, I just think the other thing is, though, that the NRL has made these games so fast. There's more fatigue there's ever been. And, you use those aerial players like the Tavana try in that game, an unreal moment. That'll be a highlight we'll use to advertise the game. Like, I do just feel sorry for the players that end up in a situation like that happens 5 times a game. That now he misses a month of footy because it was an injury off the back of it. And we're sort of splitting hairs here, realistically. Yeah. Like, we both, I think we can all understand both sides. But I had a situation a couple of years ago. I went down to Canberra to watch my brother play in S2 ball. He went up for a bomb. Guy came and took him under. Like, Josh broke his shoulder, missed the rest of the season. And I still sat there and went, it fucking sucks for my brother. I hate that.
Yeah.
But I still don't think the punishment should be more off because there's an injury.
Yeah.
Like, it's a brutal sport. There's injuries are going to happen. That is the harsh reality of it. We've built a gladiator sport that stuff's going to happen in occasionally, and it's unfortunate for Bailey. And as we said, we wish him all the very best. But I don't know if I feel comfortable with players getting harsher punishments because of injuries.
I think what makes this dude, like, let's say they both went up for the ball and it was a shoulder to shoulder and he landed on his leg and he, did the same thing. That's where I'll be like, okay, well, he shouldn't be punished for that because he's playing within the rules. I think the thing that tips me across the edge is that it was foul play that he wasn't supposed to do. And the reason why it is foul play is because it could cause injuries like that.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. In a completely perfect world, if we're trying to be as fair as possible, the injury should not impact the decision. I just think that the trains left the station years ago with that. Like, we absolutely have started adjudicating with what the look of the game is to win the PR battle. Because I do think that the headlines, let's say he doesn't get, 10 to the bin or whatever. And I know you shouldn't adjudicate for this, guys, but it's the real world. This is how it is adjudicated. Like the headlines for, let's say, for example, I don't know, the Reece Walsh situation in Origin. Let's say he didn't get sent off or whatever. The negative headline on that is like, this game is barbaric and they're not even punishing players for these situations, even though it's an accident. But I think personally you're being unreasonable if you're saying you can't see the other side of the argument.
Yes, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I think that it's a reasonable situation to go, both sides have merit. I definitely, I feel terrible for Bailey Simonson. Like,
So.
Far out. This poor bloke, probably their best outside back so far this year. Not probably, I'm trying to think. Yeah.
He's been bloody good.
Yeah, he's been
unreal.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Had a mountain of injuries, unfortunately. And this happens to be one that he can't control. Just sucks. So let us know in the comment section. What do you think? Should it have been 10 in the bin? Not 10 in the bin? Obviously, keep it respectful, guys. Keep it reasonable. Now, some positives, though. I mean, the positive of it and the silver lining, obviously, you don't want something like that to happen. It showed the ticker of the Tigers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Obviously, straight away, there was a bit of a rejig in the back line. And when you got a smart halfback like Mitch Moses, exposed it straight away twice. They scored twice. But once the numbers evened up again, they hung in there. They tackled their rings off. They didn't give up. The scramble was really good. The ability to kind of hang in that game and give themselves the chance to win it was very, very kind of commendable.
Because usually, it's not necessarily, granted the tries actually matter, but it's not the first 10 minutes that gets you. It's the gas you use from that 10-minute period that gets you in the back end of the game that they somehow hung on and got the job done.
Yep.
Okay, Kai Pearce-Paul. Mate, those flick passes, that's almost like, it's like he's born to do that. And you look at that and you're like, where was that last year? And look, I don't want to stick the boot in, and obviously the Knights have moved on and they're going outstanding this year. But he truly is a go-to weapon for the Tigers. Get the ball early to Kai Pearce-Paul, he will create, and there was literally 2 tries created from his great offloads.
Yeah, and anyone that saw him in the Super League before he came to the NRL, this was no shock whatsoever. This is why I talked him up so much when he came over. And you know what? It's not even putting the boot into Newcastle. I don't think it was Newcastle. I think it was the coaching up there. That's the reality of it. I think that evidence is becoming clearer and clearer every day we go on. But yeah, mate, once again, I come back to Benji. He's just given him a license to offload. And I think he's also, there's giving a guy a license to offload the football. Then there's also giving a guy a license to, it's okay if you make mistakes. We'll defend them. And I think that's the attitude the Tigers have right now. Whereas the Knights was, you turn the ball over, we fucking burn the village. It's over. You might not play next week. And you could tell in the way they played their football.
Yeah.
Whereas Kai, he's willing to take risks right now. You can tell he's enjoying himself. You could tell from that first try he scored at Leichhardt, that celebration. You never saw any of those emotions for him at Newcastle. You watched the Ashes. He didn't have the greatest series in the world, but you could tell the passion was there. He was trying to fight kangaroos and he's getting up and about. I think it's going to age to be one of the better signings this year.
Can I just say, just quickly, whilst we're on passion, the blokes in the crowd calling out rugby league players, basically saying, come up here and let's have a scrap.
Lol.
Might be the cringest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
Shout out to, we did touch on this on Win, Learn or Draw this morning, the NRL Fanatic, friend of the show.
Yep.
He put a comment on a post that came up about it. He goes, I went out to the car park afterwards. Those blokes were nowhere to be seen. Great stuff. Honestly.
What are we doing?
They must have the worst Sunday/Monday/Tuesday scaries watching that vision back. Honestly, what were they thinking?
My
and
God.
the response from the Tigers guys was spot on, just sort of laughing. Like, are you blokes actually serious?
Are you actually so let's walk this through. So you think these guys, whilst playing a game, are going to step over the fence, walk up to you to wherever you were pointing to, get in a punch on, and then come down? And also, you think you have a fucking chance against 17 absolute juggernauts? Like, what are you talking about here?
Ridiculous behavior.
That truly is, you've never been in a fight. There's no way you could have been in a proper fight and had the audacity to do that. When you know how left things can go with people that actually are way stronger and way fitter than you.
Yeah.
What the
No.
fuck?
These Pelicans have got too much time already. Honestly, it's fucking ridiculous. It's
Calling fucking footy players out whilst they're in the middle of an NRL game and the game is on the line. Fuck.
Outrageous stuff.
That is truly outrageous stuff. But sorry, back to Kai
You're back on Kai Sport. I was going to just say it's so refreshing. You know, he's playing his best footy since he's got to the Tigers, or his first 5 games have been very, very good. It's great to see we're at a point at the moment with the Tigers where players are actually coming to the Tigers and we're getting their best footy out of them.
Yep.
For a long time, it's been the reverse. Players have come and they've gone into their shell, or they haven't been at their best, or they've been past their best. But at the moment, Benji's kind of got this culture going, or he's able to attract players who are coming into their prime. So just as a fan of the club, that's very encouraging to see. But unbelievable yesterday, particularly the try that he set up for Buller. We had 3 guys hanging off him, had a look to offload out the back there, but went back in towards the post. That was just, that's the sort of, if AI could spit out what Rue had been kind of pitching to us for a few years with the offloads, that's what it would have given you, basically.
Yeah, the best thing about it is too, and I mean this with absolute all due respect, but your club in the last 25 years, they've been relevant for about 3 or 4 years, right?
Thank you.
And what's been the hallmark of those 3 or 4 years? What brand of footy do you imagine when the West
Exciting.
Tigers come on? It's exciting.
Benji ball.
We move the football, we offload. It's their identity. It's their, whenever they try and play like other sides, it doesn't work. They try and play like other teams, we compliment them for finishing 9th. It's insane. Move the football around, lean into the skill set that you had. You've got the squad that can do it. I watched their reserve grade yesterday. You got Stafford-Toa and Patrick Herbert down there. Gerald Skelton's not even in the team. It's good players that aren't making the team. They're in a fantastic spot, and you got Jerome Luai to come back in.
I got to say, and it burns me to say this, but in 2026, the Tigers have been the most exciting team to watch.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all your hard work.
You're welcome.
But is that a fair statement?
Yeah,
I think they've been the most exciting team to watch.
It goes from the top as well. It's exciting to see Benji down on the sideline in his Tigers
The hot PE
snap
teacher.
back and in his tracksuit. They've got these jerseys are outrageous. I love them. When I first saw them, I went, oh, fuck, that's a lot to take in. I love them now because it's who the West Tigers are. They're leaning into what their identity should be.
I feel like they're first. I feel like Newcastle are second, and they're playing at Sunday Arvo this weekend.
Ooh.
And
At round 6, the best game of the round will be the
Blockbuster.
Knights versus the Tigers. Out of the 9th one of the world, Campbelltown.
But it actually is.
Laughed out of town.
It's the game of the round. You got Roosters Sharks, which will be good too. Broncos Cowboys usually good, but Broncos are decimated. So I reckon this is the game of the round.
But also, Knights and the Tigers are playing exciting footy.
Yes.
Like they are actually, they're playing footy where they're not worried about making an error, but at the same time, they're highly skilled enough where they're actually landing a lot of the stuff they're trying to land. Even you go back to the Warriors game, a lot of their tries were 60-meter tries. It's exciting stuff. And look, I hopefully it stays like this. Hopefully this, because I do think that listen, you're not beating Penrith playing Penrith footy. I'll tell you that much for sure. Now, granted, I don't think that you should go into games saying that publicly that you're not going to beat them like that because you're basically conceding.
Yeah.
As you said, Sunday, Tigers, Knights, 4:05 p.m. Campbelltown. I'd like to officially invite you to the Kai Pearce Paul Ball, boys.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it? Campbelltown?
Campbelltown.
Oh, geez. Isn't that the one with it takes 3 hours to get out of the car park or something?
Yeah, that's where you get the train. Beautiful train station there at Lumea. Just walk across the little footbridge and away you go.
You going to that one?
I can't make it on Sunday. Got to get to, it's a big commute over to Fox at that straight after.
Big
But I will
TV
be.
guy.
Yeah,
too
TV
good for
guy.
us.
Hey,
Fuck.
too good.
Sorry for us.
Hey,
He's
listen.
coming in soon saying he can't do the shame, or he's on
Guess
the
when
Matty show.
I'm going straight back the next week though. I'm sure you'll be there, Kempy, when the Broncos play the Tigers out there. Deloise Hoytier Cup,
Maybe I will be.
7:30.
The Jock Madden Cup, mate.
It is the Jock Madden. Yeah, playing for the strap.
For the strap on. Playing for the strap on?
Yeah, you'll be there for it.
Or he screws his old club?
Go Tigers. You should come out to that though. That'll be a great night.
What day is it?
18th of April.
As in, is it Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday 7:30
7:30.
p.m.
Yeah.
Australian Eastern Standard
I'll
Time.
see you out there.
Come on down.
But yeah, anyway, back to the performance, boys. Back
Yep.
to the performance.
Yep.
Kai Pearce Paul, outstanding.
Yep.
And I thought Buller, I thought outside of, obviously the whole the Lily situation and, whatever the reason was they nearly fought, I don't know, I won't know. But outside of that, I mean, he's out of his own end carries were outstanding.
Yeah, outstanding. Good support play. Obviously got the try off the back of Kai Pearce-Paul as well, but probably his best game of the year so far
Buller?
this year. Jerome Buller.
Yep.
Yep. I thought he was really good yesterday for sure.
I know we've said it every week without being negative over here. I really do still think Makasini should go back to the wing. I think it is his spot. I think that teams are really just going at him. As I said, I watched your reserve grade game the other day, mainly to watch Stafford Toa to see if he was ready to come back in. Mate, Patrick Herbert was out of this world. He looked like fucking GI in reserve.
Man of the match.
I reckon he's a very good shot to come into the Sounds.
Yeah, defends really well. I like that. That's been a spot they've gone. Just get him in there, let him tackle, and give Makasini a bit of space. I do think, credit to Makasini, probably his best game since the season started.
I will say, Makasini, he gets targeted whenever he runs the ball, and he just keeps turning up.
He just keeps going.
Yeah, whereas a lot of teenagers would have melted back a bit and gone, oh, shit.
Yeah, absolutely. He does not quit. So, but I would like to see him on the wing with a bit of space, like we saw him in the preseason.
We assume though, Lily, he'll get a 1 week or something,
Yep.
won't he? Yeah. So there's your opportunity.
Yeah, Herbert
Beautiful.
and sliding.
Like even Makasini, like he still had 22 runs, 198 meters, 78 post contact. He had Lily had more, but
Yeah,
he had one of the most post contact. He had the second most post contact meters of anyone on the field, I think.
Yep.
Just like, mate, he's a teenager.
Yep.
And he gets targeted. Like they are shooting out of the line to try and jam him, and he just keeps turning up.
Isn't it funny with teenagers like him? And he reminds me of when I first saw Israel Folau and like the balance and all that sort of stuff. But isn't it funny with those guys? Like it's hard to explain, but you can just see it.
Yeah, yep.
You just
the way they
see
move.
there is, and I think we sort of take it for granted. But like Casey McLean, the same. We're sort of used to seeing him now, but they've just got that balance and the way they move is just different to other guys.
And also, they just handle contact really well for some reason. And usually at that age, it's the one thing they don't handle is the contact because they don't have that same muscle mass on them, the same strength. But yeah, guys like Casey McLean and Makasini, they are ready to go. Mate, I reckon Alex Twal might be having the best season of his career.
Unbelievable.
Like,
I mean, he played 80 of the 85 minutes on the weekend, which was outrageous. Obviously, 17 carries, 120 metres, but he had 5 tackle busts and 3 offloads. He's really added the tackle busts and the offloads. You're getting multiple in both of those columns every game so far this year. He's added a few more dimensions to his game. He's obviously very, very fit, playing big minutes, and 50-odd tackles as well. So, he's always been solid in that department, but he's really rounded out his game nicely this year.
Big conversation in our Supercoach world at the moment, mate, because Alex Twel's been his last 5 seasons. He averaged 50, 50, 44, 50. He's always just been a plotter at 50 that you kind of find appealing. We're, 4 games in for you guys?
Yep.
He's averaging over 80 Supercoach points, which is like out of this world, and he's doing it consistently every single week to the point where, is my favourite thing about the West Tigers right now, Terrell May doesn't have to put the cape on every week. Be Superman.
Mate, I'll tell you something about Terrell May is like what I liked about the fact that he's not playing 80 minutes is when the game was on the line, he took like 4 hit-ups in like 2 sets.
Yep.
And he couldn't do that if he's gassed from an 80-minute performance. But what I like about May, and he probably won't get the raps he deserves because, it just kind of gets lost in the noise, but he is a front rower that says, like, when the game's on the line, give me the ball, I'll get you meters, and really wants to get involved as much as possible. And I reckon, like, he's another big reason why you withstood that momentum because he was running so regularly. I mean, to be honest, around the board, like, Hunt off the bench. Last year he was almost nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
Compared to his form now.
He had a couple of games in reserve grade where he had like 2 runs last year. This year he's stripped down, having impact every week, just running really hard and giving Terrell May that spell that he needs so he can come back and finish the game really strong as well. So he's been outstanding. Alex Seyfarth, I like the way they're using him at the moment. It's every game. It's just been like the last 15 minutes of the game. That's when you're going on when you're fresh. The other team's a little bit, there's some tired legs out there for them. When the fatigue comes into his game, that's when kind of the silly penalties can come, whatever. But Benji's almost like removed that option. He's like, just give us your best at the end of the game. The whole forward pack, they're kind of really rounding each other out nicely at the moment, so it's not all landing on Terrell's shoulders.
But I like that Benji is gutsy enough to go, you play 20 minutes. Like a lot of the coaches they wouldn't do it for some reason. They're like, nah, unless you can play 40 minutes. Whereas he's going, no, you have a very specific job. It's 20 minutes a week, and we've got these other guys around you that can pick up those minutes. Whereas I feel like other coaches, they'd go the opposite route. They'd either go, you're getting fucking 8 minutes or you're getting 40 minutes rather than like, here's 20 minutes of just going absolutely hard, simplify his game plan, and you're getting the best out of him from it.
I love to see Latu back in this side too.
Yep.
And just, what do you need me to do? Lock, beautiful.
Yep.
Put me out there.
And he did
Centre.
come out and say that as well. He said, mate, I'm happy to play wherever, which shows you where the club's at right now.
That's right, and that's what happened yesterday. He had to end up playing a little bit in the centres when there's a bit of an injury.
I love
there.
that attitude from him because there's a lot of young halves, especially as highly touted as he was, that would be kicking stones at the moment.
Yep.
Going, this is bullshit. I've been here for years. He's saying, no, I just want to be a part of it. So, outstanding win from the Tigers. Like, genuinely, what are they? He's a second now.
Yeah.
Second after 5 rounds.
I'm getting vertigo up here.
It's lonely at the top.
Yeah, well, not lonely. We're up here with Penrith, just the heavyweight to the comp. But being this high up the ladder,
Oh, okay.
been a while.
I will say, like, if you're up the top of the mountain, then you turn around, there's actually a much larger mountain, and Penrith are up there by themselves,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And
And
there's much lower mountains though, mate.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Yeah.
that.
I have to take your word for that, guys.
you could be on the Raiders mountain, which
Yeah.
is fucking little ditch at the moment.
Yeah, no wonder he's left the fucking.
No,
club.
yeah, can't handle the
God.
heat. Can't handle the heat, Timmy. Timmy the Tin Heart by name, Timmy the Tin Heart by nature. Okay, on to the Eels. Man, to be honest, when you look at how many injuries they had, with all the shit that went wrong, Pezzett gone, Simonson gone, a bunch of people gone, I actually thought they were brave. They hung on. I'm not too disappointed with the Eels' performance. I really am not. Like, yeah, okay, you could say there were periods before half time they could have sorted certain things, and yeah, okay, I'm with you. But I think the Tigers are kind of red hot right now, and also the amount of offloads that the Tigers are throwing around, it stops the Eels from getting into their fast-paced ball in play style of play, because that's how they want to play. They want to play ball in, keep the ball in, have fast, fit forwards. We saw how much Junior Polo, how many kilos he's dropped, and we just try and keep the game high tempo. And I think that the offloads, it really does muddle their systems quite a bit. And I think that's why the Tigers might actually, if they keep playing like this, might have some joy against some other sides, because it muddles systems up. Because if you want fast line speed, the last thing you want is offloads. Because what happens is either you've already retreated because you're looking at the next play, or you've got to get up again and then you're not back for the quick play of the ball. And so I thought the Eels were brave. I think that the Tigers are not the same Tigers as last year, so it's not like you're losing to a team that's coming 14th or something like that. So I'm happy with the Eels' performance.
I think they are really missing the impact of Dylan Walker off the bench. I understand he's out there,
Yeah.
but I think that, when the Eels have been at their best over the last year or two, it's been, they've got a good enough team to, hold in the fight early. Then Dylan Walker comes on, he just gives them a completely new look and a new angle to them. I think they're really missing bringing him off the bench. And, mate, like, once again, Jack DeBellin sat on that six-man bench, didn't get on the field again.
Yeah.
Surely after this week and granted, I don't think any of the injuries are in the forward pack. They're all outside backs and stuff. But
You know what's funny is I actually think it might be a bit of an insight into what the problem at the Dragons is. And what I mean by that is I don't think DeBellin at this stage of his career is fast enough for the Eels' style of play. And what is the big issue at the Dragons right now? They're too big and slow.
yeah,
Like they're really good in contact. They can drag you down into a battle and they're tough. But they're just too slow across the park, in my opinion anyway.
yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, there's obviously something there because
Yeah.
it is such a big call to sign Jack DeBellin on what I would imagine wouldn't be a small contract. But Jason Riles has shown he's not afraid to make these calls. Showed it again yesterday. Like, if you have a look, Guymer played 58 minutes. Tuivati played 51 minutes. Luca Moretti played 30. A lot of minutes for guys over Jack DeBellin.
Yep. I thought Guymer was outstanding yesterday, to be honest.
He's a good player,
He's
Guymer.
fucking
He's a
ripped.
very good player. If I'm going to be a bit negative and nitpicky with the Eels, geez, man, some of the decision-making of their young ball players sometimes, like Jonah
those
kicking
kicks.
early in the
Oh,
first
my
half, and I personally think, like, that decision by the hooker to go down the short side to Josh Adokar.
It was twice. He went to Katonga, overcalled Moses. De Silva went to Katonga. Then after going away from Moses, he went again to Josh Adokar. Now, look, Josh Adokar might have had a Porky's call or a red call, which means it's an overcall of everything. But I just think, like, in those situations, you've probably played enough footy to go, you know what, just get Moses the fuck
Mate,
ball.
by Fox's face, I don't think that was the case.
Yeah.
I think he was like, what the fuck is going on? But I just, when we had that situation last year when Moses sprayed the hell out of him, people went, oh, Moses is too harsh. It's going to rail his confidence. This is why Mitch Moses does it. Because like that game, whatever game that was last year, it's not the first time he's seen that. He's obviously seen it in training and a few times before. And I can't believe it happened again in this game.
Twice in a row, too. I'm all for young fellas coming in and having confidence. Like you want that. You don't want to have that out of them. But Pezet and De Silva, like the Pezet, he kicked it out and then he kicked on the second tackle for a 7-tackle set, and it's just like when you've got Mitchell Moses there, who is arguably the best kicker in the comp. Like Nathan Cleary's the best kicker in the comp, but Moses is up there. I reckon just take a step, like let him take care of that. You take care of the fun stuff, which is just run the ball. You know, if you're shot for numbers or you don't really know what's happening, just run the ball.
Yep.
Like you don't even need to be the 7 anymore, which is, you know what I mean? It's less stress on your. Oh yeah, look. I'm still really happy with their performance as a team, the Eels. But yeah, I do have to agree with you, mate. Some of those decisions were tough.
Yeah, the Bezet kicking game early was wild. That's going to be interesting. Now he's got an injury coming out of this game as well. You had young Twiddle who made his debut, who's just been absolutely carving up New South Wales Cup. He scored 4 tries last week playing fullback.
What a try for your first try! My God,
crazy. Yeah. And mate, he's one of these kids. I don't know if you remember, but round 1, Parramatta got dished by Melbourne down there. I put up a post saying, mate, in reserve grade, there's these 2 kids that are going well, and I put up this highlight of, I still think it's one of the best passes I've seen, this cutout ball. This was him that threw that pass that game. Okay. So talented kid who can play multiple positions. He could be the 5'8" or the fullback this week for the Parramatta Eels, given their injuries.
So is Josh Papali'i, was it cramps or was it injuries? What do you think he's leapfrogged him?
Well, he was playing out on the right wing, but he was sort of hobbling around. He actually at one point made a very good defensive play, considering he was on one leg, but he didn't look too good. But you've also got, you've lost Sean Russell. He won't play next week. Simonson obviously won't play next week. Pensini's close to returning next week, maybe the week after. So there's going to be a real reshuffle here with Parramatta.
Mate, that try, my God. Like, to be able to put that down, that is one of the tougher finishes you'll ever see. Like, to somehow stay in and keep the ball in your hand.
Yeah.
As your first touch in first grade. Was his first touch in first grade?
Yeah, his first touch, yeah.
Like,
he scored with his second as well.
That's crazy.
Gravity defying.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff.
And also, like, I could be wrong, but I've never seen him play wing before.
Oh, no way.
I'm sure he probably has, but it's still like playing wing in reserve grade or whatever, which I don't think he has, but in your junior grade, so then your first grade debut and you get chucked in with 20 minutes to go, Easter Monday in front of 40,000. Enormous. Just handled the moment so well, I thought. It's an example as well. I don't know if you guys have heard anything. Was his family and stuff there?
Yeah, so they weren't going to come because he was like, I'm not going to play. I didn't think I was going to play. And then the night before the game, they were like, you know what? Let's do it. We'll get some flights. Flew in the morning and his mum was there.
Yeah, because it is one of these tough things with this 6-man bench that you quite often won't know when a debut. And granted, that was his first time on the 6-man bench, but you're going to have situations where family members are going to go, fuck, we've been here for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
do we keep doing this in case he gets on?
Yeah.
Surely the club pays for the flights, as many as needed.
Yeah, but I mean, like you look at some of these debuts where there's 50, 60 family members coming to some of them. Like, you can't do that for X amount of weeks.
Yeah, no, I just meant the immediate family. I'm not
the immediate family for sure. Yeah. But it is, it's just an interesting one heading into the future with this 6-man bench.
Were you happy overall with the Eels' performance in regards to how they played, or?
I just thought they came up against a good footy side personally, and I also think the reality is they lost a lot of players in this game. They've they've essentially had a major injury in every single game, like a season-ending injury so far.
Three from foul play, 3 season enders.
It's rough. Yeah. I mean, as a whole, Parramatta, I think the reality is with Parramatta as well, like, they've had a reasonably tough start to the season. They had to play
tough.
Penrith, Melbourne, Brisbane. I'm shooting a blank on the other side they played. Dragons. Sure. But then even this Tigers side, they came up against a red-hot side.
The Tigers are second, so it's like...
Yeah. This Easter Monday game is becoming a really important part of the calendar.
Very rarely does it let you down. Like, they're always pretty close, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sort of 8 to 10 point margins or less. Yeah.
So what do we do? Like, what do we do next week if you're the Eels? Like, Pezet gone. Volkman, is he still at the club?
Yeah, Volkman played halfback in reserve grade over the weekend. I'm just going to get their team sheet up and have a look. But I would assume that Twiddle will be a member of that spine somewhere. I think that's safe to assume. I think the other thing with Parramatta is because they've had so many injuries, like you have to pick, 19 players on your team?
I think they've only got like 19 left in the squad.
Yeah, they must be getting very close. So Jack DeBellin doesn't get a run this weekend. Fuck.
Yeah.
Mate, when you have a look at the outside backs that played on the weekend, not a single one of them have played first grade. Volkman was the only one in the entire back line that's played first grade. So they're going to be really, really tested. And even in their forward pack, there's not too many first graders there as well. So really interesting times for them.
Man, Pez is an interesting one. I know he had a decent game against the Broncos towards the back end. The first 20 he was really poor in defence, in my opinion. I don't know. Even though the Eels have been going better than I probably gave him credit for because of who they've been playing, I just think Pez has got quite a lot of growth left in him still. I don't think he's as complete as the hype would make us believe. Still a good first grader that's coming in. He's still a rookie. I know not rookie in the sense he has played more than 4 games, but you know what I'm saying. He's early in his career. But there's been a lot of things he's done in the first 5 rounds that he's got to clean up, in my opinion.
He's definitely a first grader. There's no doubt about that. But I've always been on this side of the fence. And it's not because of anything against Jonah, but it's just because the hype has always just been too big for Jonah. And as I said when it happened, I think Brisbane have made a mistake by letting Kobe Black go. And now with the situation of Brisbane, with Payne Haas leaving, all that sort of stuff, I think it's going to be a really interesting watch over the next few years. Because like you're seeing him right now playing alongside Mitch Moses. He gets to Brisbane next year. Adam Reynolds gone. Payne Haas gone. It's going to be a huge test.
Yeah, I'm stoked that I know he's injured at the moment. He did his hammy, but I'm stoked that he's going to get a year. Because like the good thing for him now is he's going to get some first grade under his belt. Because that's the one thing with the Storm that was tough on him. He'd come in, he'd play solidly, he'd go back to New South Wales Cup, he'd go back in. So I'm really keen to see him develop over the next year. But he's definitely rough around the edges, and I think he needs to clean a bit around, which is understandable from a rookie's perspective. But yeah, I just think there's been some decisions that he's just got to find a way to get rid of them in his game.
I'll tell you what, like going to Brisbane next year, between him and Ezra Mam, like, geez, that edge defence going to be.
That's why I'm hoping the next 12 months.
Yeah,
he works on a lot.
Yeah,
because I just think
like there's a good footballer there. There's no denying that.
Of course,
he played in that finals game last year and killed it. Was the best on ground. There's a good footballer there. I don't think the wild hype he's got matches up to where Jones is at.
Which is unfair on him because he didn't hype himself up.
He didn't hype himself up. Exactly right.
He's just playing footy, doing his best. But the good thing is
before people in the comments jump down the throat, like it hasn't even been Braith hyping him up on 360 either.
No, he's getting hyped everywhere.
It's been the general people, yes.
Yeah. And so it's not his fault at all. But I do think that it's got a lot to kind of round out in his game. And if your side's such a gun in Mitchell Moses and you're still making these kind of just, I won't say brain explosions because it's not like he reacted and just did it. It's just not first grade standard. The errors that he's making, they're unnecessary errors. Because in regards to his attack and ability to put on try assists, he's outstanding. Like that's definitely his strongest part of his game is his attacking part of putting on try assists. He's just got to round out the other parts of his game, in my opinion. But I'm super keen to see how he develops because if there's a partner you want to develop with, outside of Nathan Cleary, it's probably Mitchell Moses. So yeah, that's a watch, wait and see. But yeah, I'm relatively happy outside some specific things. Relatively happy with how the Eels went. Alrighty, it's time for the next game, and it's the Seagulls versus the Dolphins, and it's powered by Lontel. Go to lontel.net.au/bloke. Use your code, get your discount, 7 days free, no credit card required. The best internet in all the land, guys. I mean, absolutely smashing Crimson Desert. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Okay, 52-18. But don't let the score fool you, even though that's still a massive lead. It really was 52-0, and the Seagulls said, you know what, we're done here. What an incredible turnaround. Look, I get all the caveats. Okay, it's one game, and it's a long season. I get all that. We understand it's a long season. We understand it's one game. But, geez, talk about what the club needed, and the club needed this. A huge win for a club legend. Showed that this team, although I don't think they're a premiership threat this year, but at the very least, at their absolute best, probably could land mid-table. What a great win for the club.
Yeah, huge win. I think the next month and a half is going to be a bad time to play the Manly Seagulls. I think you're going to see some really exciting footy. Said last week I thought you'd get an immediate reaction. I didn't expect 52 points as an immediate reaction against the Dolphins, who we'll get to them soon, but I have no fucking clue what's going on up there. Mate, I thought Ben Trbojevic, that was probably the best game of his career. We've had little moments, but I thought he was outstanding, and he's just got all the skill set that you need to be an elite second rower. It's just the consistency and the defense at times. But I thought the other night But would you agree? Best game of his career?
Yeah, 100%. He was outstanding. I think all three Trbojevic brothers, you could argue it's the best game they've played together as a trio. Like, they were linking up a lot of the time. They looked like the shackles of a very specific game plan that Seabold seemed to have looked to have been taken off, and they looked like a team that was essentially like, you know what? I trust Tom Trbojevic and I trust Fogarty and Jake Trbojevic are going to know what to do in good ball to score points. That's what it looked like to me. Hammy, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I thought they were outstanding. The Dolphins have been okay this year. They've been up and down a little bit, but, it was up there at KO Stadium, and, definitely just they look like a happier team. They were playing happy footy. They wanted to be out there. They clearly were getting around and responded to whatever vibe that Kieran Foran brought to them. Both their back rowers, I thought, were outstanding. Easily Hamole's best game of the season as well. He absolutely killed it.
Just like early, simple ball.
Yeah, just give it to him. Don't overthink it. He was a wrecking ball. 272 metres, almost 130 post contact. Outrageous behaviour. He was an absolute handful. Back in kind of like origin form the other day. But yeah, a lot of guys kind of stepped up and played just happy, fun, expansive kind of footy, and it showed on the scoreboard.
Like, Jake Trbojevic had 8 runs in the first 30 minutes. Like, he hasn't had, I think together he might have had that many runs in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But it just showed you that I think there is merit to the idea that Seabold had a very specific game plan that involved side-to-side rugby league, and Jake Trbojevic was trying to buy into that, but was probably internally saying to Anthony Seabold, mate, this game plan, it's just not working. Like, it's not working for us. And I think that what we saw on the weekend was Foran just trusting that they've got enough stars. Like, the thing is this, a head coaching role, yes, when it comes to the top-tier sides, X's and O's are really important because it's the little 1% that you can find against the Panthers or against the Broncos or against the Storm, whoever it is, that can win you a match. But when you're playing just normal middle-of-the-table footy, a lot of head coaching is just about getting the boys up and about and completing high and defending like putting their body on the line pretty much. And a lot of these players, they didn't get to where they're at. Like, Tom Trbojevic didn't get to where he was at without knowing how to put plays on and score points, without knowing and identifying, boys, get to that post, I want an out-the-back ball over here. And I think Foran just relied on that. I think he just said, you know what, let's just complete high, make our tackles, run hard, and then when we get in good ball, just get the ball to Olakau'atu or Turbo, and that will sort it.
Yep.
Or Kohler.
Keep it simple.
Keep
it simple. Keep the boys upbeat.
Yeah.
That's what they look like to me, a team that was enjoying themselves and just playing upbeat footy.
And it's not going to win you a grand final. It might even not even win you a finals match. But I tell you what, it'll win you more than you lose in club footy during the year. And that's all he needs at the moment for him.
Yeah, and Manly fans won't like to hear this. They're not in the premiership winning business right now.
No.
They're in the fucking put the fire out business at the moment, and I think Foz is going to do it for them.
I think right now, and I'm with you. I'm not trying to put the boot in because I like Manly, especially the last few years of Manly have been such an exciting team to watch when they attack well. But I reckon right now Manly are in the business of reinstilling what it is to be a Manly Seagulls player. Whereas the last few years, when I watch them play, there is a style they play, which is very expansive. But I ask myself, like, what is a Manly player? And back in the day, it was a guy we all hated. Like, they were fucking rough and tumble. They didn't have all the fucking resources everyone else had. They were highly skilled, but they played hard, they partied hard. Like, there was that kind of old school vibe to them. And like right now, obviously you can't go back to those days because the game has changed. But like by getting guys in like Foran and potentially Ballin or whoever it is, I just think that this is what I've always been surprised at with Manly. Over the last 20 years, there's only probably 4 clubs that have a bunch of old boys that have a proven track record of winning over a long period of time. You've got Melbourne Storm, obviously, Broncos, Roosters, and Penrith. You could say Rabbitohs-ish, but not over a long period of time. And what I've never understood with Manly is you've got a group of old boys that know what the culture is to get the job done. And it seems like they've been kind of involved in the club, but not really to a degree. And what I'm hoping this new era is, with obviously King, with obviously Foran there, is they really lean on, like, what did the Broncos lean on when they needed to go from wooden spoon back to a grand final side? They got an old boy and they got Kevy Walters in that taught these boys what it was to be a Bronco, laid the foundation, and then obviously Madge's taken that and run with it. And I'm hoping Manly do something similar to that.
Isn't it interesting when you talk about like what Manly was 10 years ago, 15, when they were in grand finals every year and all that sort of stuff, like, and just how different the game was. And they were rough and tumble, they were rough around the edges, all that sort of stuff. And then you've got this Trbojevic family that comes along that is just the polar opposite to all of that. I personally think it's essentially that family that has changed the way that Manly is perceived. But I think it'd be very tough to find many people under the age of 30 that would say, I hate Manly.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's just not the same anymore.
It's not the same as it used to be, where it was like truly. So look, I don't think I need to get back to that per se, but I do think when you go to Manly, you've got to be like, this is going to be a dogfight. Like, yes, it might be a bit flashier. Yes, they might be able to score more points or whatever it is. Now, granted, Stewart at Manly could score some points. Was he like the greatest home try scorer ever? Or
Yeah, I
something
think
like
he
that?
had the most tries at Brookvale Oval.
Yeah. And so, like, I'm not saying it needs to be a 1-to-1, but are you telling me this current Broncos crop is a 1-to-1 with the early 2000 Broncos? No, they're not. However, there are parts of their identity that have stayed same.
Yeah.
And I think Manly can lean into that. Like, if you're going to Manly, Olakau'atu's going to fucking jam you. Turbo's going to be absolutely on fire like the Snake was back in the day. Jake Trbojevic going to make a million tackles in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, lean on that identity for you.
And that hill has to be all over you.
Yes,
And it
absolutely.
just hasn't been this year.
Yeah, I just think that they've got such an opportunity here to do, because the not surprising, the positive thing for Manly as well is like their roster isn't that bad. It's not like they need to blow the whole joint up. They just got to tweak a few things.
I was saying to a mate the other night before this game kicked off, I sort of said, I reckon Manly will win. He sort of went, oh, you're fucking crazy. And I sort of went, oh, mate, I reckon it is right up there with one of the best teams ever to have an interim coach. When you look at the actual squad on paper, not how they've been playing, just on paper, to have Turbo, Kohler, Garrick, Lehigh, Fogarty, Paseka, Olakau'atu, the Trbojeviches, like, normally when you have an interim coach come in, it is tire fire.
Yep.
We're fucked for the next few years. Manly just need a fresh, a breath of fresh air, realistically.
And so, like, is their forward pack, has it all of a sudden woken up this morning in this great forward pack now? No, I don't think so. But do they have people around the forward pack that, as long as the forward pack completes and does their job, that can take advantage more than other players can? Yeah, I do think they can. So this is just a bloody good win. Who stood out for you, mate, for Manly?
Yeah, well, you touched on some of those forwards there. There was a couple that really sort of stood up after having a pretty quiet start to the season. Paseka in the 200 club.
Yep.
He made 200 metres the other day. I thought he was really good. Corey Waddell off the bench. One of his best games just about ever.
Yep.
Just absolute meter eater. Bullymore, a little bit more game time. But for some reason, he was hardly getting any under siege. So I feel like their forward pack, really, obviously the back rowers were the ones that sort of stole the show, but they all kind of ripped in and showed a little bit more ticker over the course of the weekend. So, yeah, I think the forward pack deserve a good rap in this game.
Yeah.
Going up against a pretty decent forward pack on paper in the Dolphins.
We haven't even mentioned it as well, but like 52-0 essentially. And after 50 minutes, Turbo was cleared to come back from his HO and they went, we're good.
Yeah.
To not put Turbo, like, if you think back to what it's the first month of football, to think that this side could go, leave Turbo off, leave him on ice.
With everything that's going on.
Crazy.
Yeah. I remember that picture with Foran, like after they went 50-0 up, he's up in the box. He must just be going, oh my, what is going on right now? The bar has been set too high. So listen, great win for the club. Are they going to be fighting for premierships here? No, I don't think so. I think at their absolute best, if they go on a crazy run, could maybe finish 8th or 9th. I still have them landing around the 11th or 12th mark, probably, which is better than what I had. I had them towards the bottom 2. So, I mean, just what the club needed. Great win.
It spells trouble for us just quietly. If they're mathematically in the conversation in round 25, we're off to the hill. So
Yeah, listen, that's not.
I was feeling great about that 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Love to use your membership barcode, Roo, to get us in.
Yeah. As a Manly man, you got to hook up there, don't you?
I'll be sitting in my box watching.
Up in his ivory tower.
Oh, mate. Could you imagine how pizzled we will get by rocking up?
That'd be unreal.
Like, we will get izzled.
You guys will.
The bet, like, it's a negative bet as well.
Yeah.
Not even a positive bet.
You think you're going to get pissed there? Wait till you come out to the strap bowl out of Campbelltown next week.
Okay, on to the Dolphins. Listen, I'm really concerned about the Dolphins. Like, they have not looked good all year long. Looked good against the Sharkies. I can give them that. Even against the Broncos, they had all the field position in the world. Yes, the Broncos defended their asses off. They look like a world away from where I thought they were going to look right now.
What's weird about this side, there's so many players in this team that I think as individuals, they look really good. But just as a team, they're just not putting it together. Like, I think Jake Averillo's playing some of the better footy I've seen him play. Herbie obviously looks tremendous. I think Hamiso started the season well. Guys, like, you've got the two edges, Fine Fuiaki, Lemuelu. We talk about them every week, how good they're going. But as a side, it's just not working. I think I've got a punishment at the end of the year that I've got to go with the Mr. T if they don't make the 8. I'm very fucking nervous.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Mr. T on the Manly Hill.
Oh, could you imagine? Mate, I've got to say, and I said this, I think it was after round 1, but I just think they need to tweak their mentality. Like, they are smart, they're fit, they're fast. As you said, individually, they look great. But, geez, they do some dumb things. Like, they play dumb footy sometimes. Like, in the first half, I know he was pretty good, or decent at least last week, but Morgan Knowles gave away 3 penalties in a sin bin in the first half. And then what happens is, so that happened in the first half, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to come out, be a bit more conservative. Then Lemuelu comes flying out of the line, absolutely should have been sent 10 in the bin, but the ref was like, if I send him for 10, this could be 60-0. Tommy Turbo gets head-hired. And then, later in the game, there are other penalties like that where I'm just like, listen, I'm all for old school. Like, I love old school footy. I love the fact that looking back in the old days where you could turn a game with a gigantic hit. I just don't know if the game has that in it anymore. I'm not saying I endorse it, and I'm happy that it doesn't have it anymore. But, look, yes, you can turn the game with a big hit. But the risk you take by doing that, it just outweighs the reward. There are other ways to be doing it.
Yep. Completely agree. I think the other thing with this side, mate, when I watch them attack, they're lucky enough to have Isaiah Cartel, one of the best young halves in the game. They look to me to be a team that is just waiting for Hamiso or Herbie to pull something out of their ass. Yep. And I think what's happening with Herbie is, he's a freak. Don't get me wrong, he's incredible. But I think the Dolphins are becoming a little bit too reliant on him breaking 6 tackles, offloading, and then playing something off the back of that. Whereas last year, mate, you couldn't turn on a TV on a Monday and not see a review show or something breaking down a play from Isaiah Cartel where everyone was in these perfect spots and it was also technical and perfect, whereas it's just gone to shambles.
Well, I even think Herbie, although he's still playing well because I'm with you, but I even think he's leaning a little bit too far into it as well, where it's he feels like he needs to break 7 tackles a set and then have this crazy offload, whereas you can't, if you're doing that every time you run the ball, you can't lay lines, you can't get to certain points on the field, but he has to do it because if he doesn't do that, they're literally they're stuffed.
Yep.
They're literally stuffed.
Yep.
And then you got Hammer who, comes into the game with 20 to go. I don't know. It's not looking good. I just can't believe how much they have, what's the word? I guess, taken a step back in both facets of the game, defense and attack.
And that's the other thing as well. When you look at sides that aren't going well, normally you can pinpoint, okay, they need to change these 3 players. And there's not many changes they can make. And so I think it is just a mindset thing for them.
I keep, I'm going to keep harping on about it, but I just think this old school, I think the Roosters have to tweak it because doesn't work in the modern game. And this old school hyper aggressive defense, it's just not worth it. Even all the energy you expend in trying to put a shot off, if you miss that contact, or even if you make that contact but you don't win the wrestle, you're on the back foot for the rest of the game. All the boys, if you listen to any interview with any player, they keep talking about how it's essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but they're it's like touch footy out there. That's how quick it is. Some of the 6-agains I saw on the weekend were truly as soon as you hit the ground, if you didn't roll away, it was a 6-again. Literally hit the deck, move. It's like touch footy. And I just think that this aggressive, hyper-aggressive style, it just doesn't suit the modern age. And they've got to tweak this mindset. It's just not going to work in this day and age. And I felt like they had a pretty good balance last year. They obviously let it get to them against the Roosters, and they had that big loss in the end, and they kind of lent into what the Roosters wanted to do last year. And I admire them for it. I admire their spirit, but I just don't see it being successful in today's game. Hammy, what do you reckon about the Dolphins?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it would have been a bit of a coach killer for them. What was they, 28-0 down at halftime? And then literally the first thing, just about off the kickoff, they come out and do a big high shot.
Screaming out of the line to hit Turbo on a kick return.
Yeah. Got to be all the chat at halftime would have been let's just, no penalties, let's just get down there, settle it down a little bit. But no, they continued to do it. And all through the game, these big kind of shots, and yeah, they just got gassed and Manly took advantage of it. So a far cry from where they were last year. They were the most damaging attacking team in the comp last year. Scored more points than anybody, but they've really struggled to kind of get going or click in that department all year as well. So, yeah, they have taken a step back, both facets of the game. It's just not gelling for them, not clicking, which is, you would have thought with another year under their belt and some of the weapons they'd added into the back line, they would have got better. But at this point, that's not the case.
So just quickly, what's happening with the 9 role? Because, like, respectfully, Morgan Knowles needs time either off the bench or in Queensland Cup, in my opinion. And they've got to put Plath back at the 13 role. I love Morgan Knowles' passion. I love his aggression. I love the fact that he's an absolute workhorse. But he needs time to learn the speed of NRL, learn what's a penalty, what's not going to. And I don't say that in a condescending way. I just mean that, like, I'm assuming we're probably more willing to give penalties, I guess, if it touches the chin in the NRL. I just think he should come off the bench and learn, just get used to NRL first. And that's not a knock on him. I just think you're asking a bit too much of him just to come straight into first grade from the Super League and be a number 13 in today's game with the speed of it. I'd rather him come off the bench and do his work.
Yeah, and I think they've sort of had their hand forced to some extent into that. I think you'll see over the next few weeks with Kurt Donohoe returning now. I assume you'll see Kurt Donohoe go to 9 and Max Plath go into that 13 role. Hope and assume.
Even if, mate, bring him off the bench, get him through the middle as a front rower. He runs hard. He tackles his absolute back. Like, he is physically great, Morgan Knowles. It's just, he just needs time. He needs time. Like any rookie would need time.
Yep. Optically, is this worst case scenario? You get 50 put on you by the Manly Seagulls. You then go into a bye, 2 weeks to think about that. Then you come out of the bye and they play Penrith.
Oh my
in
God,
Darwin.
Bro. Like, it's the worst 2 weeks you could have in the season, really. Have a dramatic loss like that, and then you've got to sit there, and they can amp themselves up as much as they want for this Penrith game. But I promise you, there's a little voice in all their heads sitting there going, fuck, this is going to be absolute hell out there.
Yeah.
They go bye, then they go Penrith in Darwin, then they go New Zealand in New Zealand. Shit. That's a big couple of weeks for the Finn. Fuck.
Jesus.
Oh my God. And then they play Melbourne the week after.
At Magic Round.
Oh my God.
That's not even Magic Round.
Oh,
Then they
yeah,
play
you're
the
right.
Bulldogs the week after
Oh God.
that. Then South Sydney at Magic Round. Yeah. Jeez, that's a
tough run. That is a tough run. It's like even Donahue, he got 29 minutes. Like, surely you get Platt at 13 and you can have Donahue at 9 if you need to.
I reckon it's Donahoe's first game back from injury. I would assume they're just easing him back in. I reckon this week it'll look. Not this week. The week after it'll look different. If it doesn't, then I'll have big concerns. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at like this front row. Like obviously Kafusi, he is a bit older, so he's going to be a bit slower. But Gilbert's a big boy. He's another guy. Like he's so hyper aggressive. Instead of doing that, like you got to make your one-on-one tackle with Olakau'atu as a front rower, like stuff like that. Use the energy rather than try and put a shot off. And look, everyone misses tackles. It's natural. I'm not saying that he can't never miss a tackle again, but he's a guy that's struggled this year so far. And I look at their front row. So Tom Gilbert, big boy. Kafusi, older. Lemuelu, relatively big boy. Finifuaki, huge. Morgan Knowles, pretty big. I just think if you bring Max Plath in there, he at 13, or Donahue, either one, at least you've got that speed around the ruck that can keep up with the pace of the game.
Yeah, and I think that when they were playing their best footy last year, I think it was obvious they were leaning into that. So once again, I hope once they're all back and they're available now that they do, because I just don't think they've had too many choices realistically. Geez, boys, I thought and I'm obviously a big fan of him and it's a great story this year, but geez, that Tom Flegler defensive effort on Burbo.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Like that is so uncharacteristic. Like he's the last person on the field that I thought would do that.
Yep.
I don't know. For me, it just must be frustration. Must be just like anger, frustration.
It looked like a frustration moment.
Yeah.
To me,
Because look, his toughness is undoubtable. He's played Origin. He's played in the grand finals. It's just he just looks extremely frustrated with what's happening right now. Another guy who Selwyn Cobbo, they just said basically just put a lot of pressure on him and he's going to make errors. So look, really disappointing week for the Dolphins. What are they? 1 from 5? They beat the Sharkies.
2.
Beat the Titans as well. Oh, and So look, it's not disaster areas just yet, but there's not a single game they've played this year where I've gone, that's where I would have expected Dolphins to be in regards. Even the Sharkies game, look, I'll give them that. I'll give them that. But outside of that, so hopefully they can find a way to bounce back. All right, that was all brought to you by Lontel, guys. Nobody knows how long fuel prices will be going for, but remember, Lontel gives you 7 days free and $25 credit with code BLOKE, no contracts. You really have no reason not to try really, really premium internet if you're lucky enough to work from home for the next few weeks. Lontel also has 6-month reduced pricing for all speeds for everyone that signs up with a referral code. Use BLOKE first, then you can create your own in the portal. Tell your sister, tell your mates, and you can then you get $50 credit if they use your code. Okay, into the next game. Rabbitohs defeat the Bulldogs. Let's stick with some positives. Let's talk about the Rabbitohs first, and then we'll get into the doggies. Look, really, really good win for the Rabbitohs. Like, I think that, yeah, okay, you could look at the fact that 24 points are scored or whatever, but I think this is what the club needed. I think that the game against the Tigers, although they ended up getting the win, you could tell that they weren't happy with the standard rugby league they played. I love this, and if I'm being honest, if there was one specific thing that was a difference, mate, it was a short kicking game from the Rabbitohs. Like, I think it was 2 tries of short kicks in behind. Really, really important win from the Rabbitohs, and it has just given them that energy heading into the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. They needed this one. As you said, the Tigers' performance wasn't overly convincing there. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of South Sydney at the moment. I think the scary thing with them is, mate, they're nowhere near their best as well. I think they've got so much more that they can give between Dave Fafita. Obviously, I assume Cheese will come back into the side this week. I'm still not convinced the halfback jerseys in concrete. Mamazelis is playing really good footy.
How good's he been?
He's been great. And I think once you get Cheese back as well, I think it'll be even better.
I'll be honest, like Mamazelis, I was like, yeah, I think he's a first grader for sure. But there was a period where I was like, he could actually be a good first grader. Mate, since pretty much at the back end of last year, I think he's been getting better and better essentially every game that he's played. Like, to a point where the Rabbitohs are almost relying on his ability, his craftiness around the ruck to get a bit of momentum and make things happen.
Yeah, he looks great. I was the same. I was high on him coming into first grade, but then it took 3 years for him to come into first grade. And it was very slow last year. I'd argue he underachieved last year, but he's looking good now. Once again, just typical Wayne, simplified job.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's too much on his plate. Just doing what he needs to do.
And just backing himself too.
Yeah.
Confident when he needs to make the call.
Yeah. I thought Trell Mitt was good as well. Mate, he does something every year that you're like, didn't know he could fucking do that. How a guy at his size at that speed catches that ball on his shoelaces is unbelievable.
Mental.
People are fucking, you're glazing, but I'm like, please. There's not many guys that could do that, and for the body that he has and the skill set that he brings, he shouldn't be able to do that. Crazy.
Yeah. And how quick he is as well, for how big he is. Like, he's just, the skill set he has shouldn't be on a bloke as big as him.
Yeah.
Just that simple.
I'm enjoying we've sort of pushed it for a little while, but like him at centre, I'm enjoying that. Like, he's not working himself into the ground, covering all that ground at fullback. It says here 58 metres he ran on the weekend, but he's getting the ball when it matters.
Yep.
And, he had a couple of try assists. He scored a couple himself. I think it's just that having that Ferrari in that, that red zone, that 40, 20 metre zone. I like the way that they're using. I think you get
Easy makes things happen, doesn't he?
Max impact out of him in the part of the field where it actually matters and moves the dial.
Yeah. What do you think, mate?
I am happy, but I think, I'm with you, Guru. I don't think they're going as good as people are saying. I think this is probably their best game, but they were scratchy against the Dolphins. They were in and out against the Tigers. And yesterday, the Bulldogs completed, I think they made 14 errors in the second half. And I think they had 5 head-high tackles as well. Completely ill-disciplined. So I think South's got a little bit lucky, but I think for this time of year, they're going really well. The big concern for me is whenever Cam Murray goes off the field, they're a different team. And it's happened a couple of times already this year. We didn't see it last year, but Cam Murray didn't play last year. They were bad, but half the team was out. But this has been a problem before that as well. They've just got to find a way to fix it up when Cam Murray's off the field, because as soon as he goes off, they're not as good. But all in all, quite happy.
As much as I agree with you, at least it's the same for the Blues and the Kangaroos as well.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I do. I'm just, Wayne Bennett coach sides, they notoriously, I won't necessarily say slow starters, but they're never they're usually peaking at the back end of the year. They're usually a bit scrappy or a bit like it's hard. Like for example, 2006 Broncos that won the comp, like they lost 5 in a row in the middle of the season. So I definitely see where you're coming from. Like if anyone that's sitting there going they're in a top tier form wise with other clubs, I don't think that's the case form wise. But I'm still pretty happy with where they're at. Like I think this is a really good confidence boost heading towards the rest of the year.
I'm happy with where they're at. Definitely. I'm waiting for the big statement game.
Yep.
I will say, I'm going to put my hand up here. I was completely wrong. I think it was about this time last year. It was actually around Anzac Day last year. And I was like, there's no way you can keep Jai Gray at fullback. Latrell's the fullback.
Yep.
Jai Gray, he's just not as good as Latrell. And he's not. But that is the right call. Jai Gray at fullback is the right call. Latrell at centre is the right call. Jai Gray's been our top 3 best players this year. So
And it gives you a base. Like sometimes in game plans, you need a base to work with so you can go, okay, this is the game plan based on the fact that I'm going to have a fullback that does this specifically, which is a bunch of runs. It gives me 200 metres. He's going to support play. And the thing with like Trell, he's a better fullback. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But it's very hard to build a game plan around a guy that he's just so enigmatic. What's the word?
Enigmatic.
Enigmatic. That's it. Enigmatic. That it's like
What did he call me?
that it's very hard to build a game plan around that. Now you could say, oh well, the game plan is in good ball, just get him some space or whatever. But there's so much more to footy than good ball, and I think that's what Jai Gray offers is consistency. A good 8 out of 10.
I tell you what I love as well. He's improved so much. Like he had no ball playing ability last year whatsoever, and he's still got a lot of improvement to do. But it's improved out of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like to say Latrell Mitchell's still a better fullback is fair, but I think it's also Jai, like because he's so well rounded. I love his defense as well.
So
Puts his
brave,
body on
bro.
the line. Like,
Holy shit.
depend what you value in a fullback. Like Jai still brings a fuckload to this side, and I think once again it takes a guy like Wayne Bennett to convince a player like Latrell Mitchell to no, your best spot is centre for this team, and then just still get the best out of him. It's just that experience in coaching that matters as well.
And I will say the ball playing that you just brought up, Matty, like that try for Tallis Duncan, like that's like to identify that O'Sullivan is new on the field. That combination is not going to be very good at all because they haven't played that much together. Jai Gray took the ball, took it straight to him, and basically picked that out immediately. That's smart footy and great ball playing.
Also with Jai Gray, I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm sure you have, but like obviously I'm deep within the South community. He's everyone's favourite player at the moment.
Yeah.
The South
Cold
fans
hero.
absolutely love him.
We're the best of both worlds right now. We're getting Trell
Truly.
doing what he does, which is literally in good ball, get him the ball, he will make things happen. Like, you know, one of the most sure things that if you get him ball with a little bit of space, there's the likelihood of a try increases by fucking 60 or 70%. That's how good he is. But you also get Jai Gray doing what he's doing as well.
Yeah, I think as you said there, Matty, like Jai is so loved by that South because I think Jai represents what South Sydney is, you know, and what South Sydney people pride themselves on being. You know, you have this rivalry against the Roosters that South Sydney people consider they have everything goes their way, blah blah blah. You got Jai, who's smallest player in the competition and just punches above his weight. He works hard in everything he does. You know, not comparing him to him in any way, shape, or form, whatever. But like when you look at South Sydney, their history as well. Clive Churchill, their fullback once upon a time, small in stature, but just played well above his weight. And Jai's exactly the same. And I just think the character that is Jai Gray as well, dancing around at training, like he's perfect for content. He just ticks so many boxes, and he's such a good story for our game. I love it.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. I think another thing as well that the Rabbitohs deserve credit for is the second half, 20 for 20. They went essentially 20 sets completed. Like that's something that, yeah, okay, were they at their absolute red hot best? No, but at least they're putting themselves in a position to win games. We haven't spoken about it much, but Tallis Duncan.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He's out of this world.
Bro. Look, we wrapped him, and obviously yourself wrapped him many, many, many years ago. I just didn't know he'd be this strong. Like, he is so freaking strong in contact. It's crazy.
Well, did you notice at the end of the game, they moved Fafita to the right edge?
Wow.
Had Tallis on the left, and he had he had 2 line breaks on the right. There was even another play where they turned Tallis on the right hand side. They turned him under, and they had Jai Gray going under with him as well. And I think it was the one that Jai Gray actually got the head high tackle. But if Jai Gray catches that ball, he's straight through. If you watch the defense, it's all eyes on Tallis. Just him on the unders line there. I think it's really interesting. They moved him to the left for the last. And Wayne said in the presser, he sort of said, He's always been this good. We know how talented he is. He just hasn't had many opportunities last few weeks. He got him today in 3 line breaks.
Mate, he is fucking unbelievable. He reminds me of like a prime Angus Crichton. Just so strong through the hips. Great line runner. Super strong in contact. He's a special talent.
If you had to today ask all of you this, sign one of them to a 5-year contract, Tallis or Fafita, who do you sign?
I'm signing Tallis every
I'm
day of
signing
the week.
Tallis.
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'd
Tallis
probably have
doesn't
to
have
go
bad
Tallis.
games, man.
And he's still so young too. I know Fafita's still 26 years old. Yeah, I'm probably going Tallis. Just the defensive side of things as well. That's a tough one. Okay, well, speaking of Fafita, how rating on how he's been so far this year? Me personally, just a pass mark.
Yeah, I say this with absolute all due respect, but it's exactly what you expect from Dave Fafita. The highs have been sensational and juggernaut, but then there's been a lot of defensive stuff there with Cody Walker that teams are obviously picking out week in, week out. And yeah, there are games where he's sort of, like I thought the Roosters game, his last 40 minutes were good, but it took him 30 minutes to find his feet in that game. For where he is in his career and everything, I agree with you. It's a pass. It's not a fail by any means, but it's probably nothing more than a pass for me.
Yeah, hasn't set the world on fire. He's had some nice moments, but yeah, just kind of hanging in there a little bit. I think like the ceiling and the potential there, you know, be interesting to see how he builds into the season with Wayne. Yes, he's had like a pre-season with him, but you know, will the momentum pick up and he might hit some of those heights? I feel like yes, we'll see some better football from him, but yeah, certainly hasn't like disgraced himself, but hasn't probably set the world on fire.
I'm a little more optimistic. I don't think he's really needed to show what he's made of, and when he did need to do that, that was in the second half against the Roosters where he was unbelievable. Now, he missed a lot of tackles that game, so he definitely wasn't like, I wouldn't have given him any Dally M points, for example, but he showed what he can do. He hasn't really needed to yet. I think he's playing well without being great, but yeah, I think he's doing just fine.
To be honest, it actually all kind of depends on how much he's getting paid. I know we don't like that argument, but like if they're paying him, I don't know, 500K of his contract this year, then I'm much more willing to go, yeah, that's good. That's pretty good for a 500K edge back rower. Whereas if you're paying him, 900K, it's like, well, you want him impacting games you want him 8 out of 10 every single game, or 9 out of 10 actually. But anyway, I've given him a pass mark. I do.
I think his presence as well. Like Latrell and AJ have combined for about, 10 tries already this year. So just his presence.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair as well. Yep, for sure. Anyone else stand out for the South Sydney Rabbitohs boys?
Cody Walker was awesome.
Yeah, he's just so talented. He's just attacking. His attacking prowess is just like, it's almost second to none. Seriously.
Yeah, it's almost when you. Yeah, I think we're going to get to the end of Cody Walker's career, and whether he wins a premiership or whatever. Like he was very close to getting a Clive, but I think it's going to be one of the great robberies in rugby league that we didn't see until he was 27.
Mental, absolutely mental that we didn't see him to like the guy this talented, like as talented as any ball player ever. Just mental.
Just the other thing with South Sydney as well, before we do move on, only used 3 reserves the other day.
Wow.
In that game. And the other guy I want to give a shout out to is Keon. Played tough in that game.
Mate, he's just in the middle. He's a guarantee.
And he's out this week, most likely. So he was playing injured. He did his knee in the first minute or something. But it looks like
he still ran 198 metres or something.
Like we'll know at 4 o'clock, but yeah.
So it's going to be a big, and I'm not getting into this today, but it's going to be a big thing at the end of the year to see whether he plays for Australia or Tonga in this World Cup, because it's a huge needle mover both ways.
Mate, Australia I personally think they need big boppers like him.
Yep, 100%.
He'll play for Australia. He picked Australia last year. You'd imagine.
World
he can't.
Cup, though. It is a World Cup.
True. They've got to tighten those rules. You can't flip. You've got to change those rules. But anyway.
So look, good win. 20 from 20 in the second half. Gave them every opportunity. All righty, it's time for the Dogs. Wow, where do you start? Me personally, I just cannot believe for a side or a club that was so aggressive in moving players on when they were on top of the table, now is just, for some strange reason, hesitant to bring O'Sullivan in the halves, Galvin to 6, Burton to the centres. So much so that to at least all reports, now this could change at 4 o'clock today, so apologies if it does. By all reports, Bronson Sherry is going to be in the centres this week, which would suggest that Burton will stay in the halves, Galvin will stay in the halves. Now, Serraldo came out and said the reason why we took O'Sullivan off the bench for Critter is because he's a leader, he's a talker, whereas we don't have that many talkers on the field at that stage, and Critter is that guy, which I actually agree with. I wasn't against him bringing O'Sullivan on because O'Sullivan is literally a coach right now. Like, he has a coaching job himself where he coaches young players. So when you lose a guy like Critter, you need someone else out there talking a lot. And at least with the eye view, Galvin doesn't look like much of a talker. He's quite young, and I wouldn't expect him to be. He's more of an actions guy. Burton, notoriously not much of a talker. He's an actions guy. And so I actually can understand why that would happen. The problem is then Gus Gould has now come out and said, no, it was actually because they thought they might be able to needle Critter on, in the dressing room, getting back out there. And if that was the case, that means they could move O'Sullivan into the 9 role, which would give Hayward a spell. Whereas if they brought Sherry on, then I don't think they could use O'Sullivan after that. And so that was the reason. But I was just like, just go with the Serraldo comment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It feels like I don't think that's what Serraldo needed right now as a coach.
Yeah, I think the Gus... True, false, I don't care.
Doesn't
unnecessary.
Matter. Just back your coaching. Yep. Sweet.
Yeah. Bizarre. I would have loved to have seen Serraldo's face when he saw that or heard that or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's... And, like, surely if they've had a conversation before about it, surely it's one of those, we don't have to say it.
Yeah.
We can know it. We can address it between us. But to come... bizarre.
Well, I don't... Like, Gus could have just gone, he's a big talker, O'Sullivan. Serraldo backed him in. That's it. In the combo.
Yep.
Just on the big talker thing, isn't that really the role of your halfback? To be out there talking and like directing things and
yeah, there's two, like, yes, you can be a talker that tells people where to go, but there's like different kinds of talk. So
yeah.
like,
but you need one of them to be doing it, is the point. And if
And
you've got two
critical-
guys that are very quiet and you got a guy in the centres, you're relying on to set everything up.
that's why Galvin's not a 7.
I know. But then you both your halves, you're saying like kind of quiet, standoffish guys. You need one guy.
That's why I'm like, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we all
I
agree.
agree.
We're
with
all
you.
agreeing.
I
yes.
agree with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
why are you persisting with that if it's clearly not working?
Mate.
You look. I know, yes, he's played I think a handful of games this year, but watching like Jock Madden yesterday, every play he's grabbing blokes, pointing here, doing stuff like you need someone in your halves. You've always needed someone in your halves who sets things up, directs people around, is a big talker. I can't believe that they're this far into the season they haven't already made that call and go, we need someone in the halves, one of them, who can do that role.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
I think it's mind blowing.
Yeah, Friday was a nod to that as well. Like, Critter
Couldn't
is
be
a
more
world-class player, 100%. But, like, if your main voice is your left centre, something's gone terribly wrong there. Like, and once again, you come to, like, a Jock Madden. Like, I always look at Timmy's brother, Sam. He wasn't a genius halfback. He wasn't, a rep player, all that sort of stuff. But whenever he came into first grade, teams had structure.
Yeah.
Because they understand the game. And SOS, he's one of them. You suggested it 5 weeks ago. I laughed at it because I went, no, you go for the upside. But it's obviously not working. So yeah, I think they have to do it. And I would have done the exact same thing. I personally, I'm shocked to hear that Bronson Cherry's going to be playing this week because he wasn't on the 6-man bench the 2 weeks before that. They had the opportunity to put him on and play left centre where he's played for the last 2 years. They didn't go with it. Why pick him this week?
At least that's what the reports are. Maybe it'll change.
If the reports are accurate,
Yeah.
but also I look at it and go, I've obviously been saying for a few weeks, same as you guys, bring Sean O'Sullivan in, blah, blah, blah. I had people on my post the other day sort of going, how'd that work out, dickhead? It's like, Jesus. 35 minutes on the field, they made 13 errors in that 35 minutes. You could have put Joey on at halfback, it wouldn't have changed your 13 errors.
I mean, that's
Like,
just crazy.
the sample size, you take nothing out of that.
Yeah.
Nothing out of it whatsoever. If we get 3 weeks down the track of Sean O'Sullivan playing halfback and it's still not working, I'll walk it back 100% and say, I fucked it up.
But you know what's crazy, bro? It can't get worse. I'll tell you why it can't get worse. They got the 17th best attack in the comp.
Yeah.
So, like, unless O'Sullivan is such a worse defender than Galvin or Burton, that's what I'm not getting. This isn't like a vibe thing where we're like, ooh, they're a little bit clunky in attack, so maybe he needs a structured 7 inside him, and that's what will get the best out of Galvin. The stats literally say they have the worst attack in the comp. So it can't get any worse. That's what this is what's blowing my mind is like, sometimes when we have these conversations, it really is vibe-based. Like, they might be 7th or 8th in attack, and you might look at the Broncos last year and go, okay, they need better defenders, and it's a bit vibey. They're at mid-of-the-table defense, and they still hang in games. There's no vibe about this. They have the worst attack in the competition, and they knew that this was a concern heading into the year. And on top of all of that, if you're sending messages out against the Newcastle Knights for Critter to swap with Burton at 6 and swap roles every now and then, you are admitting that your 6 and 7 right now are not getting you the job done.
Yeah, you said there, they've got the 17th worst attack. They've got the 18th if you want to include fucking Tom Jenkins on his own island.
Jenkins is on the team there.
Yeah.
And so that's what I am for a team that literally moved their 7 on whilst they were at top of the table, correct?
Yep.
They were on top of the table.
They were.
But now they're hesitant to pull the trigger and put Burton in the centres, and I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like, and guys, now I'm in pure speculation. I mean, I'm in speculation mode this whole time. Pure speculation mode. But it feels like there's two trains of thought at the club that are colliding with each other. Because there's so many things that are happening that don't make sense. Like how you can send a message out to your 6, say, you play centre sometimes, get the centre into play 6, but then the next week have the opportunity, everyone would have understood it, to go, okay, bring O'Sullivan to start, go Burton out to centre, Crit out to the other centre. You don't take it. Then the centre gets injured that you were swapping. Now the reports are, and again, I apologise if it's not true, now the reports are you're going to bring a centre in and keep that halves pairing that you've already questioned. Like, it just, to me, it feels like there are two thoughts at this club and they're warring with each, not warring, it's a strong word, but they are heading in different directions, and that's why we're seeing the tension on the field. Matty, I'd love to get your thoughts on the situation.
It's weird because last year, if you remember correctly, they did pull the trigger, but it did take them a while. I do remember everyone saying, "Oh, should we rip the Band-Aid off? Should we do this? Should we do that?" But like it so clearly didn't work for them. And I know a lot of us and a lot of people try to be as optimistic as possible, but like you're judged on your wins and losses. And the Dogs' end of the season last year was a disaster. And can you blame that? I think you have to. And the fact that it's happening again this early, like this, it's just madness, to be honest. And it's like they're not fooling anyone by being kind of deceitful with what they say. Like I don't think they're giving rugby league fans enough credit. Like people can figure out what's going on, and they obviously it seems like the Bronson Cherry is kind of being pushed out. And now there's all these mixed messages this week. They're just creating dramas for themselves, and their poor results on the field isn't helping the situation.
It's so strange. And what I find strange as well is like, I'm fully in Serraldo's corner as, is he a good coach? I think he's a great coach. I think he's a phenomenal coach. And it's the first real, like, for example, the Sexton one, if the argument was, do we have a team to win the comp? That's why we're making these changes. I could say, you know what, like, I can get on board with that because I don't think they were going to win a comp with the current crop that they had. But so I could get the reasoning, even though I thought it was quite aggressive and I thought they could have waited to the end of the year. I got it. It's okay. But now it's like, what I'm not understanding is we're getting these mixed messages from different people, and it doesn't make any sense. But
like, I just think they're doing a disservice to their own fans. Like if this was South, I'd be so frustrated in everyone that's pushing these messages, and it just gives you a big headache, really.
Yeah. Now, in regards to the second half, like that discipline in error count, my God, what that's, and this is where I feel, if I have to be honest, I do think all this, Serraldo did such a good job of like not letting all this talk around the club leak into the playing group last year. I do feel like it's beginning to seep into the playing group at the moment. I do feel like this doesn't look like the same playing group. Even last year when it was the thicker things, they still looked like they were fully on board, heading, rolling the same way. I got to admit, it's the first weekend where I was like, wow, this doesn't look like the same team as I've seen over the last 6 months or so.
Sammy made a really good point last week on the show with me. There was a moment, and I didn't even notice in the game, where Stephen Crichton made a tackle, he dragged someone over the sideline. Like none of the players came in to celebrate in that moment. And, Sammy's obviously been around the game for a long time, has seen it all. And he sort of said to me straight out, he goes, fuck, I think this situation is worse than what you think. Like for them not to react like that when it's Critter, of all people.
And they're the energy team.
Yeah.
Like they're the energy team. That's what they built their, success recently on.
And I mean, when you have a look at where they're sitting at the moment, they are, they've already had a bye. They're on 6 competition points. One of those competition points they got was against Dragons in Vegas, which
very lucky.
I don't know if they were the better team in Las Vegas. So, had they lost that game against St. George, it could have quite easily happened. I know it's a lot of ifs and buts, but they're sitting with 1 win, same as Titans and the Raiders.
Well, I ask you this: have they got anywhere close to looking like a top 4 side this year with the way they've played?
No.
Not even like close to it. And that is what I'm just so surprised at. Do you
Guru,
feel like
sorry, can I just jump in there?
Yeah.
Guru, you said that thing. It kind of happened again on the weekend, and this was a little bit different because Latrell was going for the ball. South put a kick in. It went miles dead, and Latrell was going for the ball. It was all legal. It looked worse than it actually was. Like, Latrell had every right to do it. But he did smoke Connor Tracy.
Yep.
And only Matt Burton really had something to say to Latrell about it. Like, it looked ugly and it wasn't as bad as it looked, but
Yeah.
you'd think the Doggies players would all run in there, and they simply did not.
Yeah, and you could tell by Latrell's reaction, he was like, I don't give a fuck.
well, he was waiting
You're
for
not
people to
into
run
it.
in.
Yeah, he was like, he was laughing at them.
Yeah.
And I agree, it was only Burton that had a crack at him there. Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe that this is starting to seep into the playing group. I think that there is unrest. I think there's a bit of frustration. If I'm being honest, I think there are a lot of players looking over their shoulder, going, "Fuck, like, am I gone? Like, what's happening here?" And that's what can happen when you're so aggressive in the way you do things. That, yeah, I'm getting worried this could get worse before it gets better, unless they have like a circuit breaker game that just clicks into gear.
Well, as scary as it is this weekend, this could be the circuit breaker game. They take on Penrith. Can you believe Canterbury played Penrith at home this week? Canterbury's been given a 15.5 line.
Oh. Yeah.
We're talking about a team that came 3rd last year in season.
And also, the Bulldogs have been pretty decent against Penrith the last at least 18 months.
Great game last year against them.
Fell off to finish 3rd too.
Yeah, like they were on top of the table.
15.5 at home.
As I said, I keep coming back to it. I feel like there are 2 different ideas of what direction the club should head right now, and they're clashing. That's the only thing that makes sense. When you're getting such muddled messaging out of a club, the only thing that makes sense to me is there's 2 different ideas of what they should do going forward.
You know, the other thing is too with Canterbury, I said this a few weeks ago, but like the messaging shouldn't be like this. Like if they're all on the same page between Gus, Jimmy Graham, and Mace, all with loud voices in rugby league, it should be crystal clear what's going on there, and they're the most confusing by a distance.
Yeah. It's mate, it's so strange. And although like I don't condone some of the stuff that gets said online. Obviously, it's the internet, but I understand the Bulldogs fans' frustration. Like, what is going on? Like, what? So, like, even at the end of last year, Gus Gould literally said Galvin's not a 7, but then, you know what I'm saying? Like, mate, it's so strange. So, I'm still going to stick with. I think they should put in Sullivan at 7, Galvin to 6, Burton in the centres, put Sherry the other centre if you want until Critter comes back. Look, the good thing is early in the year, they are on 6 points. So it's not like disaster areas yet, and they can turn this thing around pretty quickly. And they have shown, now on the weekend it wasn't the case, and the weekend before that, but for a long stretch of time, they have been essentially the second best defensive side in the comp. So let's hope they can get back to that.
Can I ask you all something? And this is, maybe this doesn't matter all that much. I just find it interesting. But like their team list last week came out, comments turned off. We heard one of their media managers come out and say that it was because people are sending abusive stuff and all that sort of stuff. To me, I find it bizarre that like comments are being turned off posts like that for the 1 or 2%. Like we all run pages, you put your team list out, like even if it's someone that just monitors it for the first hour. And I'm quite often finding that I think audiences nowadays are a lot more mature, that if there is going to be one fucking dickhead in the comments saying something stupid, they will tend to get pounded by the rest of the comments.
Or just delete and block it.
Just delete them. It's not that hard. You have someone sitting on it watching as it happens. You delete them as they come in and block it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You're a football club who just took all their staff over to Vegas, which I love. You can afford to have someone to watch the comments to make sure that 1% of dickhead doesn't take over.
Yeah, look, the Bulldogs, who have been just so good at, for the last few years in regards to their PR and media, they've been so good to deal with. Going to Vegas, they were so unbelievably gracious and let us in. I just think that what's happened in that situation is because they are so close to the players, there's that really emotional reaction to when they see such negative comments. And like they might see, let's say, 5 negative comments about a specific player. And when you're close to someone, it feels like the world's ending, but it's 5 out of 1,000. And so I just think in that situation, it's a Streisand effect. Like you're drawing more attention to the negativity rather than, mate, listen, I know there's some people out there like, man, fruit speech or whatever. Nah, on my page, if you say something rank, you're getting blocked and you're getting deleted.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm not saying free speech.
Yeah.
Just make that abundantly clear. If you're a dickhead, you deserve to get treated like a dickhead.
Yeah.
But it is such a small percentage, and I personally believe, from what I was over in Vegas with the Bulldogs fans, if someone was talking shit in those comments and being a dickhead, Bulldogs fans would let them know about it. It's not what they stand for as a whole. 15 years ago, you maybe could have convinced me that that sort of stuff was what Bulldogs fans got stuck into. It's not the reality. The culture of the club has completely changed, and I think you're just creating an optics nightmare by doing that
Well,
sort of stuff.
honestly, the way I would have handled it was anyone saying anything that's an insult or whatever, deleted. Then if people are commenting, oh, they're deleting my comment, I would have, if I was the Bulldogs, I would have pinned at the top.
Yep.
Guys, you're more than happy to respectfully critique the team. Anyone that insults or whatever, your comment will be deleted and you may be blocked.
Yep.
Because that way you're sending, because what happens is, as we know on the internet, when you delete a comment, they re-comment and say, man, all I was saying was something like, and meanwhile the actual comment was like, I hope your whole family dies. And you're like, you know, like, yeah, they always do that on the internet. They're always the victim of like, oh, you deleted my comment and I was just critiquing the team. It's like, no, you were doing much more than that. So I reckon going forward, that would be a much better way. Monitor the comments, pin up the top. Of course, we appreciate the respectful critique and feedback. Anything that crosses the line will get deleted and potentially blocked. And then that way you're sending a message to the wider audience of Bulldogs fans that if a comment is being deleted, it's not because you can't handle feedback. It's because it is insulting and it is past a personal line.
Yep.
So
100%.
I agree with everything you said. I can sympathise though with the Bulldogs. I think it was Darcy McDonald that came out and said all this. I remember when I was at the Blues in 2019, there was, I won't say what it was because it was disgraceful, but there was so many comments that we couldn't keep up. And it got to a point where we couldn't post certain players. I think they look back and know they probably made the wrong call and everything you said, that's what they do going forward. But I can sympathise with, it would have been so hectic, the amount of absolutely disgraceful comments. So
I think we
do
can all
understand.
sympathise with the human element of it in a job. I'm with you. Like, absolutely, I can understand when you're seeing people you care about getting absolutely like some of the worst shit you can ever say about someone, and there's 1,000 comments rolling in. Like, I can understand, but I just think, and it is hard to keep up, but I think you've always got to keep in mind, I shouldn't punish, and I'm not saying that they did this. I'm not saying they intentionally did this, but unfortunately, there are 99% of fans that love the club, that care about the club, that are being respectful, and they're getting punished for a small percentage of people. So yeah, look, you know, I think that next time they'll probably handle it a little bit better. I'd assume anyway. Look, we go back to the, there's been other clubs that have dealt with this as well, and they've learnt from it and adjusted to it as well. So
I think, as you said, it's just about being upfront and honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just calling, hey, these are the standards we stand for, which Canterbury have done over the years, and they've done a tremendous job at it as well. I just thought this was the approach was wrong. Wrong way to go about it.
But yeah, outside of that, I think the Doggies have been unbelievable to deal with for many years now. So hopefully they can bounce back. Okay, on to the next game. Panthers defeat the Melbourne Storm 50-10. That is right. I'm not making that up. It is 50-10. What an incredible performance from the Penrith Panthers. And this is the best a team's ever looked this early in the season, in my opinion. They are in a league of their own. At the moment, the only thing that's going to stop them is
West Tigers.
West Tigers potentially, but I think fatigue, injury, I guess running out of energy towards the back end of the year. But they've shown they don't do that because they won 4 in a row. They are truly in a league of their own, and maybe a crazy run of form that we've never seen before. But even then, I think that this Panthers team is better than last year by quite some margin. It is truly remarkable what we're witnessing.
Isn't it going to be wild, like in 10 years' time, the conversation's going to be, maybe in 10 years' time when this ends, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But the conversation's going to be like, what's the best Penrith side we've seen? Like, you imagine if like the 4 in a row isn't the number one. If that side does, if none of those 4 sides get a feature in this, it is, because what they're doing at the moment is off the charts. To put 50 points on Melbourne is enormous. To put 50 points on Melbourne that have lost 2 games in a row, how often do we see that Melbourne don't play 2 bad games?
They completed.
Hot tip, they just played 3 absolutely shocking games, and Penrith put them to the absolute sword. They took Nath Cleary off for 7 minutes to go.
The Melbourne Storm completed at 95%.
Look, it is insane what they're doing. The more you look at it, the less sense it makes.
And listen, I know Storm fans, when you actually go through the players missing for Storm, there were some players missing, but no Storm. Like, Storm have had players missing before, not 50 points. Not 50 points.
Yep.
The last time was 2003. Think about how many games of rugby league have been played for the Storm. Not once in that whole time. Think about how much they've been under the pump, had players injured, things not going their way. Never 50 on them, and they do it this weekend against the Panthers.
Casey McLean was born in 2006.
Fuck. That is actually crazy. Crazy.
It's wild. And yeah, Melbourne have injuries. No doubt in that. No question whatsoever. It's never been an excuse in the past because that's the standard that Melbourne have set for themselves over such a long period of time. And I'm not even having a crack at Melbourne. I just think it's just a reflection of how good fucking Penrith is. It's just surreal to watch it play out.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's truly mind-blowing. Hammy, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, they're on another level, Penrith, as you've mentioned. The big noticeable change for me from last year, or this time last year, is how some of their like freakishly talented young guys have come on and particularly filled out. You know, you look at the body shape of like a Casey McLean now versus last year. He's strong. He's going to get bigger, but the way that he's running the footy at the moment and just getting over the top of blokes, he's come on in leaps and bounds. Blaze Talangi is the other one for me as well. He looked he looked like a talented young kid last year. This year, he's really put a bit of size on and kind of grown into the role a little bit. So some of those guys who they got all the talent in the world, they're now, they've grown into their bodies a little bit as well. And they've just gone to another level, I reckon. There's no real kind of like weak spots or guys that are a little bit small or whatever that you can kind of run out and target. They're humming at the moment. Obviously, their key guys are still playing really well, but the way that these young guys have developed and warmed into their roles, I reckon that's for me the noticeable difference between this year and this time last year.
Could you imagine a world where Cronulla have a win and Blake Brayley doesn't play? Like we were trying to go, just good win without Blake Brayley. Or if Cronulla lost and Blake Brayley didn't play to be, they didn't have Blake Brayley to be fair. If Melbourne lose without Harry Grant, it gets that feature. Mitch Kennedy doesn't play in this game. I didn't hear his name mentioned in the post-game stuff. Like Freddie Lussick came in and did an unreal job.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. With all due respect to Freddie Lussick, I've watched him for a long time at a number of clubs. I don't think he's ever looked that good to me.
No, he was probably the best game he's played in first grade.
Yep.
Like, what I think we're seeing is like a team that is like the fruition of like their system at its peak almost. You know what I mean? Like they've been building towards this for so long that when you actually look at their side, like what we said years ago with the scary thing with Panthers was that they are the Storm system, but they have arguably the best juniors in the competition, or at least the most condensed area to get juniors from. Like imagine the Melbourne Storm over the last 20 years, if they were located in Penrith, what could they have done? And I think we're seeing that when you actually look at their roster now. Dylan Edwards, Origin top tier. Jenkins, the form winger of the competition, might even be a smoky for Origin. We'll see what happens. Alamotti, probably the outside back of the final series. That's how good he was last year. And he's keeping a guy like Tungo out, who, has a 3-time premiership or 4-time premiership winning centre. Casey McLean, Origin level centre and winger. Brian To'o, one of the greatest of all time. Blaze Talangi, one of the best. I know people say he's not a rookie because he's played 40 games, but I still see him as a rookie's probably the wrong word, but a junior to a degree. Then you've got Nathan Cleary, one of the greatest of all time. Moses Leota, top tier front rower. Freddie Lussick, obviously a fill-in for Kenny, but Mitch Kenny, a lot of people say is very close to Origin. Lindsay Smith, Origin Australian player. Probably going to be an Origin player too. Isaiah Papali'i, one of Dally M on the edge. Liam Martin, don't need to say anything. Isaiah Yeo, one of the greatest 13s of all time. So, like, now you're getting to a point where their roster... The one thing you said about the Melbourne Storm, or at least not every Melbourne Storm roster, but for some of the Melbourne Storm rosters, what do we always used to say? You fill all your money in on the big three, and then you put battlers around them that are just going to fucking be dogs and make all their tackles. The scary thing about this Penrith side is, like, tell me who in their best 17 is just in there because they're a dog. No one.
No.
Like, they're literally either the best rookie in the competition or they're in the top tier of their position. And that's what's scary. Like, even some of the best teams we've seen play, there have been some players in there that are there for their defensive work or they're there to cover a certain thing. This Penrith side is literally just completely stacked from 1 to 17.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I was thinking about the other day, and like it makes total sense, obviously, because they've been to 4 grand finals in a row, but I'd love to know throughout the history of the game, like 13 players ran out for Penrith the other day. 3 of them have won Clive Churchill medals.
That's actually crazy.
They've won 4 grand finals in a row.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. I get that.
It's still crazy, though.
To have 3 individuals that have won Clive Churchill medals running out in the same fucking team. Like, if you go back to those Brisbane 2000s, 90s, they didn't have that. Like, it's phenomenal what they're capable of doing. I love too in this game that I was, we're resting him. Melbourne come, even though they flogged him, they go, fuck it, yo. Put the hose in their mouth. It's just that mindset they've got that is just on another level. It is, it's terrifying. Scotty Sorensen comes up with a Benji-esque flick.
I'm glad you said it because that's a service of the week. It's Scott Sorensen flick past. Give Lukey, the car man, a message on Instagram, LDC_01. Whatever car you need, he's the best in the business, guys. Give him a message. But right now, we've got a huge giveaway going. Buy new or used and you go in the draw. The date is coming up soon. So this is going to end very soon. Buy new or used and you go in the draw to have a day at the footy, to be gifted a day at the footy with me, Alex Glenn, Dral Yayi, and also Lukey. So make sure to give him a message if you're in the hunt for a car. He's the best in the business. Aspley Mazda, a massive thank you. The service of the week is the flick pass. And again, like this just proves their depth. Like a guy like Scotty Sorensen, 2 years ago, he is a lock-in to start on the edge of the Penrith Panthers. Now they have the luxury to going back to the early days with Scott Sorensen, which was he's an impact player. Like they're so stacked and he comes on, that flick pass back to Dylan Edwards, no look, right in the breadbasket as well. Like, that's who they got coming off the bench. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I'll tell you the other thing that I reckon this is going to play out, that Sorensen goes to Perth. I reckon Tunga will become that role.
I'm really interested to see what they do with him off the bench if they do go down that route. But, like, Scotty Sorensen coming off the bench playing... You got a guy like Scott Sorensen only playing 34 minutes. Like, they are so stacked. It's so crazy. It's absolutely insane. Matty, what do you think of Scotty Sorensen's flick pass, mate?
Oh, it was incredible. And it's just one of those things where you just... I love it when it comes from a big guy that you just don't expect it from. They're just one of the best things ever. Yeah. Can I just sidetrack just for 1 second? I've just gone and done the numbers. The last time Storm conceded 50 was 607 games ago. And to put that into perspective, they've only ever played 760 games. Because they came in, obviously, in 98. Yeah. So, unbelievable.
Oh, my.
Just add another layer to that. Penrith reserve grade, as we know, they've been decimated over the last few years, lost a heap of players.
Yep.
They've essentially got Jesse McLean, who's first grader, Jack Cole at 5'8", Kurt Falls is their halfback. So, I mean, I would call them first graders. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that might push back on that. Tom Arley in the front row, that's it. No other first graders in that side. They won 40-12 as well over Melbourne.
Wow.
So if you look over New South Wales Cup in first grade, what's that, 90-20?
Bro, that's against Melbourne Storm. We're talking about the Melbourne Storm right now.
Yep.
It's just, we are truly, look, it's the greatest team ever assembled. Like, yeah, okay, there are teams that in a one-off game, maybe they could beat them in a final or whatever. It's the greatest team ever assembled. No one's ever done this. No one's ever come close to this.
I'd love to know 2022 Panthers. So I think the general consensus is 2022 Panthers is probably the best of the four.
Oh, you mean as in like in a one-off game? Yeah, okay.
But, no, what I'm saying is I'd love to see this team versus that team because if you just pluck out the names, 2022 is going to win. But this team has Cleary, Yo, Edwards, Toto, etc., who are all 5 years more experienced. So you could argue that this team would actually beat that team.
And you know what? I also think, like, when you have these conversations, which one was the best? And, you go to 22 and on paper they're the best. But, like, the version of Nathan Cleary in 22 compared to now.
Yeah, that's
not
what
even
I'm trying to say,
conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I think Nathan Cleary now would take the piss out of 22 Nathan Cleary, really. So it's going to be interesting in a few years' time to look back and actually sort of settle on which side was the best. And I think a lot of it, as most teams should be, it'll come down to when Nathan is at his peak.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I more meant like the idea that is this the greatest ever squad assembled, over the last 5 years compared to any other run that people have been on. But I do agree with you in the sense that like the Cleary we're seeing today, he is a much better player than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But in regards to like the Penrith Panthers over the last 5 years or 6 years or whatever, I think it's the greatest ever dynasty history. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think there's anyone. And you could go back to, I know the Dragons won 11 in a row. The game was in a different spot back then.
Mate, the Dragons won 11 in a row when it was unlimited tackles. Like, it wasn't rugby league. Really.
Yeah.
Like, what Penrith have done over the last few years to win 4 in a row, like their worst season in the last 6 has been they lost a prelim final off Reece Walsh.
In my lifetime, I'd probably go like the ones that come to mind are Storm around the 2010s. They were cheating the cap, so you can probably strike that. Broncos early 2000s, Roosters early 2000s. This Penrith era smokes all of them.
Because like that, even those teams couldn't do that. They didn't get close to it.
Yeah.
But like the Roosters side, like they were fantastic. They won one grand
One
final.
comp, yeah.
That Broncos side was unbelievable. They won 2000, 98, and 97, if you want to count the Super League. Let's count the Super League.
Yeah.
Like 3 and 5 years doesn't hold a candle to what the Penrith Panthers have done.
Even Manly in like 2008, 2013, like Manly.
Crazy, bro. And they're
Penrith
getting
beat them.
better. That's the scary thing. They're getting better.
Like it even goes back to like the Broncos in the 90s. Like they won, in the early 90s, like 2 comps. Canberra were there and thereabouts. Like Penrith, it blows all of them away.
And the crazy thing is like the blueprint's there. We all know how they play, and they still can't get beaten. Like it's not even like they're the Hunters now and the Hunted or whatever. I will say I do like. It seems they've made a bit of a tweak to their game plan where the Panthers were very much just like drop under, and all they were doing was relying on the other team just getting fatigued, and then obviously they run away with the game. Now they still do drop under sometimes. But I reckon this current Panthers side, like they are far more willing to spread the ball and far more willing to take a bit of risk because they're so confident in what they do. And I think actually when you compare their stats to 2022, they have conceded, I think, they conceded more points than their 2022 start. However, they've scored way more. So I think their differential in 2022 was 110 plus 110. Their point differential now is plus 150. And to give you an idea of how good that is, I think the closest to them right now is plus 60 or something like that.
Plus 52.
Plus 52.
It's the Warriors.
They are 100 points better than second place when it comes to points differential.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's cooked.
I think when you're also talking about, comparing them as a 5 or 6 year period, like it probably is the Parramatta Eels, the 80s you need to go back to. So they went 81, 82, 83, won the 3 in a row. They lost the grand final in 84, 85. I think they got to the prelims or whatever. They won it again in 86. So, like, even if Penrith don't win a grand final for the next 3 years, which good fucking luck, like, still, they've won 4 premierships and lost a grand final the same as that Parramatta side did. And that's in a smaller sample size.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also with the salary cap.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's just so much more that goes into it that is crazy.
Mate, Billy Phillips is he's impressing the hell out of me. I don't know where this guy come from, but he is like almost Isaiah reborn, the style of footy he plays. I think Luke Garner has been outstanding, like really hitting his straps. I mean, who isn't there? That try that Casey McLean scored, like, bro, what are we talking about here? We're not talking about he did that against a bottom 4 side with a fringe first grade fullback or a fringe first grade 7. He had Jerome Hughes coming across, one of the most explosive 7s, like of the modern era almost. That's how quick he is and how explosive he was with foot. He just went bang, big right hand fend in the middle. Like the space he had to work with, the speed that he had to get to, with the balance that he has, with the height and weight he is, it shouldn't be like that. He shouldn't be able to do that. That kind of speed, that's supposed to be guys that are like 5'8", like not guys that are 6'2", 100 kilos. It is mind-blowing.
Sometimes it pisses me off when commentators continually tell you how old someone is, but it's not the case with Casey McLean because I actually always forget that he's still 19.
19. And he's scoring tries like that. And this will show you how good that try was. No one was surprised.
Yeah.
You know, when he did it in his debut year, we're all going, holy shit, that's crazy. He did it against the Melbourne Storm, and everyone went, yeah, that's what Casey McLean does. Fucking mental, bro. Like,
Crazy.
it is. He's 19. Can I say that again?
Yeah.
He is 19 years old doing shit like that. That's fucking crazy.
Turns 20 in about 3 weeks' time. By then, he will have 40 NRL games under his belt, numerous test matches. I've said it before, it still rattles me, but like, I watched Josh play in a trial of Jersey Flegg at the start of last year in case he played in a trial in February. Like
think about that. Last year, he was in a Jersey Flegg trial.
Yeah.
And now he's smoking the Melbourne Storm, and we're all saying, yeah, of course he does that.
Yeah, for those that haven't been to too many Jersey Flegg trials, unlike me, that's a game where SG Bull and Jersey, they pick 40 dudes. They pick them, like, for him to even be in that conversation is wild. He then finished that year scoring 4 tries for New Zealand.
It's just, honestly, it's absolutely. And also now he's probably the front runner for an outside back position in the Blues.
I was about to ask you, who's not going to pick for the Blues from this side that's available realistically? There's a wing spot open. If Tom Jenkins has 24 tries at round 12,
That'd be under his current rate.
Yeah.
2.4 tries a game.
like,
You could have Jenkins, you could have McLean there. I think the only pushback on Penrith players getting selected is the idea that the Penrith system has been tested at Origin so many times.
yes.
That's the only pushback. Because when it comes to form, mate, you got Martin, Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary, you could have Casey McLean, you could have Jenkins, Toto. Like, you'd have 7 players, nearly.
Nathan Cleary, a halfback for game 1 right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think right now, and so I want to make this clear. I always said it's a clean slate. I think it should be a clean slate. No one should have a mortgage on the jersey outside of like a Toto or a Haas, maybe a Critter as well. I think right now, no one is playing well enough for him to not get that jersey. But we've been here before.
Mate, we've been on this repeat for 5 years.
So
Adam
that's-
Dewey's playing some good footy.
The great Dewey.
He's in the squad last year. Hey, after 5 rounds, Penrith Panthers now $2.40 to win the comp.
Oh, fuck. $2.40.
Then we've got
That's
Daylight,
head-to-head odds.
Daylight, and then the Brisbane Broncos are $8.
Tell you what, I don't think I'll be walking to a core stadium on grand final day.
No, you might
It's
not
one
go
of the
to it.
honestly, it's one of the ballsiest, greatest bets I've ever seen in my life.
And we're already saying it's 1 after round 5.
To be completely honest, that's crazy. They're $2.40. It almost feels like unders considering they were $2.60 last week and they just beat Melbourne by 50. Like, I would have thought they would have come in more. Like, I still think $2.40. That's unreal value.
That's
The
value.
week of, they'll be $1.40.
Fucking hell.
Who are they going to play on grand final day right now that you go, oh, okay, maybe?
Again, it's going to take, the only thing it's going to take is someone going and playing the best we've ever seen, which we saw last year. It's not going to happen again. Unless another team does it. I don't know. But who's going to come close to him right now?
Yeah.
Fucking mental stuff.
Yeah, when they get their first loss, it'll be interesting. There's a lot of talk about them going undefeated. I personally don't think it's a world where you can go undefeated anymore in the NRL. The season's just too long, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's the first Origin game. Because that's the other thing, like granted, their cup team won on the weekend, but their depth during Origin is going to be
Massively tested.
hugely tested.
Only thing, and this is me being super hyper nitpicky, is maybe they're peaking too early. I don't know. But they've won 4 comps in a row, so I can't really say that. I'm just saying, like, that's the only thing I could think of.
And I think even when you watch them play and the way that they're using their substitutes and everything, like, are they peaking?
Oh, I don't know anymore. I don't know anything anymore. They've fucking ruined the rules. Incredible stuff. I mean, Dylan Edwards. We didn't even speak about how good he was. Anyway, great game. Okay, now on to the Melbourne Storm. Look, I think, and this is going to sound really harsh, but when you actually look at who rolled out on for the Melbourne Storm and how many injuries they had, even at their best, it was probably still going to be a pretty solid loss. I don't think, though, anyone predicted a 50-10 loss. I think that the Melbourne Storm jersey alone almost wouldn't allow for that to happen. So it's going to sound a bit weird that, yes, I can point to certain parts of the game and say this was poor defense or this was poor defense or whatever. But, like, they actually didn't play that bad outside of some really key errors. Like, unfortunately, he's a rookie. He'll learn, but their winger, he's probably just not up to first grade standard just yet, which is natural. Everyone has a different path to first grade. But I struggle to be too critical of them because, A, they're missing a bunch of players, but B, like, in reality, like, the Panthers are just so, like, beat the Broncos 26-0. They're just so much better. So even the Storm, fully fit at their absolute best, they probably still lose by 16 to 20 points right now.
Yeah, and they've got some key players out, but some pretty key players in there as well. I think the reality is the Melbourne Storm, they haven't been overly tested in the first few weeks, in my opinion. Even that Dragons game, that was toe-to-toe for 60 minutes, and the Dragons just fucking turned the ignition off and let Melbourne do what they want. I think there are a lot of defensive problems, as we've sort of said all season, with their edges. I have a lot of concerns. about the Melbourne Storm. I think that this was a game that I mentioned the other day, like as much as he's got these unbelievable highlights, he does these crazy things. A game like this or come September, some of the stuff that Sewer is lacking in his game, I think it's going to show its head. I think you started to see it in this game.
I was just more hopeful we'd see a little bit of progress with it, but it is starting to. And look, I was okay with him not being as good as, let's say, I don't know, Dylan Edwards in defence. But I still think we need a little bit of progress where we get to a point where we go, you know what, if you miss one or two, we'll say one tackle that you should have kind of made, that's okay, we'll make up for it because you make up for an attack. I think the problem is that we're not seeing probably as much progress defensively as maybe we would have hoped.
And I think as well, I get where you're coming from, but I think the angle of you do so much in attack, we'll let the defence go. It's not Melbourne. That's why Drinkwater's not there. That's not Melbourne. That's never been Melbourne. It never will be Melbourne.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I think long term, and there's a long way to go in this season. There's a fuckload long to go that you might see that improvement. But for as talented as Sewer is and all the stuff he has, this stuff has been a problem for years. This isn't what's happening? Is he up to first grade? This stuff was a problem in reserve grade as well. So it's gonna take time. He can turn it around. He's working with Billy Slater down there, obviously. This is sort of why in the preseason I was sort of saying to yourself, is Sewer a certainty for this spot? Could they maybe go with Nick Meaney there? I think given their injuries, it's his spot, and it will be.
I think the tough thing is, like, if Sewer isn't in this side, like, he's got him out of trouble a few times already this year.
Completely agree with you, 100%.
So it's like,
yeah.
What do you do?
And the trouble is, Sewer is just about the number one fullback I'd want to have if I'm up by 12 or more. If I'm behind and I'm chasing, I have some concerns there in these big sides. But the reality is, mate, Melbourne don't find themselves in that position all that often.
Yeah.
But you're going to find yourself in that position 3 times in September if you want to win this competition. And you're going to have to beat this mob at some point.
Yeah.
And like you could even tell, if you go back to the start of the game, they interviewed Dill Edwards for the game and they said, mate, Sewer's been unbelievable. And he goes, yep, all you got to do is just limit his opportunities. And they just dropped it on his head all day and we're on him. They obviously had a swarm call on him that whenever he gets the football, you stop him.
Yep.
And this is the crazy thing about Penrith, they won 50-10 against Melbourne. They're breaking records. I have no doubt they would have walked back into that change room and been filthy. They let Sewer score because there was no doubt that was their aim all week.
Yeah.
Shut him down.
Yeah, he still found a way. Fuck. It's a tough one. What do you reckon, Hammy, about the Storm?
Yeah, just for whatever reason, not at their best. 3 in a row. I mean, that's just remarkable. We touched on how long ago it's been, 600 games or whatever since they've done that. But, just they are decimated with injuries, but no one's really playing their best footy at the moment, are they? Like, no one's stepping up and, you'd argue are probably at the peak of their powers or in career best form. There's a couple of young guys who are, I think, having a bit of a crack. Cooper Clark, someone I think's, been a bit of a shining light for them so far this year. Joe Chan's had a pretty good year as well, but a lot of those big names, through the spine, none of those guys are at their best at the moment. I think usually you can bank on at least 2 of them being 8 or 9 out of 10s.
Yep.
Not happening right now. So
is there a little bit of a concern, Munster and Hughes, and even Harry Grant to a degree, in big games haven't necessarily hit it out of the park over the last 12 months? Like, in some they have, but I would say from a Melbourne Storm perspective, and also with how good these players are, I'm not so sure that they're going to kill it in big games recently.
Yep. No, I agree. And I think it's, they've obviously lost 2 grand finals in a row now, and they've lost some prelims and whatnot over the years. And I think it is a fair thing to say that you used to go in to any finals game, and if that was a purple jersey, you go, fuck, the other team's already on the back foot. I don't think they are anymore. And I think the other thing with Melbourne that I think they need to sort out soon is that I think they're losing that intimidation factor of other sides. I think getting off the bus at Amy Park, I think that purple jersey, straight away used to go, fuck, we've already lost this game. I just don't think teams are looking at Melbourne the same right now.
Well, I agree with you, mate. I don't think the Storm aren't ruthless anymore. They aren't. Like, at least for the last 12 to maybe 16 months. Like, they could put you to the sword, and once you had the sword, you were done. They were going to, foot on throat stuff. They're not that team anymore. And I'm with you, mate. Like, yes, when you go and play the Storm, are you in for, 3 losses on a trot, but heading into this year, are you in for a tough game? Yes. Will there be opportunities, though, for you to swing momentum and get a bunch of points? I think that most players and teams going down there now or playing them go, yeah, there's going to be opportunities. Whereas I feel like And it's unfair probably to compare this to the old Storm, but like that's a credit to their organisation. They've managed to be as good as they have. I don't think you ever went against the Storm said there's going to be opportunities. I think that at least, in the early 2000s and maybe mid 2010s, you're always like, we're going to have to fight and scrap for every opportunity, and they're not going to give us one. We're going to have to take it. I think when you play the Melbourne Storm now, they're going to at least give you 1 or 2 moments in the game to take momentum and run with it.
I mean, if you're playing well, it's more than 1 or 2 moments you're going to get. Like there are, on their edges, there are a lot of spot defenders there that they can go at.
Have they bought too much into this attacking brilliance that they have now? Potentially,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That's 3 on a trot.
I also do think as well that, there's obviously Melbourne find themselves in this situation because of things that have occurred. Pappy, Eli Katoa. Like, if any team lost a Clive Churchill medalist at fullback and the best back rower in the world, it'd have an impact.
Of course.
There's no doubt about that. So it's not like Melbourne have just made this bed for themselves completely. They have found themselves in a pretty fucked situation, in my opinion. But this is going to be the big thing over the next few years, mate. Like, Wishy's about to leave. Meany's about to leave. These are guys that have been in this system for a long time. Whether we see Eli Katoa again or not, we'll have to wait and see. But it's really interesting times as far as where I think
obviously we send our thoughts out to Kamikamitha as well.
Yep, and you have got this new group coming through of your Cooper Clarks and whatnot. But as you just said, mate, 10 years ago, there's not a hope in hell David Wiley and Jack Hetherington land in Melbourne and we're not talking about them.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
We're talking about Cooper Clark, who, has come through this. He's playing so far above his age at the moment. He's a starting back rower for the Melbourne Storm the other day.
Yeah, wow.
He can do it, but he's a front rower. That's where they're at the moment.
I think, I got smashed for this last year, but I was like, it's the first time in a very long time. I don't know what the plan forward is for the Storm. I felt like back in the day, you could see, okay, Cam Smith's there. Okay, Harry Grant's next up. Okay, when Cooper Cronk's done, we got this guy. I feel like at the moment, at the Storm, I can't tell you really what this side's going to look like in 3 or 4 years. Who's the next guy in the halves for them?
Well, it's a rotating chair in reserve grade at the moment, trying to work out who those guys are. It was great that they won the Jersey Flag last year, which was unreal. Players coming through there. Those guys haven't stepped up to New South Wales Cup yet. To be fair, a lot of those guys are young, so they're still playing flag again. So there are young guys there, but the optics is just weird trying to work out what it all looks like heading into the future.
Alrighty, let's head on to the next game. That was Aspley Mazda Service of the Week game. Scott Sorensen's flick pass. Guys, if you need a car, give him a message. Best in the biz. Buy a new or used car, you go in the draw to have a chance to be gifted a day at the footy with me, Dre, Alex Glenn. That is ending very, very soon, so get involved. Okay, on to the next game. Cowboys defeat the Dragons 32-0. Now, we spoke quite a lot at length about the Dragons in the Code Sports segment, guys. So what we'll do is we'll quickly just sum that up, the Dragons chat, and then we'll get into the Cowboys positive chat. So in the Code Sports segment, boys, obviously we spoke about the coaching situation and some of the calls that he made wrong or right and all that kind of stuff. I do have to say, with all that being said, and I do feel that Shane has made some poor choices in regards to some selections and even recruitment potentially. So obviously he has to take responsibility for that. I do think, though, that some of these senior players have to take some responsibility for a 32-0 loss, because if you lose, 24-12, you can absolutely point to the coach and say, well, not the players, not saying the players are doing this, but it's easier for me to go, okay, because he made these selections or this game plan, that's why they didn't have, the extra points in them to draw this game or win this game. When you lose a game 32-0, that doesn't have really anything to do with the coach. That's pure effort. That's pure your own performance. Now, the only answer to that would be potentially training too hard during the week, but we haven't heard any whispers like that out of the Dragons. I do think that the senior players at the Dragons need to take responsibility and accountability for where the Dragons are at right now. I'll go to you first, Hammy, and then we'll get across the room.
Yeah. I think that's probably a fair call. They've got to be driving the standards. And, this time last year, they probably were. Clint Gutherson trained the house down in the preseason, led a lot of the fitness, all that sort of stuff. Damien Cook as well. They were probably on a bit of an upward trajectory, and those guys were leading it, but they've been a bit quieter to start the season. You know, it's just one of many things really that's gone wrong, but it is a noticeable kind of drop off. And when you got those kind of guys there to drive the standards, if they're not doing that, going to bleed into a lot of other areas as well. So, yeah, probably fair that those guys are a little bit quiet, a little bit below their best. So interesting to see if they can pick it up and get them going again.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the media chat's been around, all about coach and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there are, because when you look at it on paper, it might not be the best team, but there's some fucking good players.
Mate, it's Origin fucking players.
Unreal players in there. And I do think some of the criticisms of those players that I've seen in the media over the last 48 hours or so are a little bit unfair. I think some of them are very warranted. I think one, like Jaden Saw for me, been trying his heart out this season so far.
He's been absolutely, working his backside.
I can hear Gutho, I can hear Val, but names like Damien Cook and Jaden Saw miss me.
Look, Val is a surprising one because usually he has that one poor game and he bounces back. The most surprising one for me is Gutho because, this isn't who Gutho is. And that's where I tend to feel like, what's the training like? What's the environment like? Because I've never seen Gutho like this. And people go, oh, well, he's older. He's aging. He's 32. He's not that old.
Yeah, and it was last year wasn't 3 years ago.
Yeah.
6 months ago.
And for most of the year, he was bloody good in my opinion.
Yeah.
He had a bit of a dip, I think, mid-year. That's the one that surprises me the most. I'd love to know what's happening there. Does he feel, fatigued, or does he feel lethargic heading into games, or is there a game plan that he's struggling to deal with? I'm not sure, but yeah, it's definitely not a Gutho that I've ever seen before or would ever expect to see, to be honest.
And to me, when I watch them anyway, they are just playing the most basic of basic football to me. So I don't know how the game plan couldn't fit Gutho. This seems to be perfect for Gutho. You toil your way through the game, you get to last tackle, you kick, you lead your kick coach. I think it sort of fits Gutho perfectly in the way that he likes to play footy. But
so much so, mate, that I think you'd probably agree with me on this. If there's one player that in a 32-0 loss from the losing side that I would go, I bet you he fucking has one of the best. He's the best player for the losing team. I'll put all my money on Gutho. That's the type of game he loves.
Whereas, and I do think that Gutho at the moment, to me, whether he's carrying an injury or whatever it is, and Gutho is such a competitor, and he's probably too proud to admit that if he is carrying something, he just looks a yard off to me in everything they're doing. And granted, the Dragons aren't throwing any incredible shape at them or anything like that at the moment, but I just look at him and I compare him to other fullbacks in this competition at the moment that are lighting it up. Even Twiddle last night jumping out there for Parramatta. Just the speed he gets around the park and everything. It just lacks so much spark to me.
And he's had 14 runs. That's not Gutho. Gutho's usually up around the bloody. And that's what's so surprising with me is the fact that I'd get it if he was playing poorly, but he was still having your 25 runs and he was having those hit ups off the ruck that he does and the scoots but it just he's just not. He's just not.
Yeah, and obviously he's got the hamstring injury, so he more than likely won't play this weekend. So we might see New Look Dragons differently and whatnot. But I think even if he was available this week, you'd either have to move him, or I think look at whether it's Val when they get into over halfway, he jumps into the fullback role and they swap over potentially.
The hammy thing's interesting. That could be they're getting flogged during the week.
Yes, yep.
And that's why he's done his hammy, and that's why he's a bit flat and fatigued. But I personally think that because I love Gutho, man. Especially last year, I could not understand some of the negative chat around him. I think for the years that he's been at the Dragons, outside of his first few rounds or whatever, I think he's been great. I think he's been really solid. But yeah, I personally think after a loss like that and you're 0-5, you almost have to make a move just to send a message.
Yep.
And so I would probably be moving him to the centres just to kind of see just to spark something.
The only thing I would say as a counter to the training too hard stuff is it's the Dragons. Everything gets out. Yeah. I haven't heard anything.
Look, I don't know. Maybe I'm just speculating when I say that.
But it's just they're 0-5. They're struggling. You would think you would have heard something along those lines by this point. To the Dragons, the players' credit, they haven't. I saw their media last week where there was 6 or 7 of them in front, and they all just said it's on us. It's our responsibility. So they haven't looked for excuses and all that. But it is, if they were getting worked too hard, it's rugby league. It always gets out.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and that's why I'm speculating here because
Yeah,
it
you're just trying to find something that
makes sense.
Yeah.
because this doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Like not, I could look if we had another fullback, like Gutho has built a career on just fucking working hard, and then all of a sudden overnight it's just changed. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm sure that there's Dragon fans think that I'm saying that it's a matter of fact. I'm not. I'm just trying to speculate to see what's going on. I don't know for sure what's happening, and I tend to agree with you, Roo. Surely that's getting out. I will say in the Dragons' defense, like they haven't been that leaky as a club, considering how much is going wrong, which is relatively good. What do you reckon, Matty?
I just hate how far backwards they've gone since round one. Like, if you look at the Titans, we've had a bad start to the year. At least they're looking better now than they did in round one when they got pumped by Cronulla. In Vegas, the Dragons looked pretty good. I thought they were pretty unlucky to lose that game. They were good for half a game against Melbourne.
And I thought it was actually pretty good against the Doggies as well.
Yeah, and the last 2 weeks they didn't get a win, did they? Yeah, then it's just been disaster. It's been absolute disaster the last 2 weeks, and every game seems to be worse than the one before. I actually tipped them this week. I thought, there's no way. After Rue, you said it earlier, like after they opened their center of excellence and all their players were like, it's not on Flano, it's on us. I thought we'd see some sort of reaction, and it was like the complete opposite. So I'm worried about what's going to happen to the Dragons in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we mentioned it in the code subject as well, but the other thing this week was that they opened their new training facility, which I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fan with no fucking idea, but I would imagine as a player, you get new facilities like that. It's an exciting, fresh
There's
start.
energy in the.
There has to be an avenue of okay, let's start again.
Yeah.
This is a new beginning. To then go out there and get dusted 32-0 against, once again, with all due respect to them, the Cowboys. You weren't playing Penrith. Big concern.
Bizarre. So strange. So strange. So anyway, I spoke more about it in the Code Sports. Hopefully I can. Now on to the Cowboys. Mate, look. Fuck. Peyton was gone. He was gone. And we said about it before it all happened. For some fucking weird reason, this Cowboy side, when they are out on the canvas, they are completely done. It's over. Like, blow the whole squad up. They somehow, some way, go on these form runs. We go, okay, I'm seeing the vision here. And look, they've gone on a form run. Now, what is it, 3 on the trot? Yep. 3 wins in a row. 1 against the Melbourne Storm. Obviously, was it Titans? Titans, Dragons. Now, the Melbourne Storm one, that's the one that makes me go, okay, this is a genuine form run. It's an incredible win. And it wasn't just a little bit of a win. It was a 32-0 win away from home. What an amazing win. Scotty Drinkwater has been absolutely fire. I mean, I've got to put my hand up and say I got it wrong. I probably would have dropped him after that Tigers situation. Since then, now, granted, maybe the pressure of that potentially happening is what fired Scotty Drinkwater up. But he has been absolutely phenomenal since then. What did you think about the Cowboys, mate?
Yeah, Scotty Drinkwater's had a great couple of weeks. And Jakey Clifford playing like prime JT all of a sudden. He's been on absolute fire the last few weeks as well. He's been easily one of their best. A lot of attacks kind of come from around him. But, yeah, they were very impressive against a pretty dismal Dragon side, obviously, the other day. But they've now won 3 in a row. They've taken the pressure off Toddy Payton. Some of the young guns are really humming. Jackson Purdue, even though he's playing... Probably, I think we all agree, still not in his best position. He's in the centres. 2 tries for him. He was great. Tommy Chester, some nice moments as well there in the centres as well. So some of those young guys having some really good impact as well. Jason Taumalolo, since these in this little run of three games, it's just been kind of, I don't know, back to basics a little bit. The minutes have come down. He's just been dominating in that middle 30s. He's looked like the old Jason Taumalolo. It certainly hasn't looked like he's on the last year or second last year of his big long 10-year deal. I think he's really fired up as well. And off the back of that, it's kind of enabled those halves in that back line to get going.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned Jakey Clifford there. He's been outstanding. I was obviously heavily on you have to play Jackson Purdue at 5'8" to start the season. Jake Clifford, egg all over my face. He has just been fantastic for them. I love that try that he scored on the weekend. When he crashed over, I sort of went, small forward, who's that? And when Jake Clifford stood off, I went, fuck. And, I straight away thought back to, James Maloney used to do that. Smallest guy on the field, but he'd just fucking charge and run a line and find a way to get the ball down. Yeah, the Cowboys, mate, and I think there'll be people go, it's the Dragons. It's like, the players in front of you, they did what they were meant to do.
Yeah.
If Penrith beat them 32-0, you go, oh, fucking Penrith, holy shit.
Yeah,
Just,
absolutely.
like, Cowboys done the same. Credit to them.
But also, like, Cowboys, like the Penrith, if they win 32-0, we say, what a good performance by Penrith. Cowboys are nowhere near Penrith's level. That makes the win even more impressive.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%,
Like,
yes.
be even more stoked with it.
And it's not like it's a one-off. It's their third win in a row.
Yeah, third win in a row. We're talking a team 2 weeks ago that it was going to be essentially a rebuild. And now all of a sudden they're winning 32-0. Also a team that defensively has had massive issues. They're holding an NRL team to 0. Man, it's a great performance. It's a fantastic performance.
I'll tell you what, for the Cowboys too, and sometimes this falls your way, sometimes it doesn't, but great time to get Brisbane this week.
Yeah, with all the injuries and that, and with
All
the confidence they've got.
Even
Yep.
Payne Haas, he's obviously carrying something at the moment.
Yep.
Reece Walsh, Adam Reynolds gone. It's great time. Benny Hunt.
I will say that try, though, that Clifford scored. I mean, if you're a Dragons fan, you're sitting there going, is that a number 6 that just fucking...
If you're still there.
Yeah, if you still got the game on by that point, 77 minutes.
In regards to some other performances, I agree with you, mate. Taumalolo, like, look, is he back to prime Taumalolo? No, but I tell you what, he's definitely playing good enough to, I guess, I'll take that. I'll take that from Taumalolo every day of the week.
For sure, for sure. Can I give some flowers also to another big bopper in the middle, former West Tigers legend, Tom McKaylee. I thought he was great on the weekend. Ripped it up through the middle. His last couple of weeks, in fact, he's been, I think he's been a bit of a handful for opposition teams. Denied just his first NRL try, so still on the nudie run after 92 games in the top grade. But I think there's been some good signs from him. He's always had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But it's great to see that he's, especially these last few weeks when they've been on a run, he's been a big contributor.
I love as well he shared it on his social media.
Oh, yeah.
Blowing up. Yeah. I'd love to see that. Guy I want to give a rap to, Tom Chester was in Vegas, played the week after, got suspended. Zach Laybutt came in, and I sort of thought, it's going to be hard for Tom Chester to go back into this side. He'll be perfect with that 6-man bench. Like, Zach Laybutt was part of the team that beat Melbourne. Todd Payton went, Tom Chester comes back in. What did he run for? 232 run meters, 6 tackle breaks, 236 run meters, 6 tackle breaks. Good player, Tommy Chester.
Mate, I got to tell you, that their outside backs have been fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
When Taulagi is your, worst statistical player, and obviously devastated for Braden Burns with the injury, but their outside backs, so Chester 236 meters, Purdue 219 meters, Burns 229 meters, and Scotty Drinkwater 176 meters. Like Taulagi, the noted Origin level meter eater, he had the least meters at 160.
Crazy.
Man, I tell you what, and I agree with you, mate. Chester, he's a bloody good player, but man, Purdue, it's almost if he was in a city club right now, the headlines would be every single fucking week about that guy.
Yep.
He's that electric. He's that good. Another 2 tries on the weekend, as you mentioned, mate. I don't know what it is, because it's not like he's the fastest on the field or even the strongest on the field, but he just, every little extra inch that you need as a player, he just seems to find it. Like every time he needs a bit of space or an extra second here or there, he just finds it.
Yeah, when he's in space, he glides. When he's in contact, he looks strong. He just ticks all the little boxes. Origin this year, I reckon he's perfect for a 6-man.
Yeah, it's going to be, I tell you what, it's weird with Queensland. They've got a lot of people that weren't in the mix per se this year, like even guys like Hilam Lukey as well, Finney Fiuaki. There might be quite a new look side. But yeah, Purdue, it depends what's happened with Shibasaki, I guess, with his form. Yeah, Val Holmes as well.
I reckon at absolute minimum on a 6-man. Honestly, from a New South Wales point of view, if you have an injury anywhere, and I see Purdue with a card in his hand, I go, fuck.
I mean, with Val Holmes' form, you'd probably have to say, and Howarth injured as well.
In the box seat almost.
He's probably in the box seat for a centre position.
Yeah, he was spoken about a bit last year, and there's a bit of chat, but it's probably a little bit too soon.
Is defense a bit of an issue still, though? Defensively, you can have those games still.
Oh, he can, yeah, but Val's no stranger to that as well.
Yeah, true.
Shibasaki certainly is no stranger to it. So, who were your centres going through last year? Val and Shiba?
Yeah.
Toya.
Toya, sorry.
And
yeah,
Shiba.
of course.
I like Val on the wing in Origin anyway. But yeah, Rob Toya as well is another man who...
Is Val a walk-up?
No way. I don't think so. Not at the moment anyway. If he just plays solidly at NRL land, yes, then he's a walk-up for what he's done in Origin. But right now...
Hamiso is the other one too.
The hammer, yes. And he played fullback in game 3, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think
Walsh,
so,
he
yeah.
should be back.
So game
Yeah.
1, Toya and Hamiso on the centres with Val on the wing.
Yeah. Some other performances that are great. I thought Marnie was solid, did his job, which you want. Hillam Lukey's another guy that's just been super consistent for them. Cotter's an interesting one. I feel like at Clubland, Cotter, he's been pretty quiet for quite a while now. And I don't want to be negative because they bloody won and had a huge win. But am I seeing things? I feel like he's been a bit pretty quiet at Clubland for a while now.
Yeah, I almost feel like Cotter just those first 2 or 3 years, I think he just put so much into those 2 or 3 years. I think he's sort of maybe struggling to keep up to that level that he set for himself there. And, mate, he just plays so fucking tough. Cotter.
Yeah. Fucking
But once again, I assume the exact point you're making, mate, you pick him in a rep team and he looks unreal again. Like,
Mate.
it's still there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Absolutely, he's in the origin side. He's a lock pretty much, lock in. But yeah, just at club, I feel like he's just been, like not bad, but he's just been kind of doing his job to a degree. Nowhere near as impactful as he was a couple of years ago. Outside of that, I'm just trying to think. McKaylee, he's really justifying, as you said, he's really justifying. When he got named captain in a trial at the start of the year, I was like, where the hell does that come from? But clearly, Peyton has seen something in him. Look, I tell you what, with Peyton, I was pretty much of the mind that he's gone. Granted, we've been here before, but I think he deserves a wrap. Under immense pressure. They're 3 on the trot.
In the top 8.
Give themselves great foundation to continue to push. I think he deserves credit for the way he's handled it at this stage.
For sure.
What do you reckon, Timmy? Matty?
Yeah, for sure. They took their moments on the weekend, didn't they? Which is complete opposite of the Dragons. Like, Dragons had a bit of the ball. I think Jamie Cook might have thrown a 4 pass, and then boom, Drinkwater 40 tranny, boom, try. Bit later, Atkinson fails to. I think he might have got caught on 5th or something. Like, didn't execute properly. Boom, Cowboys go up again. It was just chalk and cheese, and it was complete domination. And you know what? I actually put money on Cowboys to get the spoon, and I was loving life 3 weeks ago. They have just turned it around amazingly.
We'll say just quickly on the Dragons, Leilua was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, outrageous.
He is playing such good footy.
Against his old club.
Yeah.
Fired up.
Jesus, he was good. But listen, Cowboys, absolutely outstanding stuff. Like, great turnaround. They just got to keep it up, I guess. Like, this is the level now. This is the standard. They've given themselves a good opportunity to stay in the 8. You can't ask much more. Alrighty, time for the Broncos defeating the Titans 26-12. Look, the Broncos, it says comfortably. I will say the Titans, I actually think the Titans are getting better and better each week, which is really exciting. And you can really see something building there, which is exciting for Titans fans. Broncos, once again, like a bit sloppy. Their defense really did save them in this game as well, in my opinion. The toll from this game is quite massive. Renault gone, Hunt gone, Walsh gone. So it's a massive toll. But the good thing is their defense has been quite good for the last few weeks of Brisbane Broncos. Got the job done. Good, solid victory. And, Stags is kicking probably, if you had nailed a couple more conversions, it would have been a bit bigger. But all in all, satisfactory night from the Brisbane Broncos, and I'm happy the defense is good.
Yeah, it almost is the bigger talking point is what you do moving forward now. The amount of players you lost. Mate, I mentioned it last week. I spoke about a try that Nico Hines set up where he put in a kick and he didn't sit back and watch it himself. He chased through, managed to get the ball back. I love that Reece Walsh puts up the kick himself, comes through and catches it. I love that.
And again, yes, of course, how do you defend that? You go up. Kinney needs to go up for the ball harder, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, sometimes you just got this guy that's got this crazy hot hand. Like, it's not like they stripped you of numbers or whatever. It's just Reece Walsh doing what Reece Walsh does.
Yeah. When he's on, I love the scene as well when he went down the sideline. Did you see the reverse angle of the touchy?
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Drew, one of the great guys.
He didn't want to. He was like, that was fucking unbelievable.
He was like, like everyone's sitting at home being like, no, he's gone out.
I saw the people on social media as well giving him stick for that. I'm like,
fuck off.
You want your officials to have a feel for the game, don't you? I hear it all the fucking time. I can guarantee, mate, when I did the Kangaroo Tour a few years ago when I first ever had merch, my first order came in and it was, I think, 14 hats were ordered. And I went, geez, who the fuck would buy 14 hats? It was that touchy.
Oh,
Touchy's going over there. Just loves rugby league.
Yeah.
And you saw in that moment that, you know, I
He's
don't
a
want
fan too.
my officials to be robotic. I want them to have a feel for the game and understand the game. So shout out to you, Drew. Absolutely
also,
fucking
like,
unreal.
I promise you, most officials, referees, touches, and that love the game more than 99% of
Can you
people
imagine how much of a fan you have to be
a touch
to choose your career path of I'm gonna never get thanked and
Anything.
cop shit all the time.
And you're a touchy too, so you're getting shit the whole game.
Yep, the whole game.
So like these guys love the game more than anything. Like, yeah, I thought it was a really good moment of connecting the touchy and reminding everyone these guys are fans of the game. These guys love the game.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes touchies and refs don't get the right call. Hey, guess what? Your favorite player also makes errors.
Who's getting paid 4 times as much?
Well,
Please.
while we're on connecting with fans and you know, people involved in that particular moment, can I just cut in here with a quick Hammy's Hero?
Oh,
Is that
yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
Brought to you by Sportsbet. No Hammy's Hammer this week. I thought I'd keep it positive and just
Okay.
get the vibe. I'm obviously in a good mood. Tigers are going well, so I thought I'd get the vibes
Jimmy's
up.
gone too, which makes you very happy.
I like Jimmy. I can't lay the boot into Jimmy. That's all what Hammy's Hero is about today. This is about uplifting
Oh,
people.
sorry, mate. Sorry, I'll bring you down.
Now, hot boy Reece Walsh obviously had an outstanding first half. Unfortunately, got a broken cheekbone right on halftime. Didn't come back on.
Brave effort from him to get low like that, trying to make that tackle.
Very brave, very brave. He was having a great performance at that point. Unfortunately, he's going to miss the next couple of weeks as well. Went into hospital that night, got on the green whistle. Gave it a good go by the looks of things. He was enjoying himself there. And then, I don't know if Madge will be thrilled with this, but once he was let go from the hospital, there was a car that had broken down in the car park, and he's filmed himself on social media helping the boys push the car out of the car park, get it going again. So credit where it's due, Reece Walsh. You know, he can be a bit polarising sometimes, a bit sort of Vegemite, but I think on this occasion he just brought some fans of the game together. He showed us a good human side of him, and just hats off to him. I thought well deserved this week for Hammy's Hero, Reece Walsh. Hope you get well soon.
Yep.
Maybe not before the 18th of April when the Tigers play.
Got him scared.
In
Got him scared.
in Strap Bowl, but
Scared chat.
until that point, I thought that was outstanding content coming out of Reece's Instagram account over the weekend.
Yeah, it's weird with Walsh because like he does something like that, and I wanna post it, but I just know there's gonna be so many fuckwits in the comment being like, he's filming himself, he's doing this. I'm just like, all right, fuck, I'm just not even gonna bother with that negativity. But I saw that video.
Yep.
What a legend. Even just to be in that situation
Ripper.
where, you know, you're getting someone's asking you, hey, because I think what happened is like they might have ran into him because the person that sent the video to me, they ran into Walshy walking out, and he might have ran back in and got his family, or Walshy's old man, and he ran back in and got his family to push the car. But I'll say this fucking till I'm blue in the face. Until things change, what has Walshy ever done that makes him a bad bloke?
Yeah.
Yeah. The brief time I spent with him over there on the Kangaroo Tour, the number one thing that stood out to me with him and Kevin Malters in particular, you know, you'd have hundreds of people that had come to their captain's runs and all that sort of stuff, and you know, some of the players after a period of time sort of okay, I want to go inside. Mate, Reece stayed out there the entire time, and he was like having the fucking Beatles over there. They loved him. He just had time for everyone, having photos with everyone, having chats with everyone, and not just sort of small talk, sort of asking them whereabouts are you from, blah blah blah. Like just holds himself in a really good way. Reece.
Yeah. When you consider what, like, it is the recipe for arrogance. You've got a young man on a bunch of money that's an absolute freak of nature, in form. That's a recipe for a young man to get ahead of himself, and he still doesn't. Yep. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. But yeah, in regards to his performance for the Broncos, I just thought the defense was gutsy. There's still so many rough edges. Like even a guy like Ezra Mam, like, he ended up playing really well, but like some of the errors he's making, it's just like far out. Like I get to the end of the game, I'm like, yeah, he had a good game for sure, but geez, he needs to clean up some of those errors, especially now that he's going to be essentially the main man in their spine, I would assume. But yeah, look, can't be too negative at all with the Broncos. Good, solid win. Someone I want to give another rap is Jordan Ricky again. Like he was hunting Tino or Malawi, and multiple times one-on-one tackle on Tino. And again, we spoke about this last week. I don't think Jordan Ricky goes hunting Tino a few years ago. I just don't think he was developed enough as a player to do that. Now he's getting enough confidence under Michael Maguire to really back his physical strength to go after guys like Tino. I just got to give him raps. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Give him a rap every week, but I thought, all the injuries, everything that happened, I think Payne Haas is obviously carrying an injury. He only played 55 minutes though. Pat Carrigan once again, mate.
Huge.
Gets through so much fucking work. It's crazy.
Yep.
I think it is pretty evident with Payne Haas that he's obviously managing that injury. And it's going to be a big test over the next few weeks with all their players out. It's going
Absolutely.
to be hard for a guy like Payne to hold himself back, almost.
Yeah, absolutely. I just a second your thoughts. Paddy Carrigan, especially these last few weeks, it's almost ever since the PNG chat, he's gone just to a whole nother level. Maybe that little bit of noise around, I don't know, what the club means to him or something pushed him along a little bit.
And, maybe it was from my memory of it is the PNG stuff sort of happened at a period of time where the Broncos needed guys to stand up, and he has ever since.
Yeah.
Just what you expect out of Pat Carrigan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why a lot of us say that he is the club's captain. He is this generation's player that you keep no matter what. Because, when the Broncos have needed him, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And also, you could argue last year there were periods where he was a little bit quiet at times. He still got through all his work. But was he at the level that we see Paddy Carrigan where he's winning Wally Lewis medals? Probably not. But I think the last few weeks he's been easily one of Broncos' best. And again, just proves you why he is so loved at the club and going to be a captain probably next year, I'd say, wouldn't you? I'd say he'd be captain next year.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is good to see. Good to see because you want the next up to take control of the game. Who stood up for you, mate?
Yeah, while we're in the middle of the field, I think, you spoke about Payne Haas kind of managing a bit of injury. I thought Xavier Willison, I think he's been pretty good for the last couple of weeks, to be honest, but his numbers through the middle have been great and, just gives you a little bit of reassurance. And one of those key guys is off the ground, whether it's Carrigan or Haas, you're not, as you have in maybe years gone by, missing too much. He's really giving you a lot of punch through the middle. So I thought he had another good outing on the weekend as well.
Yep. I feel like we're just getting to, we're heading in the right direction. I can't wait to see the final form of Willison,
Yeah.
Still got so much growth in him. Another guy who I just think that, he got moved to centre recently, but I think Dean Mariner, he has been outstanding recently.
I think he's a
Unsung
winger.
hero.
I kind of do, personally.
I thought he was a winger, but I think since he got moved to centre, he's been great. I think he's been great. Speaking of centres, Tony Staggs, he still has a little bit of a brain explosion here or there, but mate, his form recently has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
I just love the confidence he plays with at the moment too, Staggs. You can tell that, when guys return from kangaroo tours and all that sort of stuff. I said it a few weeks ago as well, but you just tell he is supremely confident now. I think Staggs has now taken on board that when this team needs something, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's the main man.
Yeah.
I will say he made 25 tackles on the weekend. That's huge for a centre. So they clearly try to win after him and try to gas him, in attack. But yeah, he's great.
Did you say 25?
25 tackles, I think.
That was the same as his goal kicking percentage on the weekend.
Mate, what was doing there? Holy heck.
He did say as well, and in fairness to him, when would the last time he would have probably spent a lot of time practicing on it? Because he's the third string kicker. He's done it many, many moons ago. So credit to him for stepping up to the plate. But there was a couple there that, he certainly didn't have his rhythm, probably fair to say.
I've liked Pia Cora's work too. He looks just comfortable out there now. Whereas I feel like in his first couple of years, you could tell a rookie was playing. You could tell a rookie that was finding his feet. He looks comfortable out there. Look, just a good, solid win. It's going to be really interesting to see. The positive is heading into the next few weeks, it's been defence that's been a strong suit. So if we lose some really strong attacking players, hopefully our defence can keep us in games. But yeah, good stuff from the Broncos. I think they should be really proud. I will say, so much noise around the club 2 weeks ago. They have responded as literally as good as you can. Ever since then, their defence has been phenomenal, literally phenomenal. Onto the Titans. I actually think the Titans are more of the story out of this one. I really like what I'm seeing from the Titans. They were, diabolical round one. I just think they're on a steady incline, just getting a little bit better. I thought the Titans were pretty good in this one. I really do.
Yeah, I think steady incline's a fair way to put it. Still have my concerns about them. Just when you consider how many players the Bronx lost in this game, all that sort of stuff. I personally thought the Bremo try, I thought they were pretty hard done by in that moment. I thought that pass was fair play.
Okay.
What do you think?
Look, people are going to say I'm biased, whatever I say, but I thought it was a forward pass, but
Biased.
I do. But if they had to let it go, I wouldn't have had an issue. For me, it was like a 50-50 call. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
I thought the commentators went a bit too hard. I was like, yeah, it's 50-50, but they were like, that is a disgraceful call.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm with you, mate. I didn't understand why they were being so up and about it. Truly, at the very least, there's a line ball. I personally think there's a line there you can see. Now, granted, I understand physics. You can throw it back and it can still float forward. But I personally thought it was forward.
For the record, I actually thought it did go it was a fair try, but I just couldn't believe that. Like, I watched the replay. I'm like, it's not that obvious.
No, I thought it was a 50-50 call. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
Yep, fair. Involving AJ Brimson, I'm obviously the number one stockholder of Keano Keeney. His confidence just looks shattered to me at the moment. I wonder, and it wouldn't be like a dropping per se, but I just wonder if some weeks in reserve grade just get his confidence back. And when you've got a guy like Brimo in your team who's playing out of position, like, the Titans need to start winning games of football. Much as I love him, I think it's something I'd seriously consider.
Mate, he's shot.
He's absolutely shot, and I feel like he's just digging himself. He's trying. Like, it's not for a lack of effort. He's
No, of course
fucking
not.
trying out there. But yeah, I just wonder if just a few weeks out of the limelight, getting back to reserve grade, and just put AJ Brimson in there. And for all you know, AJ Brimson, he could really turn the screws there.
Well, absolutely he could. He's, when it comes to what they've done in their careers, AJ Brimson is still the best fullback in the competition.
Yeah.
At the Titans. Now, obviously, go Kinney with what he did and his potential, everything. But for some reason, like, Kinney just this year has not looked anywhere near the player that we saw last year. He doesn't look as strong in contact, doesn't look probably as quick as he looked last year. I wonder whether he's carrying an injury. I'm not sure. And unfortunately, I hate to say it because I'm such a fan of him too, like yourself, but you have to ask yourself, a few of those high balls, if they get caught, what does this game look like?
Yeah.
And it sucks. I'm not saying it's only his fault, but there were high balls that he probably should have taken, at least two of them. Was it 2 or 3 that he dropped? Anyway, that aside, like...
But it's been a handful over the first few weeks.
Yes, and to the point where teams are identifying it and saying, let's bomb it and put a bit of pressure on him, see what happens. And also, Brimo at centre, I'm still not sold on him at centre. I can put him there to keep him in the side. I'm still a bit unsure with Ilias at 6. I don't really think he's a 6. But if you put Brimo back at fullback, I'm pretty confident he'll go well. Yep. He's always gone well at fullback. So I don't mind the shout. I'll probably give him another week or so, I reckon, to see how he bounces back. But I do agree with you, mate. Is it getting worse because it is being left?
Yeah, I think he's almost doing himself more damage at the moment. And because, once again, it's not for a lack of effort by any means. If anything, I think he's almost trying too hard to get himself out there. I just think a few weeks away might do him well. And once again, at the end of the day, the Gold Coast Titans, they're out there to win games of football. If maybe moving Brimo there allows them to do that, sucks for Keeney, but that's rugby league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like any time you're making 4 errors, unless you're setting up 3 tries, I mean, it really is never acceptable, but like unless you're setting up 3 tries, you just can't afford to be doing that. Now, some other good performances. Listen, I thought Jojo Fafita was fucking outstanding.
Yeah. Amazing.
He might be a smoke, seriously.
There's something there with Jojo Fafita. I just say, once again, I think he's another guy that if he was at a Sydney club and he was, if he was in the Sharkies back line, I reckon we're talking about him all the time. He just doesn't get opportunities there. He's really good in the air too. But I think that when you're playing the Gold Coast Titans, I think all teams are aware he's good in the air, so they are able to mark him well there. I think there's something special about Jojo.
And I'll never forget, it was a couple of years ago where he just couldn't get a crack. I was like, what the hell? You got this absolute speed star. And even Lachlan Kennedy, the fastest man in Australia, he used to sprint to get him, Jojo Fafita.
Yeah, right.
And said he was quick, he was rapid as. So I'm really intrigued to see what continues to happen at the
He's also
Titans.
rugby league fast, the way he moves.
Yep.
And I think he's just got a good sense for the game as well. So, he's one that I think he's got plenty more to offer still.
Who stood out for you, man?
I think you've covered most of them. Bo Fermor, I thought, had some nice moments there. Kind of got
Good
through the
bounce
line.
back game because he's been quiet to start the year, to be honest.
He has, but he looked a little bit threatening there and threw, ran some nice lines at the Broncos. So he was pretty good as well. I was gonna wrap Jojo Fafita. Obviously had the 2 tries, but those are probably the two other ones that stood out to me.
I thought, aside from an error or 2, I thought Tino looked better.
Looks better.
Still not at his peak, but definitely looks better.
I think you'll start to see his minutes go up over the next few weeks from what I've gathered. I think he was carrying something into the process.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you, mate? What are your thoughts on the Titans?
I reckon they're a huge watch because if you cast your mind back last year to Eels and Dolphins, they both started the year 9-4 with new coaches. Now the Titans are 1-5 a round later. It wasn't ideal. Neither Eels nor Dolphins made the finals, but they improved dramatically, and we actually ended the year thinking that there's a lot of upside with the Dolphins and there's a lot of upside with the Eels. I reckon the next month is such a huge watch for the Titans because they have, even though they've only won the 1 game, they have improved each week. I thought they've been all right the last couple of weeks. They got a big month ahead of them. I think they got the Raiders. Sorry, they got Para this week, which is a huge game. They got the Warriors away. Now, obviously, that seems like a tough game, but the Titans have had the wood over the Warriors in the last few years. They won on Anzac Day. They beat them by 60 that other time. I think they're 3 from 4 around that. And they've got a bye as well. So if they win none of those games, disaster, obviously. But I think, we've given them a bit of time with their new coach, and we saw last year that you do need a bit of time. I just think the next month is a huge watch, and I think they can chalk up a couple wins.
I just love the fact that you're seeing this steadily getting better. Like, it's a very clear, it's not erratic, it's not up and down, because if it's erratic, then you're going, well, you just happen to have a game where a bunch of your players turned it on or whatever. What I like about the Titans, it seems like what you hope would happen for us as a Titan fan, which is players getting more used to systems, players, understanding their role better, getting more comfortable in what they're doing, which again, the depth of the rebuild that they're in, which is essentially all the way from the ground, you'd rather them rip everything down than try and rebuild on shaky foundations.
Yeah.
And so I like obviously they have to get better. If they don't get better, then obviously it's not good. But I'd rather a much more steady, trajectory. It shows that they've rebuilt it the correct way. But listen, great game. Campbell for me is an out and out 7. What about Cleese Haas playing so well that Maui Fodawaker is coming off the bench now?
Yeah, I sort of think it's been a little bit overdue, if I'm honest. But yeah, he's going good. There was a moment there where I think he stepped Piakura. He put a right foot step on him, went inside him, and Payne Haas was on the inside. And they sort of had a little nod to each other. Little giggle. Did you see that?
Yeah. How good's that, brothers playing each other? It's sick. But Cleese Haas is a good story because I remember a few years ago where he got clowned on because he had 0 runs or something like that.
Yep.
And sometimes, and granted, the player has to take responsibility, but sometimes a player is being told to do a very specific job, especially out on the edge. And they might be told, mate, don't take any shit hit-ups. Don't go in there looking for the ball. You hold your width. Your job is to create room for the people around you. And what I like, the fact that Cleese Haas is moving more into the middle, it's giving an opportunity just to just go after the game.
Yep.
Just go. And we're seeing the dividends of that. It's the best he's looked since being at the Titans, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a good win. I like Randell at 13. I think he gets through a bunch of work. I think he suits the modern game. So, all in all, I think positive step forward for the Titans. I really do.
Yeah, heading in the right direction.
Yep. Okay, on to the Sharks v. the Warriors. Sharks defeat the Warriors 36-22. Look, really strong win for the Sharkies. I thought Hines was outstanding. I really felt we almost saw vintage Hines, where super confident in his running game, almost dictated the pace. I think it's been so long that we forget that when he won his Dally M, mate, he would control the whole game. He had the game on a string. Now, I don't think he's back at that form just yet, but I saw glimpses of it against the Warriors. I thought he was outstanding. In regards to the Warriors, getting a little bit worried that they've allowed the really early success to creep into their thought process and think that they can just blow teams off the park with their ball playing instead of being really patient, getting through their sets. What do you think of this one, mate?
Warriors, I can't figure out at the moment. We did our preseason predictions. I had them in sort of 10th, 11th. I watched the first 3 weeks and thought, you moron, you've got this completely wrong. You've got to walk it back. They'd convinced me in the first 3 weeks they were going to be a top 4 side. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's very shaky. They've obviously brought Metcalf back into the side, trying to work out that. They've made changes with Torpicki at fullback. So there are a couple of changes going on there at the Wars. But I don't know, mate. I just thought in the first 3 weeks they looked fit as a fiddle, and they just looked like a well-coached team that everyone was on the same page. And the last 2 weeks, it just hasn't looked like that. And I sort of said last week, they were at $2.40. I went, fuck, this mob played 30 bad minutes against the Tigers. That's it this season. But it's starting to stack up now.
Bookie's always right.
Yeah.
Bookies are always right.
Not against me this week. That's fine.
What do you think of this one, mate?
Yeah, Sharkies, just got into the grind and got into their work. The Warriors, I'm not exactly sure where that dip's kind of come from. They had a few players come back in. I thought, the inclusion of Mitch Barnett and stuff, coming back into the team would be a good thing. Lukey Metcalf obviously had a little bit of an issue towards the end of the game, which is a bit of a worry.
Well, he's done his hammy. Now, this is hindsight speaking.
Yep.
And I did mention it before, and I may have actually gone this route. Did the Warriors miss a trick and they should have brought him back slowly through New South Wales Cup, considering where they were at?
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, all in hindsight. It's probably not what I would have done, to be honest with you. But in hindsight, maybe it was the play.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I would do, but it definitely was a thought in my mind to bring him back through New South Wales Cup. And also, didn't he come back a little bit earlier than expected as well?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
So I
See,
just
they've
stuff
been
like that.
a bit unlucky, the Warriors, with obviously him and Mitch Barnett, I mentioned a moment ago. They brought him back in and then they've done something else. You know what I mean? So they've been a little bit unlucky in that sort of regard. But yeah, that early season form that they had, where they probably looked like the number 2 seed for a little while there. They were playing some really good footy, but they've just. Yeah, I think you probably summed it up well. They've just expected that their attack and their flair will get the job done for them, and they've probably gone away a little bit from the gritty hard work, which the Sharkies didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, Metcalf's a tough one because he's done his hammy now. He does have a history of his hammy issues. I do think let's just say it is hindsight, like purely hindsight. I do think if the Warriors had their time back, they probably would have said to themselves, guys, we're going fine. You know, yes, obviously Metcalf is in our best 13 or our best 17. But why rush? Like, why even increase the likelihood of anything like this happening? And I know it's hindsight speaking, but it definitely, I think going forward, if they had their time again, they probably would have been more patient with his development. Like, for example, he came back in and just played 80 minutes, didn't he, against the Tigers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So, like, even like that, surely with an ACL, and you're also one of the best teams in the comp at the time, even if it's just like 20 minutes in New South Wales Cup, 30 minutes in New South Wales Cup, like build him back into the game. And I know it's hindsight, I get it, but like you still got to review the results of what's happened.
So what an interesting game coming up this weekend, like Melbourne and the New Zealand Warriors. When you consider both these teams after round 2 and round 3, you went, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Good luck catching these two. Now it's completely flipped. Warriors, once again, they're like $3 outsiders in this.
Yeah, wow. What do you reckon, Matty, about the Wars?
Just on the injury thing, it's funny. The Tigers find themselves in a pretty similar situation. It's not the same because obviously Luai is never going to come back through reserve grade, but they're winning, and it's an injury you kind of don't want to mess with. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Tigers do with Luai.
Yeah, I will say the difference with Luai to a degree is we're talking about a 4-time premiership winning,
definitely, yeah,
Origin, played 100 games, 200 games or whatever, or 150. Whereas Metcalf, he's still only played, was it 40 games or something like that of NRL? But anyway, sorry.
Back to the Warriors though. The last 2 weeks have been disappointing. Really disappointing, especially this week. I thought the Sharkies, the Sharkies dominated, to be fair. And there was a point in the game where around the 50th, 60th minute, I'm watching, I'm going, surely the Warriors can't win here. The Sharkies have been absolutely dominant. A bounce of the ball didn't go their way a couple times, blah, blah, blah. But it could have got a lot worse than it was. And I can't put my finger on them, and I can't put my finger on the Sharks either. I reckon I haven't got a single Sharks tip right this year. When I tip them, they lose. When I don't tip them, they win. Yeah, they're hard to get a read on, but the Sharks' last 2 weeks have been pretty impressive.
Well, this is how dominant the Sharkies were. Is they had essentially 10 meters per set more than the Warriors.
They were dominant. They were very dominant.
We're talking about the Warriors who usually top the meters made.
Wow.
Against teams. The Sharkies blew them off the park. The Sharks actually had less percentage of the ball than the Warriors did. They still tailed them up.
Yeah, wow.
Tailed up's a strong word, but it was a convincing win. But let's stick to Warriors and then we'll get to the thing. So I guess Harris Tavita comes straight in. You assume?
Assume so.
That was the combo at the start of the year, and it seemed to work pretty well when they were together.
I'd say so. Is there anywhere else you'd kind of looked at? I did think Chance defensively really struggled. A couple of times got caught out at centre. Now, is that just a reps thing? Like, usually he's quite strong in defence.
I think it's a reps thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about him, yeah.
Went off the other day, injury.
Yeah, he came off late as
Neck.
well, I think.
Neck,
Was it?
yeah. So they thought it was head at first, but then it was a neck, but I think he's been cleared, I think.
Okay.
But I'm just looking at this side, like RTS had a couple of poor errors, very uncharacteristic. He had 3 errors in total. I tell you what, if you go back and watch the press conference, watch a press conference with James Fisher-Harris because it's so good because he doesn't hide any of his emotions. So anytime something like the journo will say to Webster, they'll be like, you didn't play very well, you didn't complete your sets, and Fisher will be like, didn't. And he's just shaking his head. Or when you say, like, Webster will be like, yeah, we played really, really poor, he'll be like, yep. And he's just like, okay, mad. Usually, the captain's sitting there, he's not moving his head, nothing. So, yeah, look, they've got to fix it and fix it quick because all that early momentum that they built up, it can be gone quickly. Like, all of a sudden, they lose again this week. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, the whole start of the year was almost pointless because that momentum that we had, it's gone. Whereas if they go out and they beat Melbourne, you can say, okay, little blip on the radar. Maybe you could say that bringing Metcalf in just was a bit clunky for the side. And that was partly the reason. Now, I'm not putting all the blame on Metcalf at all, but I'm just saying you can look at certain things. Is there any other changes that you'd consider making? Or
No, I think that'd probably be it for me. I think if you go down there to Melbourne and you get dusted,
concerns?
then we look around the room.
I will say, and look, I'm not saying the Warriors got dudded or whatever and they would have won the match. I will say, Healy, how does Healy go off with a HIA and not even get a penalty?
Yep.
Make that make sense, please.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I can't.
Like, what do we, like, look, I get maybe not 10 in the bin or whatever, not even a penalty, but he has, like, forceful contact to the head that caused a concussion symptom, because that's, you only get taken off for HIA if it looks like there's concussion symptoms or whatever it is. Like, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially there's evidence that you have been hit in the head and there potentially could be concussion. So there's clearly been the forceful enough for him to be taken from the field, but not forceful enough to get a penalty. When, respectfully, like Mitchell Moses got slapped in the face and he got a penalty. What is going on?
I think Hammy summed it up well.
I do not know.
Can't answer that. Don't know. Yeah.
Bizarre.
Why? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Surely.
I think I've started to give up on expecting any type of consistency ever, to be honest. Like we said it, we've had this, you can probably go back to a podcast in 2021, probably talk about the same thing.
Fair. Absolutely fair. But yeah, outside of that, Warriors, they need to go back to what was, working for them, which was super conservative, get through your sets, complete high, and then bash them physically. Some positives, I did that Aaron Clark worked his absolute backside off. And I do think Tanner Stowers-Smith has been almost like an unsung hero for the Warriors this year.
Been a good little find, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on to the Sharkies. Look, I'm guilty of it this year because I've actually tipped against them multiple times, and you guys know I'm Sharkies' #1 glazer. But, they just keep trucking on, don't they? They just keep, chalking up relatively big wins, and every time you kind of count them out, and even when they do win, they probably don't get the praise they deserve. This is a great game, and a great game specifically for guys like Hines in the bounce back. I thought Ito, after his game against the Raiders, we spoke about how good defensive he was, and he goes out and he misses like 10 tackles. I thought he really took it personal this game, his defense. He just looked too powerful and too strong for the Warriors. Like, very rarely does any Warriors side ever have a player look too powerful and too strong. Ito just looked like on a level above.
I think what you said before, I think he took this one personally in this game after what happened last week. And just in general, mate, he's had especially with ball in hand, he's had a really quiet start to the season. He just hasn't had too many opportunities. Thought he was good. I thought Sam Stonestreet came up with some nice plays as well, obviously stepping in for Mulatalo for the first 3 quarters of the season. I'll tell you the one that I find bizarre, and maybe it's because he was returning from injury or whatever, but that when we got to the back end of last year and Billy Burns was fighting it out with Britt Nickera for that edge, sort of shocked me. We're still doing it.
Yeah, crazy.
And he's looking good, Burns. He's playing great footy.
Mate, he's been outstanding. And again, it's an area where you thought it was all locked down, but it's exciting for the Sharks because these guys are youngish. Like, they're not that old.
And if when he arrived at the club, Burns, I think it was 2 years ago, if you would have said to me, there'll be a 2-year battle between him and Wilton, okay, okay, I can say that. But him and Britt Nickera is wild. Yeah,
absolutely. Just shows you, again, Fitzy's ability to develop these young guys and bring them through. Just so good. Sorry to go back to the Warriors. I will say defensively, Metcalf, he's still got this habit of trying to go for intercepts, and defensively, he definitely needs reps, regardless of injury or whatever. He definitely needs reps defensively because there was multiple times where it was either trying to go for an intercept, they go through the middle, or short line, or Hines beating him. Sorry to go back to that. Just looked at my notes. Who stood out for you in the Sharkies, mate?
Sharkies, I thought William Kennedy at the back.
He was great, wasn't he?
Yeah,
yep.
One of those 8.5, 9 out of 10 games, couple of tries, constantly kind of supporting, doing all that good stuff that when he's at his best, he does. Yeah, it's just, the challenge.
Where's he at, Kennedy? Because like
He's got these ones in him, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Keep him coming.
Like if you get him at your club for like 400 or 500k, or I'll say 500k, mate, you could do a lot worse. A lot worse.
Yeah. And I think if you are, Perth or one of those teams, I think Will Kennedy be an unreal get. My only question is if the Sharkies are trying to, lift a trophy this year, I just don't know if he's the guy for that. But he's 5 games in, 4 tries, 4 try assists, 22 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks. He's doing good.
No, he's been pretty good. He's been bloody pretty good. And so it's like, it's such a tough spot for him to be in because like he's got this unique situation where it's like, well, we're trying to win a comp. You're a really good NRL player.
Yep.
And you give us 8 out of 10 every week, but we've identified you as the guy that needs to be changed if we are to win a comp. And he's like, well, you could argue this year at least I've been more consistent than...
In saying that as well, like that's who we've identified.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Sharks have.
Uh-huh.
They don't even... At the moment, it looks like they're still a bit unsure on what direction they're going to head.
Yeah, I mean, but like you look at, they've let a few young fullbacks go, like Hay Dykes and whatnot, and I don't know, have they been in the market for other fullbacks?
Well, they only extended him for 1 year.
Kennedy?
So, yeah. So that would say to me that they're kind of hedging their bets a little bit, which is understandable because, like, be careful what you wish for, Sharkies fan. If you're like, nah, let's get the next hot thing coming through, get rid of Kennedy. It is hard to play 8 out of 10 most weeks or 7.5 out of 10 in the NRL, and Kennedy does that.
As much as that, it's a 1 year contract, like that 1 year, that'll be his 9th year at the Sharks.
Yeah,
in first grade,
mate.
Like he debuted in 2019. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 8 seasons now.
I'll tell you what as well. We always like all these other clubs are complaining about, or fans or whatever, spines not gelling and looking clunky. I'll tell you one thing the Sharkies do have is they are gelled within an inch of their life. Like they move smooth. Everything is smooth as anything. They know each other like the back of their hand. So, look, really, really good win. Trindle, I think he started the year relatively well. Like, granted, there was a 1 or 2 quiet games, so I think he started the year well. But for me, the man of the match probably for the Sharkies was Hines. Like, I really felt he was confident. He was playing like this was, his footy team where he was the one that was going to get the job done. Like, we've spoken about it ad nauseum, so we won't go over it all again. But the Sharkies are this unique side where if someone's got the hot hand, the other one puts it away and they just stay quiet for a bit. But this truly was. Hines had the hot hand and tore them absolutely to shreds.
Yeah, he's played great footy in this one, Nico, and he has for the last few weeks. He's been unreal. So they go to Perth this week, taking on the Roosters, going into a bye. Who have you got in that one? I've got no idea which way to go.
Probably the Roosters, but like they beat a down and out Manly.
It's Roosters coming off a bye, Sharks going into a bye this one.
I'll probably go Roosters, but not confidently at all. I tell you what, it's a good litmus test for the Roosters.
I think it's good for both of them, yeah.
Yeah. But like the Roosters, like they were going under immense pressure against Manly. Got it done, but we could see how.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll see. I thought Talakai was really good. You know what another player I liked from Kennedy? And it didn't end up being like this, but it was. Sorry, I just get up on my notes. So, I didn't write down the timing. Anyway, so Kennedy chases Watene Zelezniak when Watene Zelezniak makes the intercept and scores his try. And like there was pretty much no way Kennedy was getting to him, but he chased him all the way to the corner, and then the Warriors missed the conversion. And it's just like little plays like that, probably not going to get credit for Kennedy does, but usually he's pretty good at all those effort plays. And if the game was close, that could have been the difference.
Yeah.
Like it really could have been the difference. And so just little things like that I hope he gets credit for. But outside of that, look, great win for the Sharkies. On to the next, really. On to the next. Okay, on to the next game, guys. Last game, because we've already done the Tigers Eels earlier in the show. It is the Knights defeating the Raiders 32-12. I cannot believe how good the Knights look. Like, I am blown away by how good the Knights look. Like, truly, I just thought, okay, last week was like the one-off game. They got up and about, the doggies. For them to come out and do this to the Raiders the week after, they are now sitting in, I think, 3rd place on the ladder.
Yeah.
They're 4 games, only 1 loss, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's unbelievable with how good they look. And they're missing their 2 best players where most of the salary cap is.
Yeah.
It is crazy what they're doing. And I just think Holbrook deserves all the credit in the world. Like the way they're playing. And they're not doing it flukily or, the bounce of the ball's going their way. Like I even wrote in my notes. So it was 25 minutes to go. And if we still had NordVPN defense, this would have been the NordVPN defense for me. 20 minutes to go. And the Knights absolutely just turned up for each other on their line. Defense set after set after set. They scrambled so hard. And then I think it might have been a little bit later where Hosking goes over and I think they get the try disallowed. But in my notes I wrote, I don't see the Raiders coming back. I've got confidence that the Knights have got this in the bag. They are just the better footy side. And I think that's what's surprising me the most is like, normally if a team is supposed to be on the bottom of the ladder and there's another team that was a minor premierships the year before, when a try is scored with 15 to go, my head's thinking, oh, here we go. Here's that momentum swing.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about the Knights. I was like, nah, the Knights are just better. They are just a better footy side right now. It's an amazing feat what they're doing. Yes, it's early in the season. I get all that. But they looked energetic. They look tough. They're out-muscling some of the best forward packs in the comp. Like, it's just amazing. It's absolutely... They out-muscled the Raiders. With it, like I'll just put up my hand for myself. All I could speak was negatively about their forward pack heading into the season. So I got to say, I got that wrong. Absolutely wrong. They've been outstanding. A huge, huge win.
And I think the other thing about their forward pack is as well, like, I was negative on them as well, but like, in my mind, I thought, okay, if they are going decent, it means Trey Mooney's playing 70 minutes. He's going Terrell May for this side. He plays 50 minutes every week. They just give him a simple job, go out, follow this, and it's the Matty Crokers, the Tyson Frizzels, the Pasami Solos, these guys that are really stepping up for this football side. Dylan Lucas has been tremendous on that left edge. Like, Jacobs playing the sort of footy that Jacobs promises for 5 years.
Yep.
It's when they've really needed him to stand up. He looks great. Obviously, Phoenix Crossland, the work that he's doing through the middle. They're just ticking so many boxes. And 35-year-old Dane Gagai, just lighting it up.
Crazy. And like, what's so exciting about this Knights side? They're nowhere near where they're going to be at the end of this cycle. At the end of this cycle under Holbrook, when he recruits in who he wants, when he has the cultural and the foundation that he needs, like, what are they going to be when they get Dylan Brown and Ponga back in the side?
Yeah, the other thing is too, like, I'll only speak for myself, but sometimes you look at sides and they're playing good footy like this Knights side at the moment. You know they've got players come back and you sort of go, oh, fuck, when they bring those guys back, like, how's it going to change things? Like, I can only see when KP and Dill Brown return. Like, I don't think it's going to disrupt anything. I just feel so confident based on what I saw in Vegas and what you saw at Brookvale when they were out there that I think it'll almost just click immediately. And then you will have, it'll be interesting to see what they do once those guys are back. You've got Sandon Smith. Is he your 14 or does Harrison Graham stay as that player?
Mate, I have no idea. They are playing so good. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. And I don't think they'd know it right now.
You know what's hilarious is I didn't know what the answer is for the other opposite end of the spectrum going into the season. I was like, none of these players are good enough to be an out-and-out 7 or 4 or whatever it was.
Yep.
Now it's the opposite. These guys are all too good not to be in the side. Like, the most unlucky man in history is getting dropped whenever these boys come back. And, like, what's crazy is, like, their fullback, Hunt. Is it Fletcher Hunt?
Yeah, Fletcher Hunt.
Like, he makes, like, 3 errors a game. But, so it's, like, imagine what they're going to do with KP back there. And what I like about Hunt is he is just energy. He is energy personified. Like, even if he makes an error, the next play, he is going as hard as he possibly can, every single play. Like, they're doing that. What are they going to do with KP back there?
Yep.
Like, it's mind-blowing. It's genuinely, like, where's his form? Brazil's always been, like, not always, but, like, last couple of years he's been good. He's been their best, but the Knights have struggled. He's, like, turned back the clock 5 years. Brazil through the middle there.
What I love too about them is, we spoke about Canterbury earlier in the show that they need this, they need that. I love that Holbrook is just taking the Knights and going, Fletcher Sharp, you play on the left edge, you do your thing. Sandon Smith, you play on the right, you do your thing. They're just making it work. Everyone's just playing their natural game and making it happen.
Man, I'm so happy Holbrook got another opportunity.
Yep.
And look, this isn't hindsight. We have been, from the time we got let go at the Titans, huge. I felt it was a poor call. I didn't think it was the right call. And I'm just so glad he's got another opportunity in first grade, because what he's managing to do with that squad, like, Bradman Best came off at half time.
Yep.
He's their main strike guy. It's fucking amazing. What are your thoughts on the Knights, mate? Who's that for you?
Yeah, they've been such a fun team to watch this year. You know, really exciting. Playing a great brand of footy, even without those guys that you touched on. I've actually really liked the work of both of their wingers. Greg Marju, I think, has really, refound some of his old form. Almost 250 metres he ran for on the weekend. But Dom Young, he's gone back to the old Dom Young, from version 1, playing at the Knights. Really looks like he's found his confidence again. I mean, both of them got doubles on the weekend. They've been causing such, headaches for a lot of teams. But, they're getting a lot of yardage out as well. They're just everything that you would want of wingers. They're kind of producing that at the moment. So I reckon both of those guys deserve a big rap.
Mate, been outstanding. Marju's been outstanding. Again, it's just a sign of a great coach that can just get the best. Essentially, every player there is playing to their potential or close to it, which is just a sign of a great coach.
Just on Dom Young, 8 tries in his 5 games so far, which is unreal. Like, if Milky Jenkins didn't exist, we'd be losing our minds over that. Once again, I know I brought him up earlier, but that wing spot outside Dan Gagai for the last 5 or 6 years, like Dom Young's obviously got leading try scorer a few times there and whatnot, had big seasons. Remember Fletcher Sharp popped out there for 7 games and scored 10 tries. Gags, 35 years old, not slowing down in any way, shape or form. And if you're lucky enough to be the winger outside him, you will visit the promised land on many occasions.
Absolutely. Listen, just great stuff. And as I said, my most exciting part about at least for me personally, about the Knights was Hosking scores a try, gets disallowed or whatever. And I was just like, no, they're sweet. They'll be fine. They are out and out a better footy side today than this Raiders side, which is a huge thing to say. What do you reckon, Matty, about the Knights?
When I think of the Knights, the first 5 rounds, I'm like, yep, right up, kind of like the Tigers. I'm like, yep, so exciting. Love the brand of footy they're playing. But then I just looked. They have the 3rd best defence in the comp this year. So it goes Penrith, who are conceding 8 points a game, incredible. Then it goes the Tigers, actually. And then on equal, it's the Bulldogs and Knights conceding 20 points a game. And you're just like, wow, when these players come back, as long as it clicks and they keep doing what they're doing, they could give it a nudge.
Yeah, and the other thing to note there, obviously, the Newcastle Knights, they haven't had a bye yet. Tigers have, for example, so it's one less game they've played as well. So their defense.
So they've got essentially the 2nd best defense.
No, that was on the average.
Sorry, gotcha. Yep.
It's just, it's so good. It is so good. They all deserve so much credit, and I'm just so happy for the fans. It's just, I hate bringing up, Adam O'Brien. I really do, but it's just like the energy. It felt like it got sapped out of the place at times over the last couple of years. And I know that Adam O'Brien did a bloody good job for taking from out to the finals into the finals. But there just does seem to be energy around the joint. There's something to latch onto from fans. And I know winning changes everything. If they lost all these games, we'd be saying the opposite. But they didn't. They're winning. Yeah. They're doing it in a fun way. And I'll tell you what, they're bashing teams. They're not doing it luckily, flukily. They're bashing teams.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were the same. Well, I know, like when we both went over to Las Vegas, we weren't overly high on Newcastle. I know just from spending time with all the teams, they look to be so close knit over there. That was the big thing that I came back with.
Honestly, I'll just say it because it's what I was thinking. I felt like I'm looking at a team that's done a preseason and then we patting each other on the back. Reality's going to hit them in round one. No, that didn't happen. They were right to be confident. And look, you see it all the time. Like you do all these crazy preseasons, you tell each other, we're good to go, and then you go out there and get tailed up. Trust me, I've been in the sides. But that confidence is well placed. They're a tightly knit crew.
Yeah, I uploaded a reel when I got back from Vegas. I was interviewing KP and I sort of asked him about the spine and everything. And he was like laughing and giggling about it. And at the time, I did the same thing. I thought, fuck, you blokes know the hiding you could be on your way to here. But they were just supremely confident in what they were doing, backed themselves.
It honestly puts into perspective, like, look, I don't know what will happen, and I hate to speculate because I know it was always talked about, but like, if you had asked me 6 months ago, will KP be at the club for his whole career, or at least after 27, I would have said there is no chance in hell that he is. Now I look at it and I go, it's a happy place. They're building something good. I think the chances are, I'll say 50-50. They're a lot higher than what they used to be. You see him in the coach's box. He's all in, yipping and yahooing when the boys go over. Just good stuff. Good stuff. On to the Raiders. I'm starting to get worried. I'm starting to get worried for the Raiders.
Have to, yeah.
They look like a shell of themselves. They look confused at times. Sometimes their discipline's really poor. They don't look anywhere near as explosive and aggressive as they used to. They're not bashing teams the way they used to. It's becoming a real concern.
Yeah, if you go through their numbers from the end of last season, now they've won one of their last 8 games.
Jesus.
For a team that won the minor premiership, they obviously went out in straight sets. I think one of those 8 games, they rested players at the back end of last year, to be fair. But even if you want to take that out, 1 from 7. Not good at all from the Canberra Raiders. And then when you consider that one game that they did win, that was a golden point win over the Manly Seagulls, who were going like a busted at that point in the rain. So it's concerning. And I think the big thing for me, mate, this forward pack, they're not bullying people like they were in the past. I found it bizarre on the weekend. Corey Horsburgh played 42 minutes. Like he was playing 60, 70 minutes and killing teams. Joe Tarpanay, 53 minutes. Josh Papali'i, 40 minutes.
The thing is, the Raiders like last year, even when they got beaten, they still bashed the opposition. Or at the very least, they still made a good account of themselves physically. I'm not seeing that with this Raiders this year at the moment. Like, I'm not walking away from games going, oh, yeah, they lost it, but geez, they were aggressive. Geez, they dominated physically. And now, I'm not saying they need to go, this old school mentality and head high or whatever, but you can be really physical without being silly and trying to shot blokes and shooting out of the line. And that's what they were so good at. Like, they just won contact, they won wrestle, they would dominate teams. They're just not doing it this year. They're just not doing it.
The only time when I look at the Raiders when they're playing footy and I think, something could happen here is when Simi Sasangi gets the ball. Outside of that, there's like, even Hudson, he's bouncing around all over the place. I think he's really missing Strange on that edge. I think Strange is missing Hudson as well. Yeah. But unless it's Simi, you even have a look at the weekend, they scored 2 tries. One of those was off a short kickoff that they got back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And what's weird is I actually think Sanders has been okay. Like, I don't think he's been poor. On the weekend, he wasn't great, but before that, Hammy, what are your thoughts, mate, on the Raiders?
It's a good point about Strange. He just looked like nowhere near as dangerous as he was last year or the back end of the year before, swapping that side. It's like really put him out of his comfort zone. And it's, you mentioned there the impact it's had on Hudson as well. It looks like, not as silky. And so those guys combined really well last year. So that's been a little bit of an interesting watch. But, the pack, which, we were all pretty high on them as being the best pack in the comp, I think, heading into the season. Or, they're in our top when we ranked our top packs. They've just been a little bit below their best.
I've got to say, Tyson the Terminator, we smashed him for he said they were the 8th best pack in the comp. We smashed him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's onto something.
Might have been onto something. He also said the Tigers' premiership window was bigger than the Dogs' premiership window. So
he's holding on to that. He's thought about that every single night,
doesn't he? Old Tyson. But the Raiders, they've been very slow out of the blocks this year. Now $4.50 to make the 8th, which is pretty remarkable given they were the minor premiers last year after 5 rounds. So they've had a pretty slow start. Interesting to see how they go turning it around from here.
So the other thing as well, I believe they've lost Savage now. He got injured on the weekend as well. He's a guy that in these first few weeks, he's had errors, but he's also just had individual moments of brilliance that have kept them in games. Yeah. Losing him's enormous.
No, I'm with you. You know what's crazy? So they... sorry, I just missed it there. Just going to look at their play the ball speed. They still won the play the ball speed, but they had a lot less... the average set distance was less, but here's a huge one. Their kick return meters was about 67 meters less than the Knights. They had 6 line breaks compared to 3 to the Raiders. And they ran for about 400 less meters. 400 less meters. And it's just completion, really, possession and completion. The Knights had 54% completion possession compared to 46% to the Raiders. 74% completion rate isn't necessarily terrible, but also I think with that kind of style of footy that they want to play, we'll probably want to be around the 80 mark. But the problem is like I'm looking at them playing and I'm not really sure what the quick fix is. Like I'm not like a lot of it. You could look at say for example the Dragons, and I know they've got a lot going on and they're in a way worse position. But I can look at those games and say their halves needed to execute to score the points. They had the field position. Whereas I look at the Raiders, like okay, do you move Sanders across the other side and then Strange back? Like, will that change everything?
I think you have to consider it. I think you have to consider getting more out of Strangey. And like this was his best game he's played this year, I thought. But the other games have been very poor. I think you need to, without sounding like a broken record, the Brayley-Starling thing doesn't work for me. I would be getting Owen Paddy back into that side. I have him coming off the bench for some spark. And I'd be getting Strange, who's, one of, if not your biggest strike weapon. Get him on his edge. At the moment, this palming across his body and he can't use his left foot step. Like, you've just taken away his entire skill set.
Yep.
For me.
And the one time he did make that great line break, he was just one off the ruck, running fast and hard.
Yep.
Um,
Which I think he's not doing enough of because he's so worried about trying to organise his
Yep.
edge. I would just like Sanders has been a lot better than I thought he would be for the Raiders. Let him just be a proper halfback. Let him just let Strange play in his most comfortable spot.
What I am a bit surprised at is, like, surely it's easier for Sanders to swap sides than Strange because Sanders is more just a ball player.
That's what that's where I would lean towards.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, like, the problem is like, let's say we fix that. I still have concerns around this is not the same Raiders side as I saw last year.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the forward pack is the bigger concern.
Yeah. Like, you know, they've obviously, you can look at the stats and meterage, they're okay, I guess, but the problem, okay, like, you know what, now we've spoken about it, the problem for the Raiders is that used to be their trump card, was their forward pack. Is that, okay, yes, we are a bit light on in these other positions, but our forward pack is going to win essentially every battle we're in except for maybe, you know, one or two. I'm trying to think to open the season, how many battles has this forward pack really won? Where you've, you know, yeah, like they got that win against the Bulldogs, which was super gutsy. No, sorry, they lost.
Manly.
They win against Manly, sorry, and they lost against the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs could barely score a point.
Yep.
So look, I don't know. And then, you know, you look at Manly, where their whole club was at that point, and also notoriously pack isn't great. So I'm a little bit concerned. Maybe it's a Ricky Stewart looking at the whole year, and he felt like last year they did fall off a cliff a little bit, and so he's trying to taper the boys to peak at the right time. Could you argue maybe they peaked too early last year?
Yep, definitely.
You know, maybe that's it.
Yep.
But yeah, at the moment, it's not looking great.
Shout out to Noah Martin. He's leading the competition for tackles with 249 in 5 games.
What? On an edge.
49.8 tackles per game on an edge. The guys that are following him on that list: Damien Cook, Pat Carrigan, Blake Brayley, Bailey Hayward, Morgan Knowles, Phoenix Crossland, all playing in the middle. You don't get to another edge until you get to Helam Lukey at number 8, who's averaging 6 less tackles per game than Noah Martin.
That's actually
Crazy.
mental. Just quickly before we move off the Raiders, and you already mentioned him, but Sasangi is fucking unbelievable. Is this bloke Origin eligible? Because he's fucking so good.
Mate, if I'm Matty Timoko, I mean, he might get back into the team this week on the wing potentially, but I kind of think his centre spot, I think that is Simi's spot. I think Ricky said 2 or 3 weeks ago that Timoko will get back into the team. His time will come, but...
Well, I think you're fighting with Chris. You're not fighting with Sasangi.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Not eligible.
Eligible? Damn. Getting off
Simi?
Queensland.
Yep.
That's Queensland. We'll make it work.
Of course
We'll
you
make it
will.
work.
I don't think he's ever even lived in Queensland.
No, it doesn't matter. Make it work.
We'll make it work, mate. Come on.
Went to a theme park, didn't he? He's like Hammy.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Queenslander. Through and
Yeah, a
through.
couple of theme parks.
Get a bit of
actually.
spirit in him. I can tell by the way he's playing. It's Queensland spirit somewhere in that
Yeah.
in his history. But yeah, Sasangi has been, you know, out of all the, it's been a tough year for the Raiders to start the year. He has been unbelievable. Like, his power, his strength. He's also, every centre he's gone up against, even if they're like a top tier centre, he's at the very least gone toe to toe. Like, he went toe to toe with Crichton.
Yep.
Like, the guy was an edge back row bench player last year. Now he's one of the best centres in the comp. It's actually insane. He's so good. On the weekend, he had a try. He had a try assist, 226 metres run from 19 runs, 55 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, a line break, 2 offloads, 17 tackles, no errors.
That's a frustrating thing. If you're Ricky, you're going, okay, my big punts at the start of the year was Simi Sung in the centres. I've nailed it.
Yep.
Noah Martin on the edge. I've nailed it. And Ethan Sanders, without
Yeah,
doubt,
he's
a
been
pass
pretty
mark.
good. Yeah.
So it's like, it's the guys that were there last year that he's just not getting the same response out of.
Just, yeah. The only thing I think of is maybe tapering, because they definitely look flatter than they have in the past. But anyway, all right, it's time to face a bit of music. Brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed, guys, as always. A massive thank you, as always, to Sportsbet for partnering with the show.
All right. To kick off this week of Face the Music, the Dogs, they host the Penrith Panthers on Thursday night. Dogs, $5.30. The Panthers, $1.16. Winks like. The line is 15.5 points.
Right. I'll just go. This is a tough one because there's no value really.
Nervous about that nudie run again, isn't he? Fasten your seatbelts for
He's
$1.16.
eyeballing that
Poppy.
$1.14.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck this. I'm going Panthers head-to-head. Suck my dick. Suck my dick.
You might catch Timmy by finals. I'll just take the Dogs head-to-head, Ham.
5:30. Yep. Matty?
I've got 580 here.
Ooh.
Well, I've got 5:30.
Controversy.
My segment.
Oh, his segment.
Bullshit.
Wow.
Get Panthers minus 15.5.
Yep. I'm going to go Panthers 13 plus for $1.61.
That's so shit.
They've won every game 13 plus. I think they just keep on.
Jeez,
going.
I hope they don't.
They've won every game 20 plus.
I hope.
Good point, actually. All right, Dragons, $2.63 host Manly, $1.49. Friday, 6 p.m. Probably a fitting time slot for this one based on how they've been going so far, but Manly looked all right last week. The line is 6.5 points.
I'll go Manly minus 6.5.
Yep.
We will win 13 plus.
Yep, 260.
Manly's record down at Wollongong is dreadful. I'm going Dragons, but plus 6.5.
Manly minus 6.5 for me as well. Broncos host the Cowboys. Broncos $1.83. Cowboys $2. The line is 1.5 points. A little bit closer than I thought that market might have been, but there are a few injuries for the Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos is 1 to 12.
$3.
Give me the Cows 13 plus.
440.
Cows head-to-head.
I'm going to go the Broncos head-to-head. $1.83. Rabbitohs. This one's over in Perth. $1.58. They host in Perth. The Canberra Raiders, $2.39. The line's 5.5 points.
Oh, man, this is a tough one. What's 5.5 points, did you say?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Jeez, that's a long flight home if you're the Raiders and you lose that one, isn't it? That's brutal. Bunnies head-to-head.
Yep.
South minus 5.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Rabbitohs at minus 5.5 as well. There's another game there, doubleheader. The Sharkies, $1.96 up against the Sydney Roosters, $1.88. The line is 0.5 point.
I'll go.
Wait, which way is it
To
half
the
a
Roosters
point?
minus. Roosters minus 8.
I'll
Minus half a
go.
point.
I'll just go Roosters head-to-head.
Yep.
Sharks 1 to 12.
3.15.
I'll go Sharks with the plus 0.5,
Oh.
just in case there's a draw.
I will go Roosters 1 to 12. $3.10. Storm $1.40 host the New Zealand Warriors $2.97. 8.5 points is the line down there in Melbourne. Could this be 4 in a row for the Storm?
Haven't lost 4 in a row since 2022, which actually is more recently than I imagined.
Yeah. I'll go Storm 1 to 12.
$3.05.
I will take the Warriors 1 to 12.
$3.80.
Storm minus 8.5.
Storm minus 8.5 for me as well. Then we're on to Sunday, 2 p.m. The Parramatta Eels $1.62 host the Titans $2.31 in the Brian Kelly Cup. 3.5 points is the line.
I'll go Titans head-to-head.
2.31.
Para 1 to 12.
3.10.
Para minus 3.5.
Yep, Para minus 3.5 feels about right to me as well. Then the Mighty West Tigers, game of the round, the headlining round 6 of the NRL. $1.68. They host the Newcastle Knights, $2.19 out of the 9th wonder of the world. The line is 2.5 points.
I'm going Knights head-to-head. Actually, I'll take that back. I'll go Tigers 1 to 12.
Oh, $3.05.
Knights 1 to 12.
3.35.
Knights plus 2.5.
I'll go the Tigers head-to-head to bring us home.
Oh, not 13 plus.
No.
Okay.
Confidence fading.
Oh,
No, not fading. Just going to be an arm wrestle between two top 4 behemoths out there.
Rattled.
Rattled. That's us done and doosted. Give Real a follow, Hammy a follow, Matty a follow, all that good stuff.
Get your jocks out for jock.
Jocks out for jock. And as usual, we'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.